here we are, game one, and it is on Outcrop. And we see one civilization we've seen a whole lot from, one civilization that was kind of late in Viper's draft, wants to start off the series with a bit of a meta change. And there we have the live viewing crowd just clapping away here, excited for the series to start as they've been waiting for that for a bit. They had to watch us play dodgeball, Nili.
The poor people. I saw Liereyy there sitting in the front, also someone who cast earlier this week. And interesting civilizations indeed, right? We have seen TaToH so many times, especially from Viper though. So it's kind of interesting that he is now facing the TaToH himself, and he tries to go for a strategy that we didn't see a lot, a very early barracks here before the lumber camp. I think the only time we saw that was on Frigid Lake by Hera.
Yeah, with Persians, where you start with more wood, you start with more food. The build's kind of tight here. The reason you can do this is because the two houses you start with the Incas, and this extends to all the houses, do give you more pop space. So Viper hoping to find damage here, but I have some initial concerns over this because he's got to like find extra cows, and then he also has to find his enemy, but it looks like he's found the cows, he's on the way, he's hoping to find a wood line. He could kill 1 or 2 villagers very quickly if he does.
That will be tricky though. It feels like all the resources are so close next to the town center here for Liereyy. Obviously the boar is now getting in. Look at that, gold relatively close, wood line relatively close to the town center as well. Berry villages if they work from the bottom. I think this will be tricky for the Viper to find any villager killed here against this particular map.
And he also is showing his ego rather early here, and he knows the house is there. Let's see, Loom's going to be in for Liereyy by the time these militia and the Eagle get there. But the Eagle Scout does have more attack than the traditional Scout. It's still going to be 3 military versus 0 there. I don't think Lierey's expecting this, and I really like Viper just showing up with something different than Lierey's probably ever faced at the start of the semi.
And hugging the woodline there, Liereyy still doesn't see it. One villager exposed there at the top. Viper could see that, now expands to the second lumber camp. The militia still not spotted, and he goes from the top. That Eagle could block that villager.
Oh, look at the vision here, too. Viper really staying in the darkness. Now will Liereyy notice this? Lierey's never faced up against this before, I can guarantee you. And that villager could die. Viper's got to do a lot of blocking here. It is difficult, but doable for him, and he gives up on it as he just shifts over towards the other villagers.
And now trading off some HP, but that will be ugly when it comes to the wooden camp. Villager goes really low in HP. Viper commits and gets the first kill.
And I think this is paid off already, right? You kill the villager. You've also taken villagers off of wood for Liereyy. You can see the inefficient chopping on the lumber straggler trees, excuse me. So if Liereyy wanted to go for a really fast opening, he's not going to be able to make the buildings.
Yeah, and percentage-wise, killing a villager, if you only have 17 villagers, it's so much more than compared if we think, okay, the first 2-3 archers are coming in and get a villager once we're at 25 villagers already.
That was so good from Viper Nili. The lumber camp was on the back. There were so many different reasons why this shouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
And Viper made it work. And he's going to be on his way to Feudal Age as well. We've seen a lot of times in this tourney where a player will go for an early Dark Age play, and then they do damage, but they can't get up to Feudal Age at the proper time, so that's a good time for the Viper.
But look at that, wood income. So limited here for Liereyy. Can't afford any eco upgrades, can't afford the archer range or the stable. He's not on gold, so stable likely his plan here, but he squeezes that one out, can maybe build 1 scout. Actually goes for the archer range. Wow.
I like the move to go for a range. I don't think it was part of his original plan, but the reality is, as he got his scout trapped, we will need a replay on that one. If there's any question on the form that Viper's bringing into this semifinal, Nili, those questions have been answered.
It is on. It is on, Tristan.
It's
and
absolutely
a lot of people were scared here that Liereyy could have the same performance for Hera, but Viper already said, like, no, you need to be on your tippy toes.
Your tippy toes, yeah. We'll see if Liereyy will do that. We got the militia and the scout trapped. We will need
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, not exactly the replay I was expecting. However, many of our fans will really enjoy that. And militia going in for the wood line there. We did briefly catch that trap.
Meme got confused a bit behind the scenes there.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. We'll get these issues sorted out, but Lierey's going to be going archers, something he's so well known for. Behind this, Viper going to do the same, though, adding his archer range now.
He is indeed. Only 1 villager on gold, so it seems like skirmisher will be the approach. Also goes for a spearman. A bit of a surprise there. Ooh, even gets a cow.
Yeah,
minus 150 food for normal civ, but for Liereyy it's minus 225.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the math there, Nili. I wouldn't have been able to do that one myself. Villager not happy about losing the cow, chasing it down. And a pretty smooth start here for the Viper. And he's just going to keep that scout penned in there. It looks like he's going to open up. The scout could actually run away here if he tries this.
I think he walls around it, then lets the spearman in. Right, if he just runs through, this would be interesting. First archer out. Viper needs to defend this, but obviously going for the scums.
Yep. Resources collected. Viper 300 ahead, which is saying something when you're up against the Tatars. But Liereyy, nice recovery here. He's kept his range working. He's got 4 ranged units on the field right now.
Yeah.
And he could break out with that scout if the villagers have to leave the berries here. There you go. Spearman goes in. He took the bush. And unfortunately, the spearman doesn't kill the scout.
The archers and scum simply helping out quite a bit here. 50 euros for the trap. Thank you so much. Now villagers moving in and will finally kill the scout. Took quite some time though. Viper survived. And you see how intense this game is. Neither player could afford an eco upgrade yet.
Yep. Viper and Liereyy, pretty well known for their eco, right? Normally you're going to want double bid-axe. It's very uncommon, actually, that we see both players missing at this stage, but we do see the blacksmith for Liereyy, and with the ranged units out, you are going to want to see the fletching upgrade. And here we go. We have the skirmishers moving forward. There's bid-axe there for Viper, so he's going to delay fletching, but it wouldn't surprise me if he has the blacksmith coming up at home right now.
It's crazy how Viper has 0 seconds IDT time behind this. Blacksmith, indeed, something we need to see, is floating quite a bit of wood. Can maybe afford this one. Dance a bit. Those eagles, they have to help out against the skirmishes.
Normally, the Tatars, they want to have quite a few range units heading towards the next stage, and they will want to have transitioned into a lot of farming eco while they, are finishing off those cows. It looks like Lierey's got a decent amount of food there, but Liereyy doesn't really have the archer mass to threaten Viper currently, as long as Viper tracks this nearly.
It is still fletching against no fletching, right? So Viper has to stay aware and needs to make sure, okay, I need to track those at all times. Otherwise, if they arrive, could easily be 2-3 dead villagers.
Yeah, his eagle went to the left to probably get more cows. So he doesn't see this right now. He's waiting on the right side. He is going to notice this now. Viper will have fletching and be able to pull over.
Nice move. Was camping the hill there, was anticipating the archers there. Viper goes for 2 houses, palisade wall as well. And Liereyy, he can't take this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Liereyy realizes that, backs away. I'm curious if Liereyy will maybe add scouts here, Nili. What do you think about that?
Not something we've never heard of against Mezzo, right? Because Mezzo, they struggle facing the strongest unit that we can build in Feudal Age. That's the Bloodline Scout, right? They can only go for eagles, not as fast, not as strong, but it seems like we see the full wall of. I would not have mind scouts, especially against that amount of skirmishes.
Yeah, the reason I was curious about it is I don't think it's a big thing that Liereyy likes to do, because Liereyy likes to use his food to go castle age faster. But at this rate, if he's moving out with archers at all, Viper's just going to pick out off the archers, and then you're not going to make it to castle age with the archer number. Liereyy trying to get away. He can't actually split there because he went through a one-tile gap, and Viper kills every archer on our screen.
Wow, 4 archers only left, and now skirmishers dealing with that one. That was a really nice pickup for the Viper, and he's still roughly 1.5 villagers ahead. Got a lot of villager kills. Look at the KD, 9-2 in his favor already.
Did those skirmishers fire at slightly different times there? It looked like maybe he had 1 or 2 of the skirmishers firing on a control group, and then the others firing on a control group. Because normally there, I think if you target 1 archer, just 1 archer dies. You're not going to have any of those strays hit. So, again, another thing that we maybe are going to want to see in a replay at some point here.
There is no 100% accuracy with those skirms, though, right? So they can miss on the maximum distance, and maybe the stray shot actually hit and got the kill.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I'm just curious, because occasionally, it's not usually the case with that number of army, but occasionally you will see players split up those groups. Maybe we're giving Viper a little bit too much credit, but Viper has looked clean. He's looked strong. And this is with his last pick, or like on the last round of picks, this Inca's Civilization.
Yeah, very promising here if you are a Viper fan, if you're an Age of Empires fan, because both players playing on such a high level this early on, both players going to Castle Age, small difference only.
Yep, so now Liereyy still making his archers. He likes to do this. He will go for 1 archer range, 1 stable. He's probably the best 1 range, 1 stable player there is. Someone like Hera, who we saw dominate in his semifinal, he likes his 2 ranges or his 2 stables. Normally he's working off of like 3 military buildings versus 2. But Lierey's just so effective with his micro normally that he can invest a little less than other people, which allows him to then invest further into his economy. But still not great that he's only going to have about 10 archers. Viper now making eagles behind this. And Viper doesn't know how many archers are in that range. There's a very good chance that Viper's assuming that's just one ranged unit in there, and that Lierey's completely given up on archers.
Yeah, double step Lancer. Look at the amount of farms Viper sees, right?
Yep.
He knows, okay, if you're going like archers only, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense here. So either there's a stable switch behind, or Liereyy is going for a lot of skirmishes. But Liereyy not really the typical guy committing to a lot of skirmishes. So Viper, by the process of elimination, kind of knows that Liereyy has a stable.
I think Lierey's got good potential here in early Castle Age. He's going to be in Castle Age in 45 seconds. He will have 11 or 12 crossbows. He kills a skirm there. And look what he's doing. He's making sure there's still a flag there, so he doesn't eject all the range units. I think Viper might have spotted it, though.
Oh, the skirm is chasing. Maybe he didn't really know. He goes there to the right side. Yeah, eagles. They know. Viper's tracking it. Nice awareness. But a millisecond not watching there, and he could have been caught off guard.
Yeah, and it's important that Viper, you know, had the unit there as well. Many people would have seen some of these units for Viper as useless because he's not committing to the skirmishers long term, and he's not committing to the militia. Viper with a TC on the right side, something that Liereyy doesn't have vision on. So Viper's going to hope that those archers don't find that. And Viper immediately with Eagle Warrior and also +2 armor. I don't think with just 7 eagles you're in a good spot now. I think you need to wait till you're at about 10 to 15. And this also is before Liereyy shows up with the knight.
Goes for the second armor, Eagle Warrior. But yeah, as you said, numbers are not there yet. A bit of an interesting move that the Viper is actually building his town center next to the stone.
Ooh. Yeah, that's true. Viper loves his Keshik, so we could see if he wants to go for that. I love how Viper has added house walls, but he's got some idols. Let's see here.
Oh, militia are in.
Viper.
Those are the two militia that got the villager kill early on.
Viper misses. There's a wide open gap in his base here. Does he not have vision on that? Like I didn't have vision of the fact that Viper's Incas and not Tatars?
Maybe he had a gate there that he deleted early on to get the villagers out. Shouldn't really matter too much. Mangonel could be popping pretty soon. Viper is going for the counterattack. Feels like the Mangonel alone could be enough for the defense.
Oh, man. I mean, it better be, right? Liereyy doesn't know this, but this is forcing so much idle eco time at Viper's base.
And the one knight. That's just adding so much ground attack, though. Oh, Liereyy dodging for now.
Yep. So he's going to have to be careful, Liereyy. He can't get too close to this town center. But he will see that there's a lumber camp there, and he will notice that Viper's still not getting in on the other side. So Viper's economy kind of messy right now. And we expected maybe Liereyy would be the more consistent player in this series. I'm seeing more consistency with his army production when compared to Viper, and way more consistency with his eco right now. Oh, what is that town center?
Oh, tries to get that one up somehow. Mangonel still a bit out of position. The knight is now diving. Not a lot of villager repairing, and this is ugly for the Viper.
Absolutely. The TC will go up for Viper. He does have a villager lead still, but he does not have army momentum. And time again, we see Liereyy with crossbows and a couple knights able to get leads in these types of games. That is a militia killing a villager.
Okay, let's take a look. Nah, villager survives. How much HP do we have on that house there? Could maybe be a commitment of those eagles, but knights are coming back and trying to defend this one. Those were some good last 2-3 minutes for Liereyy.
It's huge for Viper that he has that TC on that right-hand side, though. It's also huge for him that he's able to escape here, as that's not the best of fights.
Knight could be microed back, and yeah, it just feels like the knights are looking really strong. There's no bloodlines, only one armor upgrade, but those eagles, no attack upgrades on them.
Yeah, what was the KD? 9-2 for the Viper, and now it's currently 19-18, so it's pretty close.
And Viper, we also said like 0 seconds IDCC time. Now we are at close to 5 minutes, so economy really hurting. Obviously, he was on the 3 TCs relatively early on.
Yep. The Viper is mining stone in that area, but currently he doesn't have the easiest way to access gold, and he's going to leave his base. Again, he's got villagers stuck on the market. This whole situation is so ugly for the Viper, and he's been spotted. Oh, no, there's another army coming in here. I'm not even sure what it's comprised of, but it's probably knights. Liereyy, he sees the villagers. He'll chase them down, and now he's probably going to find that town center.
What is she up to? I think she didn't get the memo. Runs in the completely opposite direction. Both villagers will die, and Viper still with a slight villager lead.
Yeah, look at the resources collected. Liereyy is ahead there. Lierey's on 2 TCs. I've liked the progression. He might have actually sold his stone, actually, because I'm not sure where his other 100 stone went. I only see 2 town centers for Liereyy.
Yep.
What do you think about Liereyy going for a siege workshop here?
between the two bases. I wouldn't mind that, right? Then you get the hill advantage. Opponent will struggle a lot to get in there. And Viper, yeah, he's a bit scared of continued aggression. Builds a defensive tower there.
Yeah, I think that tower is because he's worried about not being able to take the stone. And currently, I mean, the stone buildup is the only good thing for Viper. He's got 9 on food, 3 on wood, 12 on gold, but he has 48 villagers. So that just tells you how inefficient his eco is right now.
Yeah, still has to run so much. Look at that, mass amount of idle time and worker efficiency in the last minute. 80% of the time workers were collecting for Liereyy. For the Viper, not even 50%.
Yep, dream scenario for a player playing as the TaToHs. Your crossbow's got value. You do not get Arbalest as the TaToHs, so the free thumb ring with crossbowman is kind of crucial to your game plan before you transition into something else. As for what he'll transition into, I'm not actually completely sure. He's not mining stone, so he won't try and go for Keshiks. For now, it seems like Lierey's happy where he's at.
Yeah, with Crossbow Knight, how could you not be, right? 4 Eagles, no real production for the Viper. Is he heavily on stone? Is he thinking that Kameyuk is such a good unit that Liereyy won't find an answer to it? I think it just takes way too long to get to them.
I think the Kameyuk is a really good unit, but it's not good in Castle Age because of the cost. I think if you have 115 villagers and you have a couple castles and you can get your upgrades, I think the unit's actually devastating. But Viper apparently has just resigned himself to the fact that the Eagles are not going to really do it for him. He is going for a counterattack right now, but that could so easily be denied by the Knights, and the Knights are there. And still wondering, like, maybe Viper's game plan is just to keep his Vill count where it is, and then secure that right-hand side with a castle. If he can expand further there after a castle, I could see it being good.
Inca obviously able to build that castle. It's a bit cheaper, but it's not enough to think, okay, I will just put down castles everywhere, get map control because of that. And Liereyy, surprisingly to me, actually decides to build his extra town center in the direction of the Viper.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that as well. It was something I had talked to TaToH about after he lost a game on this map against Yo. Like, was it possibly a mistake to try and town center the side where you know someone's on stone? But it's hard to think about that because I guarantee, again, Lierey's probably never faced Incas on this map, and he's definitely not expecting Kameyuk to be a play. But maybe it's time for Viper to take some risks. Like, if he were to know that TC was there right now, he would understand his current position's kind of rough. Maybe he would go for a forward castle.
Yeah, well, would make a lot of sense, right? Lierey's army completely out of position, but he feels, okay, I need to make sure to defend my home base. You're not attacking there. I still have a lot of villages on stone, so I can build a second castle pretty soon at the site. And Liereyy still pretty active here, though.
Yeah, Viper gonna just take the wood underneath that castle. Liereyy finally makes a step lancer for the people at home who are excited for one of those. Liereyy also getting husbandry for his cav, realizing that's more and more important. Viper's done a good job, though, not to lose more eco. Obviously, it's looked rough, but it's 64 eco versus 70, and I do really like the Incas in the late game. It's just, can they get that ball rolling?
Oh, Scorpion shots are really solid. Crossbows, low HP, and that means those Knights can still continue to find some damage. Could be a dead villager there at the side. Step Lancers are coming in at the front.
Yeah, and the castle will surprise Liereyy. And Viper's town center shooting the Knights here. Oh, man, just so rough. 7 on food, 38 on food for Liereyy. I'm sure some of that is on sheep. It's always a little deceiving when you're watching, but look how many farms he has as well. And Lierey's playing in the green here, Viper playing in the yellow. We're going to Lierey's point of view. And Liereyy did just set a rally point to the left, NILI, so he's hoping to expand there as well, it looks like.
And it just feels like more potential for the raid, goes for more of the relics here, and now more aggression towards the right-hand side. Actually, he is moving back here. Bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe at this point feeling like Imperial Age is possible with 500 on food. He is going to place an outpost near Viper's expansion on the right-hand side, so I could see him mining enough stone to maybe drop a castle there and head up towards the Imperial Age. But Liereyy hasn't had to invest that much into the army, and oh, he doesn't care about your castle fire, Viper. He's going to find your villagers anyways, and Viper, he's going to lose quite a few villagers here. It's absolutely worth it to lose your crossbows because you're not going to make them any longer.
But that makes Kameyuk's better, no?
Yeah, could.
I think so.
But you have Cav Archers, right? Cav Archers as an option. Great find for Viper. He needed this.
Viper, he's working himself back into this game. Yeah, he's 20 workers behind, but just imagine his next castle could be at the right-hand side. Left-hand side is being blocked off, and then it's a top player. They won't have an answer if you don't have enough gold to counter those Eagles.
Yep, absolutely. And you can see the game plan kind of a little awkward currently for Liereyy. He wanted the gold to be able to go up to the Imperial Age. We might see him sell off some of the excess food here, NILI. But still, I'm loving the Knight Cav Archer in the long term, or at least the Cav Archers in the long term, with a combination of Hussars. Kamiok is great against Hussars, but they don't have the Pierce armor to be good enough against Archers for me.
Well, you can upgrade the Pierce armor in the castle there in Imperial Age if you want to go for it. And then the CA, not as crazy as against, for example, Aztecs Eagles, and that's an ambitious castle. Viper, he has enough villagers to counter though, and enough stone. If he sees this, I think he can counter castle.
Yeah, I agree. You almost have to, right? You don't have army here to stop it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think you're right, Nili. The correct response from Viper is to counter castle. Maybe you delete the house and the farm and do it safely, but...
He doesn't see it.
Yeah, and if he does try it now, it's a disaster for him. He's actually going to castle the left side.
Ooh.
So Viper choosing not to deal with that for now.
Is he realizing this? Like, every single villager dies here in the long run, right?
Yep.
Because you can't deal with that castle. It's only 2 towers here as well. That is protected for 25 vills, and Viper has quite some big numbers there.
Yeah, it's not going to make matters any better for him. Liereyy is 20 villagers ahead. Liereyy happy to engage. Again, Lierey's got actual substance, actual army. Liereyy killing more villagers, forcing more idle time from the Viper, and now Liereyy could just sit by this town center and wait for it to go down.
Oh, and Viper even builds another town center there. That's so surprising to me. I think this is clearly a spot where this area is lost. I think expanding to the left-hand side could have been an option. It is tricky to save any villagers there.
I actually like what he's doing, because this will mean the villagers can mine stone and gold longer.
Okay,
because that castle from Liereyy doesn't range the new town center. So I actually think that's good, because he needs those villagers to be alive. But I don't think the rest of the game is good, right? The fact he's not on the way to the Imperial Age hurts. The fact that he's got 10 Eagles and I don't even know where they are kind of hurts here. And Liereyy, after the shaky start due to Viper's aggression, has played consistent with his army production and his economy. And he is so far ahead now. 9,000 resources collected ahead of Viper.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Those CA also getting quite some kills there. Still no ballistics on them though. Could have been even more efficient. But Viper just missing so many spots.
Yep, and the fact that the villagers are affected by the infantry armor upgrades won't really help the villagers survive here. Just going to delay the inevitable. And I think for Viper, this might be a situation where he taps out right when he sees Imperial Age.
It feels like lots of the strategy for the Viper was designed around Kamayuks, and we only have one on the field, I wanted to say, but then he dies, so nothing out there, and now it is Eagles. We still have to remember, relatively late pick here for the Viper against the medium pick here for Liereyy with the TaToH, but it still felt the transition to Castle Age was quite optimistic for him.
I personally feel like the issue for Viper is he didn't expect more crossbows. He thought after he killed those archers that Liereyy would stop. And had he expected that Liereyy would continue to make archers, and he just played into skirms and crossbows, he would have been fine. Or even skirms and eagles would have been fine. But the issue was that those 11 crossbowmen with combination of a few knights just did so much. I think Kamiox definitely falls into the category of an adapting play for Viper. And Viper does tap out here. Liereyy takes the first game. Viper with one of his later picks in the draft, a civilization we haven't seen have much success here. Against a civilization that did have a lot of success. Here's the trap, though, for Viper. And that was so good. That was so good.
He saw it coming.
Yeah.
And also the micro here against the skirms. Let's take a look. If Viper is dodging those shots, that's Liereyy. He tries to save them.
Yeah, this is Leary's POV, so it's going to be hard. Let's see if Viper has two different groups fire. See, like there, they fired at different times.
Oh, yeah.
And there
different
they did
directions.
As well. Yeah, so Viper, if we would have seen his POV, I bet you he has two different control groups.
Yeah.
So that was a 6 snipe from Viper. But right there, Viper's got the lead. If he doesn't just toss away his skirms, and he just simply continues to produce range units, I think he's fine that game. But he just felt like, I've got a good enough lead. It's simply going to be knights for my opponent. It wasn't just knights.
Yeah, that was the mix, right? And he saw the crossbow sneaking around, though, right? It was like 11 crossbows.
Yeah, but he had 6 skirms at that point, no armor.
Yeah.
It was maybe too late for him.
Also only 2 barracks play, right? Viper didn't really want to play the all-in. Maybe felt, okay, if I go full Eagle play, your CA transition will just be too good against me.
Yep, certainly. Well, not something he's tested a bunch, I'm sure. We will see Viper select what map we see next. He has Northern Isles, Golden Lakes, African Reed Beds, Fortified Clearing. Nili, I've had a lot of fun at this tournament. Thanks for inviting me.
So did I, and yeah, I think I couldn't be more happy that we have you here. Obviously, I don't know, like I'm not really the guy who announced the casters too early, but we will have you back for the finals tomorrow as well. and that will be with Dave, kind of the dream composition there. I'm super happy with the quality of casting and super happy with the quality of games.
And the quality of the viewers. Yeah, everyone pat yourself on the back for being awesome.
Okay.
I mean, you know, that's where I would go with that statement, you know.
Okay. Well, let's rack our brains. The Viper. He just lost Outcrop. Where do we want to go next? I wouldn't mind something like Golden Lakes. It feels a bit different, and I think Liereyy should not be too well prepared on it, though. That's the experience, and yeah, they're happy as well. Oh, I see a lot of familiar faces. Recognize at least.
Shout out to that guy with the really cool hat.
You should have told me earlier. It felt a bit like, where's Waldo?
Yeah, I know.
Like you said, and I had like half a second to still.
What if there's like 3 people in that crowd wearing hats?
And everyone feels like,
and
nice,
everyone feels like they're that guy. Yeah, exactly. I didn't have time to count, but it will be exciting to be able to meet some viewers later on. I think for Viper, you save Northern Isles for more of a mid-series pick. That can be a big momentum swinger for him. I don't think you want to go for that right now in a best of 9.
Yeah.
I think you avoid African reed beds because I haven't seen Viper play too good in that. That said, he did have a masterpiece with the Bulgarians, which surprised everyone with Elite Conic. Go back and find that one if you haven't seen it. I agree, Golden Lakes is probably a good one. I wouldn't be surprised if Viper goes for Fortified Clearing here, but he might be scared of Burgundians or Burmese, depending on what civilization he's planning on there. It's actually a good question. I'm not sure what civilization Viper would go with on that map.
It feels like Bengalis for Fortified Clearing, and then Northern Isles, we need to squeeze in probably Dravidians.
Ooh.
Oh, no, we won't.
Okay, so we see Dravidians for the Viper, and this is a civilization that we have seen so frequently in NAC4. The theme, though, is that while they have a good start, while they can get an early snowball, eventually they just... Can I say they just suck? No, I don't think I can say that. They struggle.
Underperforming? Something like that?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not because the Dravidians don't try. It's just due to the fact that they just lack options, you know? And so the early game's crucial here for the Viper. You're talking about a couple bonuses which are going to come into play here. Receiving plus 200 wood when advancing to the next stage. Fishermen and fishing ships carrying a bit more. Not hugely helpful, but does help on this map if you go for the fishing ships or take the fish in the middle. The barracks technology is firing 50% faster, also pretty big here. So I'm thinking maybe Viper wanted to go for man-at-arms, and Liereyy, maybe expecting it, has gone for a pretty good civilization with infantry himself.
Yeah, maybe the shorefish could be quite nice. Liereyy himself is going for Burmese, also likes that he gets the lumber camp upgrades for free. His man-at-arms getting more attack if he wants to counter that. A bit of a problem for him. We know that he is a crazy crossbow player. We are lacking some upgrades on the crossbows. Can't really check into Arbalest, so should be a different approach than our normal Liereyy game.
Yeah, but remember, like, I know some people right now, and maybe this is, you know, part of the problem here is that, you know, we
Dravidians
have seen it so frequently. Yeah, Dravidians 3 and 9. Okay. But actually, that's in... Didn't TaToH win with the Franks yesterday? He won Franks versus Hindustanis. Yeah. It was Franks versus Hindustanis. That stat is incorrect.
It's a day old?
I think it's a day old.
Maybe it's a day old.
Yes. But anyways, the thing... What was I saying? Oh, God.
You were correcting production.
Yeah, I know. But I forget what I was saying. Oh. Okay, so the thing about the Dravidians pick here that I want to point out here, this is no longer an early pick for Viper, right? In the group stage, he picked it as his 3rd civilization, and then you rightly question it if you can have some mid-game problems. This was more of a later pick for Viper. It was also a later pick for Liereyy, for what it's worth, though.
And yeah, Burmese typically not send out that early. Now 5th villager on wood, Viper. That's likely to be some aggression, and Viper instantly scouts the barracks, can expect the men-at-arms to come. And we see Liereyy already walling himself off, so he's expecting the men-at-arms himself.
So we've seen a lot of games on this map. My assessment is, if you're not adding fishing ships, you need to be fighting for the middle because there's so much food there. And there goes Liereyy. Lierey's going to head towards the middle. He's making militia. We'll see if Viper is able to track this. Burmese do get +1 attack on their infantry per age. So if it's an infantry engagement, the Burmese would win. Viper had seen the barracks. Viper probably planning to play defensive against it.
Well, he has to. He still doesn't have a barracks. He will give up the center control. That means all the stone and shorefish in the world for Liereyy. Viper, this looks like double archery range defense. Is not even on gold. Did he plan with a scout build order here?
Where's his wood?
Oh,
Where's
further
Viper
to
taking
the
wood at
top.
the moment? Okay, so he's got that.
Walls off everything at home there. Tries to protect his fish. Don't mind this one too much, but that will be a lot of map control for Liereyy.
I don't hate it because he has the fishing ships and because he's going to get plus 200 wood in a second with the Civ, right?
But he needs the barracks regardless.
Yeah, of course, of course. So his barracks will be a little late.
This is so weird. I think he wants to... Oh, now he builds it, but obviously barracks takes, I think, 50 seconds, and we're starting it with 17 seconds to go to fuel late. He will be a bit late.
Yeah, Viper, though, he'll be very happy that that scout is weak for Liereyy. He got some good hits in there with the little gate trap. Liereyy trying to block this all up, but Liereyy, he can't stick around and do that. Viper's going to get the quick walls down. Militia heading towards the fish, but Viper's already walled it up there, NILI. Barracks will complete for the Viper. And in the middle, we have a stable for Liereyy.
Wow. And this could be the counter to the potential Spearman Skirm opening that the Dravidians might be thinking of. Interesting approach. Pretty atypical to see that one. Most of the time, the counter to the Drush is walls, and the counter to Scouts is also walls. That's why this is not really the typical follow-up.
Yeah, and typically the player who's gone for the Militia, Liereyy didn't even upgrade them, by the way. I'm not even sure if he was planning on it because he didn't mine gold. Typically that follow-up is going to be Archers, which is why Viper's planning on the faster firing skirms. But Viper sees the stable in the middle. So now Viper has an idea, and that's big here, right? Because you lose the first game, you want to pressure the middle as quickly as possible because you know how crucial that food income is for your opponent. And to just run out there with a couple skirmishers could be a huge disaster.
Viper plays it as if he has the way better civilization if the game advances. Look at that, walls with 3 villagers now, only 1 archer range. Super late on gold as well. He just hands so many advantages over to Liereyy here.
Also still adding fishing ships. We could see fish traps from Viper here. He loves his Black Forest fish traps. Consistently criticizes my fish traps. I'm still learning. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me with a player like Viper. Again, he's had the fishing ships for longer. There's been more investment for Liereyy if you think about it. Scouts aren't cheap. Neither are the Man-at-Arms, or Militia in this case. And we even have skirms and spearmen. All these different things from Liereyy. Viper just patiently sitting at home, walling up.
Still not going for the blacksmith himself. Can get some more control. That will be a dead skirm, though. The first dead unit of the game.
Yeah, very questionable there. Not sure what Viper was looking at. He's going to get wheelbarrow now.
Maybe he was housed?
He wasn't. He's going to go for berries. Wheelbarrow doesn't usually get researched at this point because it mainly affects farmers, but it does affect other resources.
I'm a bit surprised by this. Still 2 sheep are coming over. Viper has to be happy that he could maybe get a kill against the fishing ship there, because he has a spearman at the bottom, still wards this one off, and that means first fishing ship probably dead. Spearman extra attack against those.
Yeah, we'll see if Viper's paying attention to it, though. It looks like he just clicked it there. The Burmese spearman will kill that spearman. Liereyy with 4 scouts, continuing to make scouts, and he has ranged units. So his ranged units will snipe any defensive spears, and then the scouts will look for the kills on everything else, and I'm at least with the army control right now, I'm really liking Lierey's position, but it does feel like Viper just planning on sitting back until Castle Age.
This is a fast castle with a civilization that doesn't even have knights. First spearman going down, archers in a lot of danger, and yeah, Viper doesn't have a blacksmith.
Yeah, Viper doesn't have upgrades. This is just so passive from the Viper. Not the response you would have wanted to see here after the way the first game went. And at the start of the first game, we were like, whoa. This is elite Viper. He had the trap and everything, but now maybe some questions coming into play here for him. We know he can play a little bit sharper than he's playing right now.
Well, he's just playing greedy, right? Not really something that we can see if he's doing any mistake in micro or macro. It just feels like the strategy he went for is something that we feel Liereyy is punishing quite nicely right now.
Yeah, we'll see if Liereyy can do so. It is interesting that Liereyy is going to find the dock, right? Because he could actually run through there, loop around to where Viper doesn't have a tower, but he's not expecting to find anything. Random lion attacking a spearman from Viper, nice to see.
What is the second building for the Viper? He still doesn't have a blacksmith. Oh, those archers are in danger.
God, the spearmen go down, and Viper, because he's been so greedy, has felt the need to save his fish. And he moves out here. More losses for the Viper. Hasn't lost a lot of eco, though, and is still very close to clicking up.
Second villager down here, sends some stuff into the tower. And Liereyy, he's just happy sitting on the town center here.
Yep. We'll get the resources collected here, though. Viper with 500 more resources collected. Yeah. And I don't think the plus 200 wood that you receive when you arrive to the next stage counts on that.
I knew the answer once.
I looked at it when he arrived, and it looked like it was only what you would expect if that doesn't count.
Yeah, yeah.
Could we see, like...
One farm.
I think Viper should go crossbow here, right?
I think that's his plan, but where's his food income? He has like 2 villagers on berries, 2 villagers on farms. Oh, that ran dry. 1 fish trap. He needs the mark to somehow buy himself up to Feudal Age.
Yep.
Idle to see, out of control.
Yep, really, really sloppy stuff for Viper currently. I think there's a bit of confusion on Lierey's part.
What's happening?
Because he doesn't see Viper doing anything, right? So he's probably expecting Viper to go for some greedy fast castle. The Viper did add a galley, which I find interesting. I don't actually think the galley is the best of units you could make. I think a demo or a fire on your pond, if your opponent would break through, would actually be better. But I could be wrong on that. It doesn't look like Liereyy will ever break through. And Viper's not making archers, Nili. He's not making any army right now as he's on his way up.
Fletching. He obviously can't boom behind this one as well because he built a defensive tower, therefore no stone for the extra town centers.
He's got a villager standing there on the farm not doing anything. This is really rough for Viper right now.
Let's maybe try to understand his thought process right now. What is he focusing on? Okay, uses that one, tries to rebuild, and yeah, the galley actually helping out, so that's quite nice. Still 3 idle villagers, archers are being held up, and didn't really build that farm yet. And it seems like Viper's holding for now, but yeah, we're not really seeing the follow-up behind it.
Yeah, he will get wood, but he's not going to get food. If he was Ethiopians now, this would be pretty sick, right? 100 food and 100 gold would be very helpful. One thing's for certain here, Nili, Viper's still collected more resources.
Yeah.
And Viper has fish traps now, which are going to last him a long time there with food. So he's got a slower build-up than maybe we were expecting. Let's see if Viper can be aggressive with early crossbowmen in the middle. We haven't even seen a tower yet from Liereyy.
Yeah, just so smooth for him, right? And he gets all the shellfish in the center, so you said resources were better for the Viper, but now that is overtaken by Liereyy. And this is an army that just will be really solid. Obviously, Viper might go for this greedy strategy because he thinks if you go for skirmishes, you are lacking the 2nd and 3rd armor upgrades.
Yep.
So me going full crossbow will be tough for you to counter.
I don't actually think that Burmese lacking the 2nd armor upgrade on skirms is that big a deal these days. Like, they have great knights, they have great infantry, they get bombard cannon, their economy is solid. I think Lierey's going to be happy, and Liereyy, unlike Viper in the first game, continues to make skirmishers. He's got 13 on the field. Can he track this army from Viper, though? Viper needs some Viper-esque micro here. There's a lot of skirms. No tower yet from Liereyy, so he feels like he can micro this, even before armor.
Oh, heavily outnumbered here. Viper has some problems. Misclick there for a small second. Now the skirms are arriving, and more scouts.
Yep, absolutely. And this is all you really need to trade against. There's not a lot more for the Viper. I think Liereyy will be happy with this. The Viper mining some stone at home. It seems like maybe he's thinking about the 2nd TC, but the resources for Liereyy are really good. The map control for Liereyy is really good as well.
And this was the timing that Viper based his build order around, right?
Yes.
Early Castle Age, having the better timing. He had a window of 1.5, maybe even 2 minutes, where he had the upgrades. Liereyy didn't have them, and we can see what he can do, but now the numbers are so small that it will get tricky.
Yeah, really tricky. And this is just why I feel like Dravidians have such a low win rate. It's because everyone here is so good at not receiving a lot of damage, right? I will say that the opening for Viper, he didn't really utilize the aggressive ways you could play out the Dravidians, right? He didn't utilize the cheaper infantry upgrades. He didn't really use the plus 200 wood for anything aggressive. It was more so the fishing. But still, you know, the stats don't lie here. Viper still... Actually, no, he hasn't collected as many resources, forgive me. But he's still in a pretty good spot, and he is in the 2nd town center before his opponent is. However, his opponent has elite skirm, and his opponent's elite skirm is all over the crossbows there. Viper's found 0 counter damage.
What's the next step here for the Viper? He has the Siege Workshop, now goes for a Scorpion, tries to defend, but as we mentioned earlier, like Dravidians, they aren't transitioning into anything pretty.
Yep.
It's just like
Apologies to any Dravidians watching right now. I'm sure someone thinks you're pretty, but... Oh, there we go. Here's some damage for Viper. 2 crossbowmen. Sometimes it's easier to sneak when you have a lower number because it's harder to see. And this is the type of value that we've been waiting to see from Viper, as he also kills a scout before it's upgraded to a light cav.
3 villagers still kind of exposed. Monk around to help out a bit. And Liereyy, that's a bit on the sloppy side, but now another light cav arriving.
Yeah, light cav will have plus 2 armor as well. Some crazy investment from Liereyy for upgrades. Elite skirm, light cav, armor. No bloodlines yet, actually, so the light cav, ooh. This is something that he might assume would have gotten the kill.
Oh, yeah.
So now these crossbows could get some more damage.
Okay, let's take a look. All the villagers relatively high HP. Viper not 100% focusing on this one. Still needs to defend his front. Liereyy sends those 2 builds away. And another light cap. And that one should get the job done.
Yeah, let's see. Viper should get a villager, though. Like, he's had so many volleys fly out here from the crossbows. He's just been attacking different units. He should get 1 vill. He will get 1 villager there. Viper will be satisfied with that, but not satisfied with the fact that he's currently defending.
Second town center now for Liereyy as well. Still the 1 defensive tower. And it just feels like if we try to envision the game in 5 minutes, how did Viper ever break out? Right? Because he's so cornered right now. He has slow siege, goes for skirmishes himself. Yeah, they shoot faster. Yeah, they have more armor. So it will be nice if we get skirm v skirm fight. But Liereyy has already the full setup to counter that with the light cap +1, +2 and Bloodlines.
TaToH told me after his series yesterday that he felt like he could have won the Morass game if he went for Elephant Archers instead of more longswords. And, you know, he was talking up the Dravidian Elephant Archers, but let's see if these monks survive. The light cap go in. Viper gets no conversions. Light cap do resist it, and the light cap then also kill the Scorpion. Again, big questions on what Viper's long-term will be, NILI. And I'll just bring it back to my point here. Maybe Elephant Archers is your best bet, but it's super expensive.
Elephant Archers is something for like 40+ farms as well, right? Otherwise, you can't really mess them. Elite Skirmishes still will deal with them okay-ish if you only send like 3, 4 forward. Right now, Viper sits at 14 food. Maybe something to think about in the long run. Right now, he also has 4 on stone. Maybe a Roomy Swordman is something he's thinking of.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, on the other side, you think of the champions, you think of the Erembai. Again, Viper with Skirmishers and Scorpion right now. It just doesn't feel like a composition Viper's ever going to be able to change his situation with. And Liereyy loving life right now. I mean, he's done a great job, though. Like, Liereyy has consistently produced army throughout this whole series.
Ooh.
And he's not on 4 TCs booming. He's right now just dropping his 3rd, but the light cap could... Oh, man, light cap could have attacked there, actually.
Nice walls behind it. Now Skirmishes popping out. And I think, yeah, Liereyy needs to run here. Surprisingly, behind this, Viper slightly ahead in economy, but I don't really see him getting too much out of it.
I think if you have 2,000 more resources collected at this stage, you're still kind of struggling as the Dravidians. I think your lack of knights is still so bad against skirms that, you know, you really need a whole lot more here. But currently what Viper's trying to do is he's trying to use skirms against the opponent's skirms because his skirms are stronger, and trying to use the monks here. Great job from Liereyy, though. He hasn't made a single knight, because he knows that if he does that, the knights will get converted faster, and then the knights are great against the skirmishers.
It feels like we are switching more and more into the light cap meta, right?
Yep.
Because we've seen how good monks are there with healing, with converting, with picking up those relics, that people think, okay, if I go into knights, I need to have heavy switches. It's not really an option if I only go for like 2 till 4.
Yeah, Lierey's never letting Viper rest here. He's being patient, though. He's not diving in too deep, but currently as it stands, Viper's army is just sitting like underneath as she falls into the flames there, just underneath his TC. Not the spot you'd want to be in. I like the fact that both players are on stone right now as Viper goes for ballistics on his skirms.
Okay.
And I think we will see a castle eventually. Now, tell me, you're in Lierey's position. You're up 1-0 against Viper. You have all map control.
Yeah.
Do you go for a forward castle here, or do you go for a more safe castle in one of the crucial mining areas?
I think where he has his army right now is really good, right? Because then you're blocking the way to the right, you're also contesting the gold of Viper here, and he needs to expand. So a castle here at the right, and try to fight more at the left-hand side, and Viper should never get gold.
Okay, yep, exactly, guys. If you look to the right and the left, there's a lot of gold there players will need to get to. Viper's 4-tile gold right there is something he's going to need. Oh, God, we have iron casting coming in. I mean, Liereyy doesn't even need his skirmishers. Full light cap should destroy here.
Oh, Viper needs to run 2 scorpions behind. The 2 monks trying to save themselves as well. That will be a tricky hold for the Viper.
Yeah, Viper's going to hop inside the TC and save his monks, but he will lose his scorpions. He will lose his skirmishers. He is right now clicking pikemen, but he's not going to have any skirmishers to accompany those pikemen as Liereyy rightfully so commits. And this is where a castle would be brutal.
Yeah, now this could be a nice follow-up indeed. Viper, he is having a reasonable amount of stone here, could buy himself 100 to maybe get a counter cast up, but simply look at the army amount. 5 against 30.
Yeah, and there's a hole there as well. The light cap are going to get in. And we just haven't seen Viper move out at all here in game number 2. 86 population for him, 110 for Liereyy. He doesn't have his army on the front of the base anymore, so he might go for the safe castle in the middle. But again, just kind of repeating ourselves here, NILI. No way back for Viper.
Yeah, feels like it. So many villagers going down here. 10 villager lead now. Military continues as well. And Liereyy with a really dominant performance here. Viper still tries to make something happen with the defense. Goes for pikemen, skirmishers. But Liereyy just having way too many skirmishers himself already.
And I think right now for Viper, he knows he's dead. And he's just like, oh man, am I going to be able to turn it around here today, right? Because he looked so good against Vinchester and he looked so good against Villese. Remember, guys, he was down 3-1 in a best-of-7 versus Villese yesterday. Came back to win that one 4-3, so possibly a bit of warming up is needed for him. But you know, Lierey's just not one of those guys that lets you survive, right? If you're making mistakes, Lierey's going to punish you every single time.
And if it takes you 2 games to warm up, I don't think you're in a pretty scenario there, Viper. He needs so many wins after this one, but still, best of 9. Lots of breathing room here for sure. And we have seen a lot of maps where we feel Viper could be the favorite later on. But this one just is so much control for Liereyy. He just repositions himself. Viper thinks he's holding for a bit, but Liereyy has all the control behind this.
Yep, castle on the right side here for Liereyy. Liereyy also doing something that this is not new for him. But if you think back to the struggles maybe Liereyy had beating Viper in 2017, 2018, 2019, getting all the relics right now, NILI. Thinking about expansion, thinking about vision, if we could see Lierey's point of view maybe. Not his actual point of view, but maybe just his fog of war is what I should have said. Look at that scouting there. It's like he's playing on all vision.
Yeah, he knows what's up for sure. Sees some army movement here in the center. Doesn't really have the great answer after most of his skirmishes died. Now tries to go for some more of those. Gets a nice raid in.
Yeah, Viper's at 13 pikemen, but unfortunately the pikemen are very slow. And so the light cav are able to avoid the pikemen. This also gives Liereyy time to prepare for the pikemen. He's just going to make his own skirmishers. I was kind of hoping we'd see him go longswords here. But I think when you already have your skirms upgraded, mixing in a few of your own isn't too bad.
Yeah, Liereyy not a big fan of those long swords. Viper wants to expand here, but Lightcav already waiting for him. Is cancelling those farms, and that will be another hard hit into the economy. Liereyy not far away from doubling the economy numbers.
And that's a bit of a weird one too, because Viper, if he was able to really focus on what was happening there, he would have known that that group of light cav was around. Maybe he was expecting it to loop away, but Viper immediately sips some water thinking about things. This has not been close so far. Liereyy up 2-0.
It felt like Viper had a clear vision how he wants to play against Burmese there. Wanted to expose that Liereyy, typically not a guy that commits to a lot of skirmishes, but Liereyy saw, wow, okay, you are trying to cut some corners here. This has to be a timing attack, early castle age, and that's why I must not underproduce skirmishes. And people are happy for Liereyy.
Yeah, everyone's clapping. I wonder if there's someone there who's like, okay, guys, 3, 2, 1, look excited! Like, I don't know if they were clapping for Liereyy or what.
I think they were excited for Liereyy, yeah.
And you see the hat?
The hat guy, yeah.
I think there's only one person there that actually has a hat.
I think there are more hat people.
No, I don't see anyone else with a hat, NILI. Top left, by the way, viewers. There's hat guy.
Ah, there's Polska fan as well. Okay.
I don't see any other hats.
There's only one hat guy.
Wow, that's pretty crazy. Wait. Next to the column. The pillar, yes, there's a dark hat.
Oh yeah, at the front here.
It must be a camouflage hat. We couldn't see it.
Oh, the guy that slipped at Red Bull 5 just walked through the screen.
Well, it's good he didn't fall again. That would be embarrassing.
Improved walking skills.
Players have been training for this event. He's been training for the viewing party, naturally.
And she showed off like, look at how I can walk now.
He didn't even need to go anywhere. He was just walking in front of the camera. Well, anyways, someone says he has a name. No, he doesn't. His name is forever the guy who fell down at Red Bull.
Yeah, that's his official name.
Yep.
Should be on the back of his hoodie as well.
So, it has looked rough for Viper.
Yeah.
Do you maybe go for fortified clearing because it's a bit more closed, gives you a bit more time to ease into the game? Well, I mean, at this point, you have to expect that if you have any chance of winning this best of 9, it's going for 8 or 9 games. So you're probably playing those maps anyways.
Yeah.
But if you go down 3-0, you could start to believe that all hope is lost, considering everything that Viper's gone through this week and him feeling like he's not 100%. So I think you have to go for your best possible map to get a win now for a bit of momentum.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all. And that's why I said Golden Lakes as number 2 would have something I would have liked. Don't really think Liereyy is too big of a fan of a map like that, and it would be pretty strategic. We could see some wild civilizations there. Maybe something like Malay was considered in the early days. Byzantines could be really nice for the Viper as well. And Liereyy, what could he go for? Persian, Huns, Italian, Burgundians. There are some options, but I still would feel Viper should be comfortable there.
Okay. So question, I casted with Dash yesterday, and we had a hand signal to notify the other in the event that we had to, go get a glass of water or go use the restroom or something like that. Do we have a hand signal in the event that happens here? Because this is a best of 9. This could go on for a long time.
We don't need a hand signal. We can communicate. Unless you want to have a hand signal.
But no, part of the game is we don't want the viewers to know that one of us is gone. That's part of the game. There's
There
some
are
more
fans
clapping.
of hand signals, apparently.
Yeah.
Hand signal!
Yay!
Hand signal!
Yay!
Okay, so if you clap in the future 8 times, I know you need to use the restroom.
But how am I supposed to silently clap?
No, you don't need silently.
Okay, so the viewers will know.
Or you just do it very slowly. 8 slow claps means toilet break. 7 small claps means you need to cough.
Because I can't just cough. I have to clap before I cough.
Yeah,
That's not really a bodily
silently.
function that you control, NILI. It's not like make sure you do 15 claps before you sneeze. That'd be rough. I regret asking this question. Anyways, we continue here. Viper goes with his Malay. And Viper, known for playing the Malay for many, many years here, looking to rebound here in this best of 9 series. We will do no coughing, no sneezing, and no clapping, apparently, here in the caster booth. But Malay for Viper, what do you think about Italians for Liereyy?
Italians, obviously, heavily benefiting from their chance to go for those fishing chips. A bit cheaper there, plus advancing to the next age. Just gives you a smoother start there for sure. And gunpowder units, obviously options there, condos in the past or as an option as well. But the big question will be how the Viper will be approaching it with Malay here.
Yeah, and for Viper, here's some of the bonuses here. You advance 66% faster to the next stage. Your fishing traps, I actually forgot their fishing traps were cheaper. They are cheaper, and they also provide a lot more food than a standard fish trap. And the beauty here is that with almost every other civilization, NILI, you need to compete and dominate all the ponds, but you can actually lose 3 out of the 4 ponds and still have a competitive fish boom because of the fish traps with the Malay.
Yeah, obviously the other one doesn't have to invest all that wood, so it's going to be tricky there for sure. While we see Viper going for really early walls. He wants to control his spawn without any shenanigans, and Liereyy docking into that. Yeah,
and Viper also early scouting here, so thinking perhaps that he wants to sneak a Vill. He's actually in a great position. If he scouts that dock is there for Liereyy, he's got a straight shot. He could actually use the villager that's building one of the walls, particularly that small piece of wall, and he could send him on the other side, finish the wall, and then run there to dock.
Not impossible. Blue dot could be something we take a look at the bottom. Viper tries to test the water a bit. I don't see a...
It's going to go. You have to. You have to. It's an invitation to contest that pond, NILI. You have to go, surely.
He wants to play a stable game.
Okay. Defensive game? Defensive game, and that's just not his game plan, you're saying here.
Yeah. It feels like, okay, just a normal... We've split it maybe 2 pawns versus 2 pawns, and then he tries to get an earlier in timing, maybe with Arbalest, maybe with bombard cannons, and just try to control the goal a bit better.
Okay. Well, Liereyy hasn't really scouted Viper's pond yet. I think Lierey's scout is, as he tries to go for revenge. Lierey's scout is actually down towards the south, where Viper also has 2 sheep for some reason.
Yeah, he doesn't know. And Liereyy expands to the left side. Viper, he's just fish booming.
Yeah, is he going to go fast castle here?
Looks like it.
Interesting. I mean, think about how this has gone, right? He had a nice opening in Game 1, but then everything else fell apart. Game 2, probably the most forgettable game for Viper ever. So he wants to change it up a little bit, and the Malay do advance faster to the next stage, so you can click up later and get a bit more fishing ships out with a little bit of greed. Yeah. Viper's going to get the sheep back to his TC, which will be nice for him, unless Liereyy has something to say about that, and he will. But still 5 fishing ships for Viper. Meanwhile, we have Liereyy adding fishing ships in the north and also in the west. No contest from the Viper.
Kind of interesting. And Viper goes in between both worlds, because now he is upping. Still no second. Lumber camp is not on gold. And this is the full fish boom here, Tristan?
Yeah, double dock on his own pond fish boom. And will need some wood for a lumber camp there. Liereyy probably a little confused. Lierey's scout is in, and there's nothing on land for Liereyy. I really like what Lierey's doing. Lierey's adding fishing ships out of both of his docks. He actually currently has a fishing lead on the Viper. And I'm pretty sure that he expected Viper to go heavy on one pond to a certain extent. Double checking to see if there's a dock there from Viper. Isn't a dock there from Viper, so why not just add more fish?
Yeah, confirms that indeed. And I think Viper eventually needs to go for the pond at the bottom, though. As I said, he will be fine with the 2-2 split.
Yep. Viper going to the mill there. Issues here with the stream, everybody. Just refresh is what we ask. And I'm sure we'll be back in business here in a second. Viper with an opportunity to kill a villager. Liereyy quick wall time.
Whoa, oh, wanted to get it. Actually, Viper was close, but maybe that was behind the wall.
I think Viper was trying to block it. And when he clicked beyond the villager, he pathed around the house.
Okay.
Because the game wouldn't let him go through the villager. It's a bit weird sometimes that you can sometimes go through a villager and other times you don't. Spearman there for Liereyy. I've liked how Viper has played this so far. It's really close with the resources collected. It's not Viper necessarily being passive in a stupid way. It's just him doing it because his civilization's so good at it. And you know what would be really nice here? So you go Spearman to protect your Vill, or maybe even Archer to protect your Vill. And once you're in Castle Age, from Viper's perspective, then you start to dock the north and the south, upgrade War Galley, and take those pawns.
Would love that. Would love that.
Okay. So what we've just heard from production guys is that we have heard that there might be some issues on the Twitch side of things.
It's not 21K, right?
Because we gained viewers, but some people are saying they can't
offline.
watch.
Yeah. So apparently that is some Twitch issues, not ours. If that continues beyond this point, we might consider pausing a bit and trying to see how stuff develops.
Sure.
And I think the moment the stream stabilizes, numbers on your side.
Well, finally, people will stop making the minus 7K jokes. It'll be minus 12K now as things maybe sort out. But it's all good, guys. We've got a long day here at NAC4. Liereyy still hasn't moved forward with his archers. He is on his way to Castle Age. Viper will beat him there. Viper with 13 fishing ships all in the same lake right now, NILI.
Sees the archers, but did he actually see them? Not 100% sure if he saw them leave. Only 4 villages on gold. Has the blacksmith at least, but it's just so weird if he now is going for a siege workshop defense again.
Yep. It's big investment into the fish traps. It is cheaper, which I think makes it realistic, but those fishing ships are going to need to be on fish traps pretty soon for it to make sense for Viper. Feels like siege defense for Viper. And does this feel like an approach from Viper that... it's such a difficult way to phrase this.
And that house is still... Oh, that will barely get any HP on there. And that will be quite some pressure. And he tried to double down, but didn't really happen. Now tries to...
What? That is my house, and you live there now, Viper says. Liereyy could escape, though, so kind of missing out on the true highlight, but well played from Viper. But, you know, just to finish this point, as we're going to see some pressure here from Liereyy, is this too greedy from Viper, in your opinion, NILI?
It just feels so weird that he's also not contesting the pawns. Now he is up to Castle Age earlier. Scout goes inside. Oh, this will be a rough start. And again, just trying to cut some corners and gets punished for it.
Yep. We'll see. Viper known for his greed at times over the years. Both scouts very weak there. Viper not wanting to lose his scout. Liereyy wanting to break through. I kind of like Liereyy... Well, then again, he's got the resources, but I was thinking, you know, might not even see Bod Canero if he doesn't feel like he can do damage, but he can do plenty of damage, actually. That's still not walled for Viper.
Is that University in the back? Gillnet's now on the way. Only 2 villages on gold. He's not producing anything. No Mangonel. Now, finally, the Mangonel. But this will be tricky. Viper, beautiful TC spot. We have to give him that.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I'd get fletching if I had a blacksmith right now, because I think that TC having a bit more range would be super helpful. That's between the berries, between the stone, between the gold, as good as it gets right there. But if Liereyy can make it to the dock, he can shoot all the fishing ships and all the fish traps. Viper's going to block that with the town center. Great move from Viper.
Mangonel needs to go down to the bottom. Let's take a look. Scout goes down. Liereyy, can he squeeze through? Would be a big commitment.
He might get trapped here, actually.
Some houses maybe at the bottom. Could be something. Can jump into the town center, and yeah, those crossbows are trapped. 34 villages against 38, still reasonable amount of fishing ships. Viper, is he maybe defending this?
And there's no stable this time from Liereyy. I say this time because Viper was in a very similar situation in the first game.
Yeah, yeah.
But remember, Viper's got a fish boom. So Viper has more economic units. There's the couple houses you wanted to see, NILI, and Viper wisely pulls away the villagers. We'll probably still lose 1 or 2. But at the end of the day, very unlike Viper not to save those 2 villagers. But at the end of the day, Viper's got 3 TCs producing villagers. He lands a sizable shot there against Liereyy, goes for the repairs. And Liereyy still no second town center as he gets hit again.
That's really weird, right? He plays fast Imperial Age behind this. Look at that, 1 TC play, has the University at home, already has the Blacksmith. This is going to be tricky because there's not a big crossbow follow-up, and those mangonel shots are good.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is not what you want if you're Liereyy, because your whole game plan here is about Imperial Age with army numbers. He won't have the army numbers. However, Viper is investing all that food into more villagers, and he is going to need Imperial Age as well. He's got 10 villagers in queue. He's not really farming heavily. This will be a very interesting game here, NILI.
Ooh, and how are we defending this? If we are Castle Age, we kind of need to go for Elite Skirm +2/+2 upgrades. But this villager might be in danger. Mangonel needs to help out. Maybe a gate to block it off.
Nope.
Oh, Liereyy gets it.
Yeah, Liereyy kills a Vill. Super annoying as well. The gate now.
And gets it!
I'm actually really disappointed that Crossbow didn't dodge that shot, because you know Liereyy would have microed back and forth there for a long time.
Oh, double Mangonel defense now builds a Scorpion as well. 2.5 minutes away from Imperial Age is Mr. Liereyy. Still sits on 12 of his fishing ships. I think this feels like a moment where Viper could maybe consider losing a Mangonel, and he did.
Yeah, and he just didn't know about it, right? Again, he sits back here and he's soaking up this pressure, but the pressure can really get to him. And the key isn't exactly the mangonels here for Liereyy. The mangonels are mainly there to be able to keep his crossbowman alive. The other thing about this push for the viewers at home is that when you're committed to 3 town centers, you're focusing on that. And you're putting your APM there. And so Viper's going to need to seed farms with that wood, and he needs to balance his economy, whereas Liereyy, he doesn't have to do all of that, and he's got just enough resources to make this army stronger. So if you have 2 players with equal skill with micro, the player who's going all in typically has the better engagements.
Yeah, I should have the better army, right? And the goal here for the Viper is to somehow weather the storm, somehow delay this attack, and then maybe you can make a defense happen. Those mangonels still shooting quite a bit. Can they find any kills? Not for now. Villager for the repair from Liereyy as well.
Viper is going to drop a castle with so many villagers when he sees Imp. It's not even going to be funny. Actually, it will be very funny. Like,
but it will be far back at his base, right? He won't get any gold control.
Well, I think he needs to drop it where his siege is right now. That's the thing. That's why I think he's going to drop it with a lot of Vills. Because you don't want to lose access to the gold.
2 condos could be really big here, by the way.
Ooh, big attack ground there from Viper.
Love it.
And Lierey's has crazy resources right now.
Chemistry will be one of his earliest upgrades. Wants to go for the bombard cannon. Viper indeed drops that castle. Now wants to get the fight here before Bracer's in.
Yeah, and he needs more villagers on that possibly, because Bracer's going to be in soon. But maybe will just secure himself here. Still producing villagers, the Viper. Still producing fishing ships as well, unless I've heard the ding-ding from Liereyy. Yeah, there they are, all in their fish traps. That's my Black Forest captain right there. Let's go.
Nice. And some villagers will go down here. Tries to dodge ballistic, saves 1 villager, but now the mangonels are in danger.
And now the castle's in danger because chemistry will be completed soon. With chemistry, Liereyy can make bomber cannons, and it's like Liereyy expected this. When he saw Viper fall back like that to the town centers, he knew Viper would go for that defensive castle.
Viper tries to go for ground attack. This is not because he thinks he will get a kill. This is mainly because he wants to get the tower up behind this one. That's why he shoots once and gets away for the repair.
Yeah, and you can see Bracer mattering a lot here. Interesting that Liereyy didn't click Arbalest yet. I think that is something that he believes he's clicked, because he's floating a lot of resources, but he's got 2 bombard cannons on the way. So the defensive siege workshop and the forward siege workshop making the siege.
And now he queued up 2 villagers again. Actually unqueued those 2 villagers and got wheelbarrow instead. Okay.
Interesting.
And Arbalest coming our way.
All right, so Viper on the way to the Imperial Age. He does have more eco. He has collected more resources, but he doesn't have control of the middle right now. To be fair, Liereyy isn't even really mining a lot in the middle right now, so it's not like he's got coverage there, but he does have army control.
Viper with 28 on gold right now, while only going for skirmishes. Quite a surprise to me. Would love to see him go for some more farming. He must not take a fight before he has braced himself in elite skirms.
Yeah, and he's going to try and go for chemistry. He does have a university already, does have ballistics already.
Masonry, maybe. Could be a good upgrade.
Yep.
Just trying to buy time.
Yep, masonry would be huge. So Viper will need to catch up on the bomber cannons. That's going to take so much time. But you can use high numbers of skirmishers to just avoid the bomber cannon shots and whittle down those ARBs.
Viper sits at 100 military or economic units. It's close to 50 more than Liereyy. Liereyy needs to find the damage right here, right now. 3 bombard cannons, still 2 more in production. This will be tricky for the skirmishers to take the engagement.
Yeah, I agree, because you need armor as well, right? So he's going to have Bracer, but without a couple armor upgrades, I don't think Viper's going to really be able to last too long with those skirmishers. And Liereyy, who's already up 2 games to 0 here. This is the best we've seen him play so far, it feels like. This is, let's just say, this is as close to his identity as you'll ever see for Liereyy in this event.
Uh-oh, Viper needs to repair. This one will be tricky. Will run out of stone eventually. Even bought 100 stone, so doesn't get that close. Now only the first armor upgrade. You mentioned it. With only 1 armor, that won't be enough. The Arbalest count already too scary.
Viper didn't click chemistry, did he? He
No.
can't afford it. So he will never make bombard cannons, which means he will only make skirms, which means it will only die to the cannons from Liereyy. Viper's score is great, so he must know he's got a Nico lead here, but what can he actually do here when he lacks the armor upgrade on those skirmishers?
Uh-oh, Mangonel doesn't get the shot in, and now the skirm then starts. Viper tries to evacuate. He knows that he's basically fighting against a 1 TC push, but obviously with double dock to fuel that.
Yep, Viper in and out of the TC. He's not going to be able to go back in, though. So that's a little awkward for him. You'd expect Liereyy to bring forward some villagers here to repair these bombard cannons. They're far too expensive to forget to do that. Viper trying to avoid all these cannons. Oh my goodness.
Oh, this tricky double Mangonel. Can they get any shots in? At least 1 good shot against the Mangonel at the bottom. Now the second one against the Arbalest not connecting. And those bombard cannons mainly surviving. We are still having 4.
Yeah, Viper more armor now. He's going to have the food. It might be a question of if he has wood.
Long queue for the Viper. Just needs
Crazy
to regroup a bit. Like 1 minute of no fighting would be so good for him. But Liereyy obviously tries to avoid giving him that time.
Lierey's on 14 on food, 12 fishing ships that I don't even think are on fish traps. Viper could do this. If Viper trades against this army, Viper could absolutely do this. Great job from him to catch up on the upgrades. And the skirmishers don't cost gold for him, so on this type of map, he can continue to do this. But, oh, man, he's losing so many skirms.
That's before the last armor and before chemistry. The queue is still looking pretty solid, but the archer range amount is simply not there. He only produces out of 5 right now.
Yep. Now, for Liereyy, you don't really focus on armor at all. It's much more important for skirmisher units because they can tank the shots. I'd like to see a forward castle here from Liereyy to really put Viper in his place. But Viper might be able to deny it if he can continue to make skirmishers. This is crazy. Viper's backed into a corner. Fish traps in a dream, and he's got so many skirmishers nearly. He's got 30 more in queue.
And he's surrounding the Arbalest. Now the Arbalest need to run. Uh-oh, Tristan, this will be tricky. Now some Mangonels coming in. The bombard cannon's a bit exposed. Villagers in danger here as well. Viper, can you maybe do this? He has so many skirms in the queue.
And he took out the repair vills, so those bomber cannons may eventually die. Still, the KD's telling me Lierey's taking the better of the engagements. Mangonel addition was very nice. We'll see Viper lose a TC now as well. The panic must be real.
Viper missing archer ranges or doesn't have them in the group properly. Now produced out of 7. Obviously didn't get conscription, but he ate some big shots.
Yeah, and that was a big moment for Liereyy here because it was starting to look like Viper's unit comp would be better in the long term. He does actually back away NILI. Wonder if now at this point Liereyy thinks my eco is catching up. It's not horrible. Like he's adding fish traps and all these things, and maybe he doesn't want to overextend here.
He wants to keep up that area. Obviously knows if I control the goal will be tricky for you. Maybe can switch into condos if his economy was good enough, but only 18 on food. Probably not.
This is going to be a classic. This is going to be a classic because Viper could maybe fight back to take the gold. The problem for him is going to be he only has skirmishers right now. And skirmishers can so easily be countered by a cav switch. Condos would be a good addition, like you said, NILI. But it's going to take Liereyy some time because he doesn't have the eco to get those upgrades.
Now gets the first upgrade there for the armor. Tries to take the fight, but this is uphill now against fully upgraded elite skirmishes.
Oh man, Viper does have his own bomber cannon. Needs good value. Doesn't find it, unfortunately, for him. And that's a lot of mangoes. I like the addition there from Liereyy because it's just one more thing that Viper has to micro against, and it actually does way more splash damage than the Bombard Cannon.
Viper watching the Bombard Cannon micro scenario, watched over the shoulder of Dave and me, maybe learned a lot here.
He didn't learn enough. If you watched you guys, you should have watched Jordan. Did that hurt your feelings? I'm sorry.
A lie can't hurt me.
Big shots here. The Viper's still dodging it. 62 skirms?
Ooh, gets a good shot there, though. I think deleting those palisades could make maneuvering a bit easier. Bombard Cannon a bit caught off guard.
Lierey's micro with the mangonels has been so good. It's not common to see mangonels at it unless you're going to be going for Arbalest, and Lierey's going to go for the raid.
But Viper is prepared for that. Mangonels are dying here. Fighting uphill is not really a thing. Viper, a 50 population lead from him.
Yeah, and he's got the 25 fish traps, and that's it on food. And Lierey's going to lose his Arbalest back here.
Killed some villagers in exchange. Viper not looking too hot at 72 villagers. Stopped production for quite some time. Now maybe going for the fish traps, but Viper, it's cheap for him to rebuild them.
And Lierey's probably like, are you kidding me, man? I've got to fall back to my town centers. He is going for the fish traps, which is a good move. He's killed 5 or 6 of them. But Viper with purely skirmishers right now can finally take gold in the middle. He was basically out of gold, I think.
Oh yeah, looks like it. And now the Cavalier switch. But how many knights do we have on the queue? 2! That won't be enough with only 2 armor upgrades. Viper, he can fight with skirms against those Cavaliers.
And he sees the stable, which is the most important aspect here.
Oh yeah.
So he knows it's coming. He's just clicked Squires. The good news for the Malay is they do get Halberdier. So you could start to tech into Halb right now as a counter to the Cav.
Obviously needs quite some gold to tag into that, right? For now, it's only Pikeman upgrade. 600 gold for that will be tricky, but he doesn't need it for anything else, really.
And Viper does need this game. Like, he absolutely needs to win this game. If he were to go down 3-0 to someone like Liereyy, I think there's no chance here, even though this is a best of 9. He's on his gold. He's on his stone. The Pikeman will be coming out, and I'm really concerned for Liereyy, man. He just cannot afford too much here. He's got 2 knights with 1 more on the way. He is getting his upgrades, though.
Some idle fishing ships there in the back. Those bombard cannons a bit exposed. Viper with nice ground attack. And you learned it from me. That was beautiful.
Absolutely. Killing 2 there. And Lierey's now got 1 siege unit. He'll have 5 Cavalier. I'm pretty sure even the skirmishers Viper has, because he's got 60 of them, could beat all of that. And that gold mining is also going to be restricted for Liereyy now.
Pushed away from the gold, and he didn't tag into Hussars, right? It's only Cavaliers, and that won't be pretty for him. Has some villagers over there, but Viper should know what's up.
Yeah, seriously. So this really has answered any of the questions of, like, does this strategy work, right? Yeah. He could have contested more of the pawns. He does actually have the south. I think that's fairly recent. But, you know, that's been quite nice.
Scum Raid shut down there at the top, yeah. And indeed, he got the control. Oh, Viper rewalling that area. Really important. Otherwise, this one could have been really deadly. You can't chase this one with only skirms.
And Lierey's going to be in a position here soon where he will need to defend from a push from Viper. That's just a house, though. I don't think that's going to be too easy for the Viper to defend from. That's a lot of Cavalier and a lot of Arbs, actually.
Do we go for the Unique Tech and Castle Age here to defend against raids? If we're melee?
I don't think it's worth it currently. I think you need conscription first, but I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, conscription. Conscription, obviously the upgrade that we need first. It's not even close. Skirmishers, a bit of the patrol there into the villages. That means the pikemen a bit out of position. Bombard cannons. Threatening.
Yeah, but Halb is in, right? And Viper can consistently make Halbs and skirms. And he just has so much more as he lands a big shot there. Liereyy running out of options. Does actually get through with the 3 Cav. But man, oh man, Viper's everywhere.
What will those Cav achieve, though? Halberdiers now helping out with the center attack. Viper raiding at the left-hand side, and those Cavaliers, well, Viper just chasing it down with all his Halberdiers already.
Yeah, the Halbs are going to be there. Stable's starting to go down. Liereyy trying to expand his economy constantly, because that's been a big issue for him, but still behind by about 10 eco. But he's behind by 60 army, and Viper's maxing out on upgrades for the infantry as well. It's not like Viper's just adding a couple units that don't have upgrades. He's going to have full armor here in a second.
Yeah, pretty sweet spot for him. Those Cavaliers trying to find some villagers, but no villagers at home. They went for the next woodline already, and those 3 bombard cannons, they're just such a pain for Liereyy.
Yeah, Liereyy, I mean, he must be realizing soon here that there's just no way back. I mean, his game plan was really strong, right? I felt like he did enough damage, but eventually Viper's economy just paid off. Viper, a little sloppy there. Will probably clear that up over time as he looks to push. And Lierey's 2 cannons, it's the only thing that can save him now.
Oh, let's take a look. Okay, dodged for now.
Ooh.
And Liereyy dodges that one. The farm under it goes down. Viper tries to find a better angle. TC could be stopped here. That's a nice raid for Liereyy.
Yeah, I like this, because if you can't fight the army in the middle, you need to do something to distract the Viper. So good attempt here from Liereyy. The problem then is he distracted himself, lost the cannon in front of the castle. Now Viper's starting to push the castle. And look at the swarm of halves.
Yeah.
It's almost like playing against Goth right now.
Yeah, feels like it, right? Army there is coming in to defend. Finally, Arbalest for the Viper as well. Villager number still really low. Viper's at 50 builds?
And he's at 103 military. Those fish traps are insane. He's got 30 fishing ships.
That is crazy. But what's also crazy is the hold of the Viper. He puts himself on the scoreboard.
Again, he needed that so bad. Game 1 and 2, it didn't look good. It didn't look good, and that's maybe me being kind to the Viper. And due to the first 2 games and how they went, I was concerned for Viper. I really felt like it was too greedy. Lierey's aggression with the archers forced him into the TCs, which might not have been part of the original game plan. But a sick comeback there from the Viper. The fish traps eventually paid off. Liereyy, I think his game plan was good, but he needed to kill faster.
But how? Right? He didn't miss a lot of timing. And he played fast in like 37 villagers, 12 fishing ships there behind this one. It didn't feel like he was missing on chemistry timing. The siege workshop was up there. I think the Viper just really benefited from the melee bonus getting up to him so much faster.
I think what Liereyy did was correct with where he pushed. However, think about this. Imagine if instead of pushing the middle of the base, he pushes through where there's 3 houses were with his bomber cannons and ARBs and prioritizes the docks. If you take out the docks, Viper can't make skirms.
But could you ever get there?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like feels so natural to push the stone in the gold on Viper's TCs. But the reality is Viper had 0 farms, and he was relying on the food income from the fish traps.
True, true.
So I think again, it feels so unnatural.
Yeah.
So I don't think any player here would actually do it. But I actually believe if the initial push would have prioritized just making a beeline towards that corner, I think Liereyy wins that game.
Not impossible, yeah. Viper was really relying on that one, right? We saw him at like 4 farms at that moment the push came in. Didn't really have the pond at the bottom, so could have indeed broken his neck there. Now Liereyy, for the first time with a choice here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for something like Arabia. Just pretty standard.
Yeah, Arabia, Chinese, one of the civilizations that has very few weaknesses. NILI, you said 8 claps, right?
8. But silent ones. Yeah, just go P, Tristan. Okay. And meanwhile, I can take a look at the stats here. Obviously, donations are absolutely wild. Not impossible that we even break $80,000 here. Support has been absolutely crazy. And seed number 1 going into this one, the Viper, against seed number 3, Liereyy, trying to figure out who they are going to send to face off seed 2, waiting in the finals. Hera there after a crazy performance earlier today. Viper, the most earning player of all time in Age of Empires. Liereyy, 2nd place there. Obviously crazy runs in Red Bull tournaments. So many finals for him. But as we mentioned earlier, never won an offline final. 0-5 there. Lots of times faced Viper. 1 time faced Hera. 1 time faced TaToH. And now it feels like they are thinking of jumping into the game. Rocky Forest will be the one. And as you know, that means we will have lots and lots of aggression coming our way here. And Gujaras, the choice for Liereyy. Obviously, interesting approach. Very different civilization to all of them. Because we can see that Liereyy himself can send some herdables into those mills, can generate some resource for himself, and has simply a crazy stable. We don't expect a player with a lot of stable units to really be too good there. But Viper has to kind of rely on that one, because he is playing the Franks mainly for his eco bonus. And we wouldn't be surprised to see too many knights or too few knights. Or we would be surprised if he is not going for any knights at all, but needs to mix it up with crossbows. Otherwise, the camels of Gujara players, way too good. Absolutely.
What you just said there was key here, NILI. I think a lot of people see a camel civilization against the Franks or any civilization that's known for going knights and thinks, oh, God, Civ win, right? But we've seen the Hindustanis have a pretty poor win rate. We've seen the Gurjaras play well, but struggle at times against the combination of the knights with the crossbow timing. Now, you can eventually get to knight pike, which should also be pretty good, but I think the knight crossbow is more realistic in early Castle Age. That's the type of strategy that I would expect Viper to excel with. So, you know, many people might want to go stable units here with the Grajaras. I just have so much faith in Liereyy that he's just going to open archers here, NILI. I think he'll open archers and adapt.
Archers, something that we've seen multiple times, right? Because you can't wall on that stony area, man-at-arm opening becomes so good.
Yep.
The crazy army around the 8-minute mark, you are already getting forced away from your woodline, so much pressure. Viper sends another villager on the woodline, so unlikely to be a scout opening. And therefore, archer defense not impossible. Viper even sends a 5th one. Is this a drush?
I think the 5th one is needed. I have not practiced the 9 villager start, but I think if you want the barracks timing, I think you need to go 5 on wood. That's my assessment of the situation. I'll probably be wrong like I always am, but on the other side, Liereyy going up, I think we will be correct with him that this will be fast archers. And it was TaToH who had gone for Franks against the Hindustanis in his series against Yo yesterday. And TaToH went man-at-arms. And then forced his opponent into some archer skirm. He then plays archer skirm, then switches into scouts, and it's a bit weird because you think I'm Franks, I should be going for the stable, but I really feel like the flow of the game on this particular map is better if you go for man-at-arms with the Franks.
Such an early uptime for Liereyy. Plays pop 17, while the Viper plays pop 20. We'll get an idea of this one at the front. Now some houses, tries to create a wall there. Do you see the spot for the archer range already, or is that for a stable?
I think it's got to be for an archer range. I mean, he could go for scouts, but he has so much on wood. Well, no, he needs enough wood.
It is pop 17, and he's not on gold yet, so scouts kind of feels like a reasonable option here, and he will get a lot of map control with that.
I'll tell you why I don't like scouts. It's because I feel like
Viper's going archers.
Viper, I think, is going to add militia here as well. I think he's going to be really surprised his opponent is
Viper's
going up like this.
This is scouts from Gojara player and archers. Okay, so just delays them a bit. And Viper's going archers himself. So both players for now skipping on cavalry.
Yeah, Viper, I think it would suit him now if he was planning on the militia to just hold off on that. It'd be too late, but also his opponent did scout it. Should be pretty easy to find your opponent. You'll notice that Viper, he kind of hid with his scout because he was concerned that his opponent was in Feudal with a camel scout, which just owns the regular scout, right? But only when he saw Lierey's scout entered his base did he realize he had the freedom to confirm what his opponent was doing. And now both players realize they're both going ranged units.
Okay, and Viper put everything away from gold, so maybe that is one spearman into skirmishes here. Obviously knows, okay, my opponent has the way better timing, and look at that. First archer and spearman already out, so I think Viper opening skirm could make a lot of sense.
This build order is really making me think, can you get fletching off of it if you're Liereyy, right? You went up so fast, you do still have berries underneath the TC, you do still have the food income coming in from the sheep inside the mill. But it is such a crazy build order from Liereyy. He's faster to the ranged units, but I think Viper's going to have, in theory, an easier time affording some of these things. But will he be able to survive here? We'll see.
Well, it feels like 2 skirmishers could be enough against this. The camel scout obviously great against the standard scout, as you said, but not the craziest damage output there. Viper builds another house and tries to zone out the army away from his gold.
Yeah, Viper also sending in his scout, but he has to run away now because there's a spearman, and most importantly, the camel scout. Good work from Viper, good work from Liereyy. This is a very clean start from them. I will notice, though, that Liereyy has 35 seconds of TC idle time.
Wow, this is quite a bit, right? And that's why we were surprised with the super early uptime. Feeling that going for the archer range, going for the archers, and also keeping a TC running should be a big task.
Yeah, so he's now behind economically. And he is behind in resources collected as well, according to Capture H. And there's a scout running across the map. I like how bold Viper's been with that. I have so many bad memories of camel scouts against my starting scout. I don't think I'd be moving out as frequently, but obviously it's Viper and not me.
Yeah, his macro is just impeccable there. Won't take too many hits. Viper now getting fletching, and that might trigger him going a bit more on the aggressive side. Liereyy didn't even start it yet.
A minute of TC idle time for Liereyy. So it's as if Viper had killed 2 villagers here because Liereyy is just, he wanted to get the numbers fast, but the fast numbers didn't pay off for him. Viper will be moving forward with confidence. He's got about 10 seconds, though, till he sees Liereyy as fletching as well.
Yeah, and Viper, I think he has to disengage here. Just sees too many units, plus also 3 skirmishes in there. Viper needs to regroup.
Yep. Gurjaras are 4-1 on Rocky Forest and 2-0 against Franks in particular. Okay, good to know. We'll see if those stats change here after this game. Well, actually, either way, the stats will change in some way, shape, or form. But I guess more specifically, we'll see if the Franks can show what they're really capable of here in this matchup.
Okay, how are we dancing this one here? Maybe going for more skirms might be the option for the Viper. And yeah, he realizes, damn, we're just going archery range units. Therefore, I don't need that much on gold. Only has 1 villager there. While Liereyy pulled away as well. Only 2 for him.
I feel like a lot of players are going to be tempted to maybe consider adding a stable here if there's that many skirmishers. Franks are good at that. Gurjaras are good at that as well. Liereyy has the higher numbers. He lost his Camel Scout, though, which he won't love. And both of these massive nerds are going to show us their micro here. Good engagement for the Viper, I think. The starting scout got good value. The other skirmisher weakened all those archers.
Now,
but it's still very close.
This looks like a second archery range, right? From
Yeah,
the Viper there.
it is.
Kind of interesting that we just play full skirmish this year, Tristan. What year is it?
I know, it's so funny. They both have so much respect for each other's micro that they don't really think it's worth it to add the scouts because it takes so much time. And if they lack the numbers in this particular instance, by the time the scouts arrive, they would be behind. Opponent could add spearmen, archers, whatever else. But yeah, double range. This is a big reason you pick the Franks, guys, is the fact that there's berries everywhere. So you can forage constantly. And when both players are fighting through the middle, it's great from Viper to have the confidence to go out to those sides.
Really surprised that Liereyy is still not adding a second production building. Gets a good volley off here, Viper. He doesn't really want to take this one. Needs to split the moment Liereyy shoots.
I think Leary's just half a tile away there. I would love to see, Vodka, if we could click the archer range from Liereyy and then click the percentage on top and see how consistent. Okay, so that's 85% of the time that range has been producing here. I want to keep an eye on the numbers here. I know it's Viper and he should be producing out of both ranges, but in the event you have a second range and then your range is average, I don't know, 60, 70%.
Yeah.
One range consistently producing with good micro, which Leary's capable of, could hold against it. So far, Lierey's still more army.
And remember, skirms produce faster than archers, and Viper's now switching into those archers, but also is stable with the first armor upgrade. Viper is committing quite a bit, and Liereyy, he didn't scout it yet, Tristan.
Yeah, seriously. Now, this is pretty typical from Liereyy, though. He'll have the archers behind the skirms, add an extra spear or two, and he'll feel like if he kills the first initial scouts, that then he can get to Castle Age faster. But it's very good micro from Viper as he kills one of the ranged units. And Viper is in a position where he can push before the scouts even arrive here. This is a great spot for Viper to tie up this semifinal.
Ooh, only 3 archers, only 2 spearmen here. The scouts could put on quite some pressure. Let's take a look how the scout v scout dance continues. Viper, he keeps up the production.
And yesterday, when he won his game against TaToH, he had done just enough to hold off and wait till, in that case, like a couple town centers, right? And it feels like the best players in these positions, when they're hoping to get an advantage to go to the next stage, they just have just enough. Let's see if Viper can break him.
He dives 2 spearmen here, should get focused down, archers out of position as well, and those scouts with the armor, they should be good.
Yeah, Lierey's going to use his skirmishers against Viper's ranged units, though. Viper, if he doesn't have archers anymore after this, I'm not sure he's going to love his position. We do have Liereyy falling back to a tower. So the second he saw it, he did the right thing here. And I actually think that while Viper has obviously killed a lot here, it's still not necessarily enough to kill Liereyy.
Oh, and now we see the camel scouts added as well. And they automatically upgrade to normal camels in Castle Age. Once we get their Viper, he splits off his army.
Yeah, Viper has to split up, right? He can't have the ranged units next to the tower. The scouts can take some of that. Liereyy not walled here, though. So Viper with some opportunities to delay some farms. He has stopped producing scouts. He's got 8 archers on the field. Certainly more from Viper right now that can kill villagers when compared to Liereyy.
Must not lose his scouts, though. Oh, it takes 2 volleys here and some hits of the camel scout. That was really nice for Liereyy.
Yeah, it's not something you see frequently, but the Gurjaras are the only civ that can make the camels in Feudal. It takes 60 seconds to produce them, which is why you don't see it. Viper, though, with a good engagement, actually, after that. You thought with the weaker scouts he wouldn't be able to, but another camel scout arrives, and yet again, Lierey's still holding.
Now both players thinking about castling here. Interesting, another game where we see early wheelbarrow in Feudal Age from the Viper. Is he thinking, okay, I have that many villagers on farms that it actually pays off?
Yeah, it might just be like a natural timing for him, right? On a different type of map. I'm not the biggest fan of it, personally. I feel like skipping Wheelbarrow in this instance is probably best so he can have a better castle age. But obviously, he's got plenty of farms. He's doing the right thing to tower, wall in his wood line. And it's also been huge for Viper. I think he's placed like 4 or 5 mills around the outside. So he's got berry income. He's going to maybe keep moving. I would send those villagers back to my base, the Viper villagers in the north. I think he's looking for more berries right now.
Feels a bit like it, right? Yeah, he expands towards the top. Where did Viper's stone go? He built 1 tower?
Yep.
But how do you... Oh, he built a 2nd tower. He collected 50 extra stone.
I'm going to be honest, I love it. And the thing that is such a big positive here for Viper is that he still has a solid archer number, which we had said at the start is so important against the Gurjaras. And Liereyy doesn't have an army that can really contest and kill villagers, particularly if there's towers, right? You'll have a couple camels and you'll have 8 skirms. Some of those skirms are even weak. So I wouldn't freak out too much if you're a Viper fan. It really feels like Viper has eased his way back into this series after a rough game 1 and number 2. And if those archers become crossbowmen with Bodkin and get into the back of Lierey's base, could be really problematic for him.
Yeah, then obviously there would be a lot of dead villagers. Those camels, I would be surprised if they find too much, although one villager really exposed here. Viper quick walls in his stone and should have a good idea that a castle, maybe in the center later on, could be an option for him.
Do you think Viper will TC with those berry villagers in the north? Because normally you want the town centers and all your eco to expand towards the middle, where all the stone and gold is.
Neither player actually went for the middle at all, right?
Yeah, true.
Just
like no fortifications.
Was just too intense. Viper still 40 seconds away. There will be some poking. Maybe some villagers jumping into the tower could help out with the defense. This is still Viper completely out of position. He doesn't really have any army here for the defense.
Yeah, well, he had an archer. Archer's now dead. How many times do you think Lierey's faced up against double tower on the front like that? Like that is a really interesting thing to see when you go and walk in. And you can see how hesitant he is.
That looks like a campaign build-up, right?
It does.
That 2nd tower there at the bottom?
I mean, it's kind of like a low elo legend type of play, right? But it's perfect. It blocks off the area, and it stops that timing that Liereyy was going to have. And if you look at Lierey's upgrades, he was clearly trying to force the issue.
And he is now. Shivamsha is in there as well. Camels are moving in. Viper's tower have to make a defense happen.
Yep, he's going to have Bodkin arrow and crossbowman. Let's see, the skirms for Liereyy are getting some use. But Viper's got crossbowman heading in towards Lierey's base, and I'm not sure if Liereyy notices this yet.
Would be interesting to see. He obviously is microing the front. Crossfire coming in. Instant reaction from Liereyy, though.
Oh, and it's so much more effective for Viper than it is for Liereyy. Viper killing 3 or 4 villagers on the wood line. There's so much more idle time as well. And meanwhile, Viper, he hasn't taken any damage at home.
He's pushing this one back as well. And how many villagers are those finding? 5 kills already. Crossbow bit out of position, though!
He got too focused on the attack on the front. So Liereyy still with some opportunities, but Viper with the economic lead.
Oh, just imagine Viper patrolling at home there. Would have been absolutely fine. Now he's down to 3 military. How can he hold this?
If he would have just stayed right between those ranges, the tower defense is fine. The crossbowman would have been fine. Viper has some work to do. But guys, it's so easy for us to say, right? The pressure of the moment's getting to these two. It's obviously requires a great deal of skill and stamina to play this game.
Viper needs to rush out this town center. If he gets it up, he is somewhat fine in this area. Pulled some villagers away. The others will try to finish off the job here. More Shivamshas are arriving, but barely any villagers dying.
Yeah, he will complete the TC. I think. I can't. Yeah, okay, so he completes the TC. There's 10 Shivamshas for Liereyy. But the only thing Liereyy can really do is force some idle time. Actually, I'm incorrect on that. He could kill villagers on the gold. Saw the TC, so backed away.
Just runs through. Viper now goes for Lightcap. Doesn't really have enough gold there, apparently. Might deal with all those skirmishes. And Viper, he is still 6 villagers ahead. Has 1 extra, has 3 town centers against only now Liereyy, who was building 2. If Viper holds here for another 1-2 minutes, his eco should be better.
It's just going to hurt so much for Viper if he loses this, because the counterattack was perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. Oh.
These villagers, I think he sent his idols to do a task in his base, not realizing they were idle. But, I mean...
Squeeze through
Viper,
there. Skirms are trying to block.
Those crossbows alive, it would be a better position. Camels will die, though, NILI. I actually think this is okay for Viper. A lot of camels are dying to the TC and the crossbows.
2 villagers. They couldn't even fit into the town center, so 2 down there. Lierey's just diving so deep.
I mean, what an awkward time for Viper. I really didn't expect Liereyy to die, but I guess you should if you've got the Shravamsha, right? They soak up a lot of arrow fire.
Viper continues to go for crossbow Knight. Knight obviously great against the Shravamshas in comparable numbers. And the crossbows should deal with the camels. Skirm numbers really low. And Viper, is he going for market there? Interesting. Has a lot of stone.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to balance his eco, for sure. Has to balance that eco. You know what I'd like to see from Liereyy is some outposts in the middle.
Oh, yeah.
He might actually have that, but I mean, this game is all about controlling the center area, heading towards the Imperial Age, and you are up against the Franks who built a TC on stone to bank up some stone.
Uh-huh.
You need to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Oh, now those sneaky villages there as well. Kind of weird.
I think they're just looking for berries, honestly.
Yeah.
That's the safest food eco for Viper right now because his farms continue to get raided. Shravamsha's diving underneath 2 TCs here. Viper can't react quite fast enough, but he is still massing crossbowmen. And he still has the villager lead with enough stone to soon build a castle. Was that a monk?
That was a monk under the TC there.
What in the world was that?
And sends another one to the front. Knight crossbow maybe can make a defense happen. Viper still slightly ahead.
He
and
cut
over
through.
top. Oh, that's nice for him.
Ooh, that's really unique. I don't know if that was intentional or just kind of a...
Just puts an outpost. Maybe a town center there could also be an option. Has enough resources. Needs to make a defense happen at the front first, though.
Yeah.
Town center 4.
Yeah, town center number 4 for Viper. It protects the other side of that wood line. The Shravamshas, they do soak up the initial damage, or they dodge, as it says in the tech tree, but they're starting to die. And Viper, he's killed quite a few monks here from Liereyy who had not completed a TC or anything in the middle, and Liereyy really starting to lose control.
Seems like it, and those Shravamshas are coming over. Crossbows can maybe still get 1-2 kills. Snyder scaring this one away. Husbandry would be so good for the Viper.
And a castle. A
Oh,
castle would be great. I like the castle he's making.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact his villagers didn't go through the little hole he dropped.
Yeah.
But you don't want a castle that's in Lierey's face right now because this still could go any way in the middle with the engagement.
Yeah, he really doesn't have the numbers. Knights are trying to block off against the Shravamshas. Tower's not really helping out. Needs to go into the town center there to help out. But Shravamsha's dodging quite a bit.
That TC fire will start to pay off a little bit. Monks will be looking for conversions. Only 10 crossbows for Viper. Make it 8 crossbows. But Liereyy has to back away from the TC.
Castle now being built and more defensively than the Viper wanted to. Maybe a monastery for him could also be an option, trying to deal with all those cavalry units. Only now the 3rd town center for Liereyy. What a brilliant game from both players.
This is really good. I'm not loving that 3rd TC for Liereyy in the event he can't control with the army, but he has done so thus far, right? Monks, Shravamshas, camels, a nice little combination.
Viper moves around, double raid. 2 knights to the bottom, 2 knights to the top.
Oh, that's unique. Well, this is what you can do if you build up your base in a way where they can't immediately damage you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So the castle, that protects one area, the 3 TCs, and he's always going to have the luxury to be able to fall back there if he wishes to. Viper, can he deny this TC?
No ballistics for him, but the Shravamshas are moving. Oh, that could be the end of all those crossbows.
Yeah, really surprised. Viper got a little greedy there, a little too excited. Now the castle will help out a lot against the Shravamshas. I think Viper's actually okay with that. He'll be okay.
Sentence 11 got home with 7. Can't mind it too much. Camels now going through the center, and the first group of knights is arriving at the home base of Liereyy.
Yeah, and Liereyy didn't have a TC on his gold, so I'm trying to see how much damage really happened there. Oh, he doesn't know. A monk has gone down. The knights are just passing underneath the town center there, and then we've got Shravamshas on this side underneath Viper's TC. NILI, what a game this is. This could still go either way, but Viper has pulled pretty far ahead with the eco.
Yeah, roughly 20 villages ahead here. Crossbow still trying to chase this one away. Camels looking for some raids. Knights coming in here as well. Viper's playing wild.
Yeah, the double raid paying off here, and again, Liereyy just can't keep up with it, and he's had more units, but he doesn't have the type of unit to be able to kill villagers and catch up in this game. Camels and Shravamshas haven't been cutting it, as again, Viper just with crossbow defense.
Ooh, this will be tricky. Look at that. The Shravamshas now being forced back, but another group coming in with a raid. Viper, he just constantly has to use his town center as well. Builds another castle here.
It's cautious.
Let's call it that.
Yeah, it's a cautious castle. I honestly think that Viper is, I don't want to say happy, but I think he's okay with some of these engagements he's taking, right? He's losing crossbows, but the Stravamshas are dying, and he still isn't losing any precious map.
Oh.
But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
Sends the villagers out so that the crossbows can be saved. Knows that I need more military right now. I have the better economy, but needs to have some fighting army. It's down to 4 units, though.
Okay, I take it back. Viper's not okay with this. He needs army. He's lost a lot of crossbows. The Stravamshas and the camels, really strong. It will be an at-what-cost situation for Liereyy because he continues to lose units, and he still isn't denying that castle from Viper. And this could allow a leapfrog situation for Viper, where you could place yet another castle next to that. Frank Power, NILI. Liereyy doesn't even have his first castle.
And then he controls everything, right? Although left-hand side, Liereyy broke through as well, so he's getting some gold. And I would be surprised if Viper has any vision there. Feels unlikely.
It's like, with that castle Viper just placed, though, he is always going to be in a position to extend these castles continuously unless Liereyy has his own.
Yeah.
Always. You could build it next to the castle so it ranges Lierey's TC. Or if you know Liereyy cut through, you could place a castle.
Builds it very safe in front of, directly next to his starting town center. Just felt, okay, those were too many raids. Earlier, Pikemen could have maybe been an option. Axemen, actually a horrible choice against Stravamshas.
Yeah, because the Stravamshas dodge shots. Axemen could be the worst option for Viper right now, and you know the TCs from Viper killed so many units, but it was in combination with crossbows and knights, and Viper's got 5 on food. Obviously, a lot of these villagers are garrisoned, but 101 villagers, he's got 40 of them idle.
Good job of Liereyy behind the scenes getting 2 relics here. Obviously, they're spawning on the outside. Viper still could go for the 2 at the top, 1 at the right. And now Liereyy, he's thinking about imping.
Oh, no, and I thought with Viper having the castle numbers and the potential to control the middle, that he could maybe do it here. But as I look at the situation and I look at how free Lierey's economy is, if Lierey's in the Imperial Age, he's going to be very fast to the trebuchets. Viper's nowhere close to Imp. It will take a long time for Liereyy to grind him down, NILI, but race to trebuchets is normally what Rocky Forest is about.
I think monks could have been an option.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 monks. But you know what's weird is this Stravamsha, it's so fast. It's the fastest unit you could have out in the field. It doesn't cost a lot of gold.
Yeah.
So even if Viper had like 4 monks, I think Liereyy would have always just engaged. It's just a really crazy unit to face up against here.
Viper has some villagers prepared, goes for another castle here, but has to think better of it.
Yep.
Builds another outpost, maybe going further to the left-hand side could be an option for him. It will just be tricky. How does Viper find an answer to the upcoming traps?
Viper looking to place a castle that can change this game. He is going to drop that one. And it's certainly going to buy him time. You see him click the pikeman upgrade now, so he'll likely have pikes at home. He will also make an outpost on the left side, so he will see Liereyy taking some gold there. But Liereyy going to try and kill a few villagers here and maybe even deny this castle. He could be super annoying with the monks if he wishes to. What a difficult unit, let's say, to deal with. This Stravamsha rider, right?
Yeah.
Running underneath TCs and castles constantly.
Lots of people feeling like it's completely broken. I think it can be answered, but the problem is Liereyy just used it perfectly, exactly
Agreed.
how it is designed.
Agreed.
Just concentrating against ranged units.
Yeah, just always underneath the TCs, which takes further advantage of how the unit really works. And Viper really never got to pikemen. We said the throwing axeman would be useless. I did not expect the axeman would be raiding Lierey's woodline. So we have a pikeman axeman raid and Lierey's not reacting.
Get some kills, can't be too unhappy with that, forces some idle time. Actually finding 5 villager kills here. And, well, Viper will think about imping here as well. 33 villagers on gold, could use his market a bit. But still, that should be 1, maybe 2, maybe even 3 dead castles.
And the thing that will hurt Viper here is that his immediate unit choice and his consistent unit choice that you'd want to rely on against stable units would be pikemen. And the Gurjaras have the Chakram Thrower, which destroys pikemen.
Yeah.
It's not even close. So then Viper needs something in combination with it. We know the Axeman won't work. I think he'll be too far behind to try and get back into stable units.
Yeah.
So the only thing that comes to mind for me is maybe some gunpowder for Viper, which again is going to take so much time for him.
Yeah. 2 minutes, 20 seconds till he reaches him. Then another full 100 seconds, I think, for chemistry. Archer range setup is okay for him, but then production. So we are thinking like 4 minutes in the future until the first hand cannoneer would be out. Not sure if Liereyy will give him that time.
And you know, my concern for Viper too is normally the Frank castles will buy you time, so you can expand around the map and do other things. This isn't a map about expansion, NILI. This is a map about center control. So there's no real gold. I mean, he does have a gold if you look in his mini-map, but there's not a lot of golden stone that you can really find anywhere else.
Yeah, that's so true. He still has some reasonable control there. Masonry, an upgrade I absolutely love, tries to buy himself a bit more time. And he goes for another castle there in the center. He's expanding. He will accept to lose those castles and still have a lot of gold and stone control. The big question is still the switch, and he actually techs into cavalry.
The raid there was funny. Watching Viper raid with the units that he did right there is not something I was expecting to see here in this crazy semifinal. And Viper does still have pikemen, is going to lose his castles, as we said. He is ahead in villagers, though. And I think if he could go for Cavalier Pikes, could have a chance. Liereyy seeing that, though, already making camels.
Yeah, nice move there for sure. Anticipation, and maybe just felt okay. Maybe hand cannoneers would be too long for you as well. Viper still with the double setup. I think bombard cannons could be something good for the Viper, but he just has all the resources basically on the map. Not loading
Are
enough.
the original berry villagers from Viper on the left-hand side still? The other one's going home to find out, like to tell the, I don't know, the captain or the king or whatever, there's no more berries to find, but that might be the safest farming eco for Viper in a second, because his main base could get pushed, which made me say bush, because we were talking about berries. Please clip that out.
Yeah, please, no one clip that on Twitch.
Yeah, no one.
I love how you know how people work. Okay, one trap now for the defense. Still no proper upgrades here to get to bombard cannons. No cavalry upgrade as well. Those pikemen not even chasing far enough. And Liereyy just so annoying constantly with his raids here.
Yeah, such a frustrating unit, such a frustrating position for Viper to be in. It is a best of 9, but it definitely has a feeling of Viper must win this game with how good Lierey's playing, and the raids could help. He's actually raiding, he's doing a double raid again. He's hitting Liereyy on the other side as well with pikemen. Woo! Let's go, baby.
Well, X-Men mixed in there as well, and Liereyy didn't see that.
Liereyy saw the pikemen.
Those knights are already getting 11 kills here. That continues. Pikemen are dealing with this one, and all of a sudden, the Viper sits at 40 population lead.
He's getting Cavalier. There's only 9 camels out there for Liereyy. The chakrams are still distracted by the pikemen. However, Viper will lose a treb, and he is losing castles.
How will Viper get control of the center? He doesn't need to. If he kills everything on the outside, that's totally fine for him.
Oh, God, Liereyy. This is crazy. He still hasn't noticed this.
Oh, and look at his face. He needs to realize pretty soon.
He just noticed. He just shook his head. He just noticed.
He didn't. He maybe shook his head before something happened at the front. His population is looking so unhealthy right now.
Now, can Viper get the gold, NILI, to be able to contest against the army in the middle? We have a treat of a game. Viper getting the raids. Now Liereyy reacts. But it's still going to be chakrams and heavy camels. Not an easy fight for Viper to take.
50 population, 50 worker lead for Viper and climbing. If he can hold 2-3 minutes and get to proper army, that would be so good for him. But Liereyy obviously still having enough traps, still continuing to push through the center.
Yeah, exactly. And that worker lead for Viper, a lot of that is comprised of villagers in the middle. Liereyy down to 67 vills. He has to push here, right? Stabilizing is important too, but the majority of your army needs to go kill Viper. Can Viper do this without easy gold access? He's got a little bit of gold mining left in the middle. He's taking as much as he can before he loses this area. Also still has a little bit of gold at home.
Feels like a repeat of Game 3, where Liereyy had the timing, Liereyy had the siege, Liereyy had the better army. Viper was having the way better economy and somehow tried to find a hold. He did it with elite skirmishes in Game 3. Here, feels like he wants to go for pikemen plus cavalier, expanding to the gold at the bottom. Can he make it happen again?
This would be crazy, especially for Viper's confidence, because Game 1 and Game 2 looked so poor. Now, it's worth noting the chakrams are good against pikes. They're not insane.
Are they?
They're not insane until elite, which now I don't think Lierey's going to be able to afford. But if you might, okay, they're not elite, but they're still fine. But the point is they're much better when elite comes in. Liereyy converting a cav there. Really good unit control.
Oh, but gets a big raid again. And Liereyy, we said 70 villagers, and people were laughing about it. And this might go down even further.
Look at the split off from Viper there.
Love it.
He was going to lose that force if he didn't run away. Instead of running everything back home, which is what Liereyy would have expected, he actually goes right back into Lierey's base. He's going to hit the wood line there. He is going to hit that wood line.
Tower at the left side.
Oh, man. Also, a very defensive castle for Viper. I like the tower, NILI, honestly. It's just another thing that Lierey's going to have to look to. I like the defense here from Liereyy. It's going to be close. He should defend that.
I'm scared for Viper when it comes to gold control. Those villagers could all die now trying to run here. And Viper, you can't really go trash if you're Franks. Their trash is horrible.
Yeah, their trash is horrible. And I'm also just scared, not just for gold control, but what do you even spend the gold on, right? Like we've kind of seen it. Cavalier, but Gajara Camels do 40% more bonus damage. So, I mean, with no chemistry in, actually, he just has completed chemistry, so maybe we'll see some hand cannons.
Maybe some
Viper's going to have to switch it up a little bit. I would like Pike hand cannon if Viper had 6 archer ranges right now.
Yeah, well, start with 2, right? Maybe get some hand cannons out. Bombard cannons for the defense. I don't think Liereyy really has the good army to jump bombard cannons, though, but Viper needs to hold this.
Look at Lierey's army count. The guy lost 20 or 30 villagers, and he's just kept consistent eco balance and production. It is truly incredible. It's very similar to how he plays the whole game, Age of Empires 2.
Hero bombard cannon has to make everything happen here. Pops any second. Viper heavily repairing this one. No pressure. Well, it's just like Viper needs to hold this. If this castle falls, it might be over. Bombard cannon now coming out. We have masonry. Don't think that will be enough, though. Still 4 traps shooting.
Yeah, Liereyy a little distracted because Viper's raiding again. A bombard cannon will be on the way. There's no villagers there anymore. Okay, the Viper can't find any kills. Viper's about to run out of stone here.
Bombard cannon gets the first kill. And traps have to pack up. The bombard cannon held this position.
Are you kidding me? Viper's still in this game. 170 pop, NILI. He's running out of gold, but he does still have gold income in his base. Needs to tech switch, though. I think he needs to get hand cannons out. Hand cannons are good against chakrams. They're good against camels. They're slow, but that's okay if the main fight's going to be in the middle.
Maybe can sneak a bit more to the top. Look at that, 60
bills.
villagers against 130. Next raid over here, quite nice as well. Pikemen around the corner, but not really being sent in there.
Wow, that bombard cannon timing was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah, have to love everything about it there. And Liereyy, he was knocking at the door. It went down to 1,000 HP, that castle, I think, with thwart traps shooting at it. Crazy hold.
Okay, so another thing I'd like to see from Viper as he adds range, pretty much confirms our suspicions we will see hand cannons, is the light cav upgrade. I think you should stop raiding with Cavalier at this point because you'll have limited access to gold, potentially.
Yeah.
Just if you're raiding on the sides, go light cav. Main army is your gold army, spending your gold on the cannons, both the hand cannons, obviously, and the bombard cannons.
Okay, what is he prioritizing? Because he's only at 30 farmers as well, right? Goes for the hand cannons, tries to run back a bit, still house, tries to go for more raids, needs to set up a better food economy because only at 40 farms, that's not really where he wants to be in the long run.
Yeah, but he's noticing that Liereyy hasn't been able to fortify anything. And so there he goes, protecting the back area, adding more farms, beautiful farms. Don't know how he does that so fast.
Well, he's good at the game.
And he's ready to push the middle here. So he is massing the hand cannons in the middle. He is trying to patrol on the sides. He's doing a really good job. And there was very little red on his screen in his own base when we saw his point of view there.
Pikeman here for the defense. That's another raid, but that's now not chakrams. It is the camel raid, and that's more dead villagers here. Liereyy again at pop 120, down to 60 villagers for like the 4th time in this game.
Yeah, and he's going to go elite chakram. So he's upgrading to elite chakram. I was wondering where his resources were going to go.
But against hand cannons, that won't be that good. Viper now with the defense here. Liereyy, pop 110, Viper an 80 pop lead.
Basically without the middle, right? On a map where we just see people die if they don't have the middle. How many castles has he lost? 4?
Feels like it.
4 castles and Viper's still alive in this game? This is classic Viper.
How is he doing that, right? Typically, classic Viper is somehow holding all those 4 castles, but he fell down to one single castle and then decided, okay, bombard cannons now trying to hold this one, push through the center, and then Lierey's completely open. That's so much of all Liereyy.
Viper's not going to expect elite chakram. Viper sees them now, but he won't know elite is in. These things will shred anything they engage against here. Oh boy, the halves will disappear. I think Viper's comfortable though, as long as he makes Liereyy respect him in the middle. I don't think he necessarily needs to push. Oh man, look at these chakrams go though.
Chakram's great against bombard cannons as well, but the camels are dying at the same time. Liereyy needs to micro his art out, but more raids happening. You see so many blue units still at the minimap, and no chance Liereyy can react because this one is way too intense.
And Liereyy only has 10 chakrams, and he calls the GG. Viper with 2 straight games ties it up. An incredible comeback.
How is he doing that? And even the small crowd here, obviously all the people at the big meetup here in the center of Berlin already, but they also got excited as well. What a brilliant game.
And it's a huge game for Viper because remember that period where he counterattacked an early castle? I was thinking game over, Viper's got this, big eco lead, and then he tossed away 15 crossbows in the middle. That never should have happened. Losing this game that would have weighed on Viper to an extent. And then, obviously, you'd be down 3-1 to Liereyy. So, tied up 2-2. It's anyone's series now.
Wasn't it like 3? And that was the GG moment. People are loving it over there. It felt like 4 military against 20 at one point. With
seriously.
even economy. Maybe Viper was maybe 5 ahead or something like that.
It was so good how Viper, throughout everything, was always getting some level of counters in. And he was, in a way, punishing the fact that Liereyy doesn't fortify up as much. But that's just Lierey's style. And Liereyy loves to push. And I think the mistake for Liereyy was maybe he could have used an extra town center or two on his woodlines.
Yeah.
His woodlines continued to get pressure. I don't think he ever had a TC on a woodline. Maybe with the additional protection for his villagers, his better army composition, at least what I considered to be the better army composition, could continue to be produced, and then he would have won that game.
Now it's my time to slowly clap 8 times. I'm excited for the rest of the set. And we have still a full best of 5 ahead of us.
Yeah, absolutely. 2-2 here. NILI going to take a quick break here. He deserves it, guys. When he walks away, I'll say something different. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you guys have been as excited about this as NILI and I have been, excuse me. NILI apparently carrying the cast here. But it's been a pleasure for me, guys. Tomorrow is going to be the final, of course. I never know when I get to say things like this, so since it's here, just you and I for the time being, I want to say thank you, everyone, for being a part of this amazing community. It's difficult at times not to take it for granted because the last few years have been so strong, but I remember where this community was maybe 5 years ago and how all these things like NACs and whatever else that we get excited about just wouldn't have been on the cards for Age of Empires 2 fans. So thank you guys for having some great taste in video games. All right? That's my spiel to you. So I'm expecting Liereyy to go hot and heavy for a map that is going to be aggressive here because he did have a lot of success with aggression in this series. Rocky Forest adds some complexities that Arabia would not. The first game as well, one of those that Liereyy was able to just really push home his advantage a lot easier. NILI had speculated before the previous game that we would see Arabia for Liereyy soon and maybe Chinese, so I'm thinking Liereyy will go Chinese on Arabia. Could see Aztecs as well. Though it feels like with the 9-villager start, we are not seeing Aztecs as much on Arabia. And it is not going to be Arabia, but we will have Aztecs. Liereyy playing it out on Kawasan. And it'll be Byzantines for the Viper. A rematch of the matchup he had against Hera in the group stage. Obviously, this was a different Viper we saw in the group stage. He definitely has learned some lessons here and has come in shape. At least in the last 2 games, he stepped it up, NILI.
And Hera in the after interview said, Byzantines are so predictable. They always do the same, and Aztec can punish that one quite easily. And Hera felt like, damn, my pressure through the center was really good, but Liereyy going for the lame.
Oh, that's so brutal. Because my impression of the 9-vil start is that you already struggle so much with food. Oh, that's an amazing start here for Liereyy. The other thing is, if he can get this board back to his base, we'll go to his POV here. He switches colors every game. But there he goes. He's got to stay close to it. It should be pretty easy for him, but we'll watch him bring it in. You can actually heal up the Eagle inside of your TC as well if you wish to, if you're Liereyy.
Also going for the pond at the bottom there and feels very reasonable. And yeah, lots of people even struggling to do everything.
God, he's so fast.
He's crazy, right? Now tries to shoot there, and that's just perfect. Perfect play.
Yep, healing up the Eagle, going for the dock now as well as we back out here to our POV on this where Leary's in red. But, it's interesting what Hera had said about it. It feels like to me, though, regardless of the civilization matchup, I think that just taking the middle hill and land control is so important here. I've seen plenty of games where someone's behind by 10 or 15 economy, but if they have the center area with a town center and a couple production buildings, it becomes so hard to break them.
Let's move back a bit. Viper does not know about the lame, right? Otherwise he would be pushing in deer. Like his scout was just sitting next to the berries there.
Yeah, he should be pushing deer for sure.
He
How much does he have
very
underneath
late.
his TC right now?
He has enough sheep, right?
Oh, he got housed as well. Oh, this is really. This hurts Viper so much.
And he will get to 400 food roughly. Oh, if he wants to click up after this, this won't work.
This might be a short game here.
Has to clear up another villager.
You can't really even counter lane at this time, right? And unfortunately, he doesn't have the luxury of Lierey's board being directly on the front of Lierey's base. Liereyy went forward super early for that. Viper might not be able to click Feudal here, NILI.
Oh, how is Viper not pushing deer? I don't understand it at all.
Agreed. I think at this point, you should have doubled back and pushed in your deer. I assume he scouted it, but maybe he's hoping that he can still click up somehow, but the whole game plan changes for Viper.
Oh, no.
This is already going to be difficult. We knew Aztecs were one of the best civilizations coming into this semifinal.
Hera, I think Viper has to play fast castle here.
Fast castle, possibly a delayed feudal into some walls. And then if Liereyy doesn't pressure your fish, you could maybe stabilize.
You have to pray that Liereyy wants to play one. Oh god, look at this.
Yeah, this is... I mean, I know the previous game for Viper was an incredible comeback. This would be more incredible.
Yeah, yeah. There's just a lot of stuff going wrong in the sense that Liereyy stole the one boar and Viper didn't really realize. Sometimes you can recover, you can push in your deer, but Viper wanted to play very scout heavy and now realized, damn, my build order is not going to work at all and is now walling this one off. Also, a really rough thing for him, look at his 3 gold spots.
His golds are awful.
Oh no.
This is like... I mean, this isn't how it works, but maybe everything that could go wrong is going to happen to him in this game.
Okay.
And then in the future games in this best of 9, he will have the better spawns and everything will start to go right.
Yeah.
Like maybe a couple fast conversions as the AoE gods will return the favor. But this is not good.
Let's think about the good things though, right? Right now, Liereyy not contesting the pawn of Viper, so that is safe.
That's huge.
Eagles that are being built, not crazy good against villagers early on. So Viper, he's not getting punished immediately.
I don't like that wall, though. I think that wall is far too ambitious. I think a big reason for it is because he feels like he's got to be greedy now, as this game hasn't flowed out nicely for him.
He just has to save the gold in some way, right? And then he tries to wall a bit further out.
But you diagonally wall from the stone to that wood line, and then to the edge of the map, as Kamiga was showing us here. So I think that wall is asking to be punished even further. We'll see. And we have a stat here. Byzantines, despite being the most popular picks in Kalassan, have a worse win rate than Dravidians, both in main event and in the qualifiers.
Wow, even worse. That's crazy. And Viper now, is he trying to scout this one out? Still not on gold. Tries to get an idea of what's happening. Walls off even more. It's just full crisis management here for the Viper. Right now, as I said, not getting punished for it, but it's not looking pretty.
But if Liereyy loses this game, it's going to be because of his bad scouting, which is due to the fact that he used his scout to steal a boar. He hasn't scouted where Viper's fish are. He's making a war galley, a fire galley, excuse me, on a pond where Viper isn't.
Yeah,
those fishing ships for Viper should all be dead right now.
But Viper is building something there, right? So the fire galley will help out eventually. And Viper actually goes into stone, and he wants to tech into cataphracts.
Maybe. I mean, it is going to be seen here. Not going to be something that Liereyy will hate seeing, I think, because he knows he has a pretty strong window. But I'd love to see cataphracts in this game. All things considered, Viper's eco balance is actually pretty good. Isn't floating enough food to click up to Castle Age, though.
No wood for buildings.
Yeah,
he had to go for the 2 farms, is building the dock at the bottom. He will have 700 food for quite some time before he even builds his first building to click up.
Again, I'm just going to restate this with the amount of time you had here. Oh, wait a second. Viper quick wall time. There's 2 eagles. Liereyy usually uses one to attack, the other to block here.
Viper blocks this one off at the bottom. Now tries to get this one up again. Another palisade. What?
He gets it, NILI. And he's also going to kill the eagles.
So good for him. And replay guy is on the task, I hope.
Yeah, wow. That's just so sick, man.
How did he do that?
What I was going to say is that Liereyy not scouting that dock is looking worse and worse and worse. Viper has had 5 fishing ships working freely this entire time.
Yeah.
Did lose that villager, unfortunately. But Viper's attention was on the quick walls at home. And for now, he's safe.
What a weird tower.
That tower does not get me excited.
Well, blocks out the wood, gives him back to the farms. Is heavily on stone anyways, but yeah... maybe he needs the berries that much.
Yeah, I mean, this is, again, great from Liereyy to be able to force Viper into such a weird decision there. Viper trying a million times to find the spot, initially got it there. That's where our villagers died, NILI.
Yeah.
And then here, whoop, thank you.
That's so sick. That's so sick. And yeah, Viper, well, we said it. Signature move. Hill on the castle and those crazy quick walls.
So, do you think Liereyy, at this point, is disappointed with how this game has flowed?
No, he didn't know about the chaos that Viper had endured himself, right?
Yep.
He just thinks, okay, Viper's game plan was this and that, and now we are in this state. He didn't know that Viper had completely different plans, and that's why we are here.
Really don't like that tower from Viper. I feel like that tower doesn't even fully protect the berries, but maybe he doesn't feel like he needs the berries with a couple farms and fishing ships. Viper being annoying here with the scout in the back. Gotta love that. And he was trying to distract here. Oh, and he doesn't get to the fishing ships. That was really nifty, though, right? Attacking one spot, force Liereyy to react. Scout still alive for Viper, too.
Fire Galley's auto-attack there, so it was tricky to get too much done. Now the big question, how is Liereyy playing this? He sold the stone. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for maybe even double monastery here.
I would say it's double monastery if it's Hera. If, like, Hera's been adding monasteries a little bit earlier than Liereyy. I compare those players so much because they're two the favorites to probably make the final, at least going into this. Even though Lierey's up against the Viper, I think that was the case. But we see more Eagle investment from Liereyy, almost like he doesn't believe that Viper will actually go for the cataphracts, which is so good against infantry.
Yeah, they would be crazy. Liereyy, he sent that one villager out, though, for the second barracks, right? Feels very natural that that villager might even go further, and yeah, look at that. That's a clear setup for maybe double monastery into a TC and buy some stone back?
Okay, here we go. I don't know why chat is laughing right now.
Viper has hair?
I don't know why chat is laughing at the moment. The wall's in front of the TC, though. Really smart because the Eagles could dive underneath the town center.
Did production do something that we didn't see?
It's very possible. We're very focused on the game here.
Ah, hello. This is not even his final form yet.
Oh, man. That scout very weak. Sees the TC there. Viper, we thought he'd be dead at this point. He's still alive. He is going to be in Castle Age in a bit. I'm expecting the castle drop. We do have the monastery, though, for Liereyy, which is such an important part of this attack.
Yeah, needs to get an answer there against the cutters. And double monastery.
Whoa.
This is an atonement play.
Yeah. So he'll need to spend resources on atonement, which allows him to convert enemy monks.
Something that Liereyy won't focus on at all. And then Viper, probably a 1 TC play, tries to retake control of that center.
Really hurts Viper here if he ends up losing this dock, because then his fishing ships won't be bringing in food. I think it's worth it here if you're Liereyy to just take the dock out, even if you lose all the Eagles.
I think he should have dropped off the food here, because now those fishing ships basically having the food on board, but nowhere to drop off.
Yep. I don't think Viper's going to make it over there for a while. Can we see Leary's vision here? Does he even know the castle's coming up? Not really. And
I saw a massive amount of villagers on stone, right? He has a scout at the bottom there that's maybe tracking.
Yeah.
He has an eagle there. Yeah, he should know. He should know.
Okay, so he's expecting it, which is what prompted the double monastery. Aztecs get 33% more gold per relic. I'm worried about how long this buildup is going to take Viper, but I'm loving this from him as he goes out to kill the monk, and he needs patience. Bait. Cataphract obviously would get converted there. Monk's still pretty weak.
One villager tries to rebuild the dock.
That's true. That's exactly what he's trying to do. The fishing ships really aren't working right now for Viper. I think the 9 on food includes those fishing ships. I'm not sure if idle fishing ships are showing capture age or not.
Should be 6 idle. 6 idles.
Okay, yeah, gotcha,
Pretty
gotcha.
sure. Pretty
Okay,
sure, yeah.
all right. Well, cataphracts.
Conversion started. Atonement conversion started now as well. Cataphract should be thrown in there after the monk dies. Should be low HP from earlier.
Viper tries to switch on to the monk, and he doesn't get any of them.
Oh, that's really unfortunate. Obviously, Eagle have resistance, so I can see why there were no conversions there. But the monk should have converted, no?
Maybe. I mean, conversions have a bit of a range in which sometimes they'll come in and other times they won't. We were expecting that Viper would maybe have some luck return to him. Didn't happen so far. And I'm wondering if Liereyy knows if that Viper tried to convert a monk there.
Yeah, not sure. Oh, that one Eagle actually got in. Quite a surprise. So maybe we could see some missteps, but no, Liereyy saw it and is going for atonement himself.
Yep. I mean, Eagles are seen as a counter, right? It's like light cav in the sense that you shouldn't see the Eagles get converted very frequently. Naturally, we're going to see this Eagle get converted back because those monks have more HP, and Liereyy was converting for a long time. But it's desperation from Viper. He didn't realize the units had come through on that side fast enough, so that forced more idle time. And you know what you need in this situation if you're Viper? 2 more monasteries, I think. You need to somehow get more monks. That's his whole game plan. Tricky business for him to come back in this one.
Remember that he has really bad golds though, so will be tricky for him. Obviously, economy really underwhelming. Fish is not really working for him. 7 on food right now. Kata production can't even be good.
Yeah, Leary's going to go into archers as well. This is a player that does still have some fishing ships, has 2 TCs, notably a TC in the middle area.
Liereyy techs into crossbow behind this. Has fletching. Interesting.
Watch, Viper's going to wall this eagle in. Oh, no, he's going to kill it. Never mind.
Low HP.
Well, there is another one. Great job from Liereyy to pay attention to this.
Nice one. Even sends one monk around. Could maybe even heal up that low HP eagle. No.
Well, he could. Now, Viper's going to lose that one. Both players still paying very close attention to this. I love cataphracts in the matchup, but it's only on the back of better economy. Viper's going to have to get so many conversions here. Here he goes. Leary's not known for his monks. So let's see how he handles this.
Do we maybe have fervor in there?
You might delete this. If you think it's close, you might need to delete those 2 monks.
Not impossible. Eagle will be dealt with at the right-hand side. Now gets some in. And now the conversions can transition onto the Eagles. This could be good for the Viper.
Yeah, but he's not converting that many of the Eagles here. I'm not even sure if he has Sanctity.
He needs to click on the monks in the back, and he's not getting any conversions again.
Oh no, Viper, again, trying to convert Eagles, it seems like an impossible task. Conversions coming in for the Aztecs because they have so much HP on those monks, which gives them time to sing their song. Again, does Viper have Sanctity?
Let's check maybe. Could we see a monk? He doesn't even have a monk on the field so that we could check.
I don't think he does, honestly. I could be wrong. I mean, Eagles kill the monks pretty quickly, so it probably could have been due to that. And also, cataphracts have 9 attack in Castle Age, right?
Yeah.
So, and no bonus damage.
Yeah, but 10 here, so Liereyy, if he only got Sanctity himself, 5 hits would be the way to go here. And now we have a monk. Could we maybe check if Viper got the HP upgrade there? And he doesn't have it.
Oh, that's such a bad thing. I mean, that explains it, right?
Yeah.
He would have a little bit more time to get some of these conversions. And unfortunately for Viper, from the start in this game, it's been difficult due to the lane, but this whole game has snowballed on him. It's looking highly likely that if Liereyy continues playing like this, that he's going to win this game and go up 3-2.
Demo is being prepared here. Could be enough. Now the first monks. Oh god, that's not a good thing for Viper.
No.
I think that's an elite. Oh, gets one!
Oh, there we go. All right. See, life is fair. I found it kind of funny that the Aztec monk got deleted there.
Yeah.
Just like the different wardrobe, you know?
Siege Workshop. What are we thinking about that? Liereyy has such an easy way to get to redemption.
I think there's a lot of hope in Viper's heart right now, but I don't think he truly thinks the siege is going to matter. I think maybe a big siege play in the middle into a castle to surprise Liereyy is what he's thinking. But when you see that many monks from the Aztecs, I think you've got to be thinking that it's just not going to work out as your opponent's going to get redemption. The redemption hasn't come in yet for Liereyy, and Liereyy does have crossbowmen. So it's possible that Liereyy brings all his army forward and loses it all to the siege.
2 minutes before reaching him.
Yeah.
That would be Viper's dream. Cataphracts going for the counterattack. Could maybe find some villager kills here on the stone. Rest is walled for now.
I have to say, I am extremely disappointed by the lack of Kappa fracs from the Twitch chat here. I thought you guys were better than that, but it's okay. I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself. We're not going to see cataphracts again, most likely, in NAC 4, so this is your time. Great recovery. Okay. Cataphracts not able to break through there. A unit relies on bonus damage. You have to produce them from a castle. It's so costly. Viper, 59 eco versus 78 from Liereyy.
What are the resources from Liereyy here? Like, he can go imp again. Pretty massive.
You could get every single monk technology, which might be worth it.
Yeah, some of them certainly. Block printing extra range could be one of the earliest upgrades he focuses on. And Viper 30 food in the bank, 70 gold. Is he even trying to make an attack happen once Liereyy reaches Imp? I'm a bit surprised that Lierey's out here.
Yeah. I think it's fine, though, right? He's not really seeing a lot. Watch the Mangonel pop out and get a big shot here, and then I regret saying it, and a big shot from Viper. There's 2 Mangonels. You're right, NILI. This is not the time. Does not be the time to be taking a fight. But Viper calls the GG. That game felt pretty over for Viper when he didn't realize his board was stolen.
Yeah.
I think he could have maybe adapted to it a bit better. Unfortunately for him, I think it was too late when he realized that it was actually gone. But the good news for Viper is you look at that and say, well, I should lose. If that happens to me at the start, up against Aztecs, I absolutely should lose. Still a best of 9, still plenty of games to play out.
Certainly a game to shake off, right? It felt like the game was over at the 4-minute mark when he went forward. Maybe felt, okay, I could have clicked up at 400 food there, but then you have to rely on your fishing chips. It was a horrible scenario for him. The deer push was needed.
Yep. Yes, it was. So Viper, again, the easiest loss to shake off so far today, because it's pretty simple to know that you're just behind from that point forward. And we'll see the draft here in a second. See what civilizations are remaining, see what maps are remaining. Viper will have some good ones to choose from.
We know about Fortified Clearing, one of the maps where we think Viper could have an advantage there. Also Northern Isles, we think could be maybe slightly the favor for the Viper. Graveyards and Arabia, some specialties.
Okay,
Here we go.
so NILI, let's theory craft, as you say here, right? Because we're getting close to the end, and this is where preparation for all these, where you play these civilizations is important. For Viper, I'm thinking Bengalis or Koreans on Northern Isles. On Fortified Clearing, Bengalis or Hindustanis, possibly. On Arabia, I could see Mayans. It seems like a pretty simple pick. Maybe Berbers or Hindustanis on Graveyards. Do you agree with that?
I think Berbers won't be played. We have Hindustan. Well, we're
Please be
jumping into
Berbers.
the next game. Hindustanis here, Mayans on Arabia, and then we have Bengalis and Koreans for the 2 other maps. And Liereyy starting off with Chinese here on Dry Graveyards, one of his home maps.
And I think Chinese are absolutely the better civilization if you're able to play into walls and be defensive. Now, they're a bit different here in this tournament due to the 9-villager start. The start game with 3 extra villagers, but with minus 200 food and 50 wood. Actually, that is accurate. Wait.
Yeah, it is accurate. The thing is...
Continue.
No, it's not. Like, typically we start with 0 food.
Yes.
In this game mode, we start with minus 100
100
food.
Correct.
So you need to get to 150 food before you can get the first villager. It is relatively similar, maybe 10 to 15 seconds worse than our typical 3 villager start.
Correct, yeah. So, just wanted to be clear there on the data, but I think the big one are the Chinese farms. Again, you're starting with more villagers and your techs are cheaper. Plus, you can do basically anything. If you want to go knights, camels, crossbows, even cav archers are half decent. I don't think we'll see that. You can do it. The Hindustanis, they do lack one of the most important units in Age of Empires 2, and that would be the knight. So they cannot do that, but the reason for that is they have the best camels in the game, many would say. Camel riders do attack faster. Villagers also are cheaper and get cheaper as the game goes on. But I think the important thing here for Viper is that he somehow deals with the crossbow from Liereyy. And it can be tempting at times to try and go for the Gulam, which is the unique unit. But that oftentimes is not going to be possible on a map this open. So the key unit for Viper, we know the camels are going to be strong, but it's actually Skirmisher here in this matchup.
Skirmisher Camel. Very, very likely that we will see those, and we have seen it. Didn't we see that matchup earlier on Enclosed? And I think Mr. Yo went for Camel and Skirmisher, couldn't really weather the storm from the Chinese aggression. Scout Archer there from Hera, if I remember correctly. So Viper needs to come up with a bit of a better hold. Could be a wild game because the woodlines are reasonably far away from the town center.
And, sometimes players are a little scared as the Chinese that due to the lacking food at the start, they're not going to be able to compete in early feudal, and they're going to want a wall. And this particular generation seems very open, which I think suits the Viper. It gives him some opportunities. There he is on the way to feudal age. We still don't see the click for Liereyy. I've seen Viper play scouts so many times. I feel like on this type of map, it's the perfect play. So I'm going to look to see Viper go for scouts, and then it's the transitions off of the scouts, and then the big question of will Liereyy go for scouts, because this guy loves to open archers.
Liereyy, 38 8 seconds idle time, so roughly 1.5 villagers ahead here with Chinese. You're expecting to have some idle time. And Liereyy is not on gold for now, so there could be an option that also he thinks that scouts is the way to go. We mentioned it earlier, it is so open, it is tough to wall, so mobility often pays off.
This could be pretty good for Viper. He's going to push in his deer, but he also just spotted Lierey's scout. And so he doesn't know where Liereyy is, but naturally he's going to head the direction where Lierey's scout is. Maybe I'm wrong. It almost looks like he's waiting for Lierey's scout at the moment.
Maybe he thinks, nah, Chinese can't be up earlier, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Viper maybe just wants to hide it, see the scout, and then go for the attack. Not impossible, goes into the right direction, but misses the scout badly.
If he sees that, he will 100% turn around to go try and kill it, but...
It's too far away now, I believe.
I think, yeah, by the time you get there, you're probably not getting the damage done, so better to scout your opponent.
And as you said, like Liereyy, he could play archers, and that is what he's confirming now. Sends 2 villagers onto gold in the back here, too late to go for man-at-arms. So archer defense, and Viper indeed, even if he opens scouts, he needs to build skirms eventually.
The thing that Liereyy does the best at with archers is that he finds the proper times on when to sit at home and when to go forward. And I feel like if I ever open straight archers, the scout player mixes in skirmishers rather early, and then I'm moving out with my archers and spearmen and it all dies.
Yep.
So I'm curious to see how he plays this. I wonder if it's extreme patience into some eco, and then he'll just add scouts against skirms later. But, I mean, Viper hasn't found the guy yet, so he still has to answer the question of what Liereyy is opening for.
Could run into the main TC here. Obviously only 2 villagers around, so won't lose too many HP. And even dodges the full volley. Sees the spearman, scouts the archer range, and should know what he's up against.
I'm sure Viper's like, shocker! Archers from Liereyy, wow, so surprised. And what does he do? He goes for the range.
Yeah, knows, okay, I don't want to die like T90OFFICIAL over there.
True.
And just gets to the proper respawns, has to wall this area off. Obviously not a pretty one.
Yep. Good job from Viper there as well. Walling with 2 villagers, also tracking the initial scout from Liereyy. Still could have some work cut out for him on the walls, but Viper 2 scouts, Liereyy fighting it away with villagers. If that's 3 scouts, Viper commits. 2 scouts is more of a thing that Liereyy could fight off, but it is going to be some work, of course, and Liereyy sends his spearman back. Viper's still thinking about it. Viper now has to defend his villagers, and there comes the archer. This is what I mean. Like, this tiny little attack can actually do so much damage.
Running into 2 wolves potentially, though. 2 villagers still working away here, and indeed, this is so good for the Viper.
Oh, Viper summoning the wolves. And again, it's like the Age of Empires god said, okay, Viper lost a boar in the previous game, and he was GG from the start. What can we do to make this fair again? And that was amazing.
We've seen 17 different civilizations on dry graveyards across the whole tournament, and now Chinese are the 18th. We didn't see Chinese yet?
Pretty crazy. I believe it. Scouts looking for damage. Viper's got 4 of them now. Liereyy isn't walled, and this is the issue. The scouts have the mobility. The archers take time in the build-up. Lierey's not had the start he would have wanted. That should be an easy kill for the Viper.
Oh, Viper looking hot here. Tries to jump on those. 1 villager down. Scout losing a lot of HP as well. Viper wants to even out this series.
Yeah, and so now what should happen is Viper can bring the skirmishers forward, which is a great addition against the archers and the spearmen, which in turn should lead to the Chinese player wanting to go for scouts. I'm not sure Lierey's economy is good enough to go for scouts currently.
Doesn't have the setup, right? Look at that. Invested a lot into the wall. Still 14 on wood. So could maybe squeeze out the stable. Just queued up 2 more farms. So stable delayed.
Yeah, but the good news for him is that Viper didn't know the archers were there. So he didn't actually stick around long enough to know the archers were in Lierey's base still. So there's some paranoia for Viper right now. We'll actually go to his point of view for a second. And look at him searching for those archers. He does not know they're still back at Lierey's base.
Look at that. That's a pure radar house.
Yep, yep.
That's so weird. And yeah, he's scared. Sends another scout in there. And he's like, Liereyy, you're one of the most aggressive players in Age of Empires. You're so active with your scouts. So active with your archers as well. Where are you?
Do we stay on Viper's point of view until he finds those archers? I'm really curious. Liereyy might never leave his base.
Look at how scared he is. And he's walling off his woodline there. That's a bit surprising to me. Maybe wall at the right-hand side could have also been an option. Finally sees those archers. I wouldn't be surprised if he cancels the walls at the bottom now.
Yeah, absolutely. Because now we could go for the full walls. A great find as we switch back to our observer's point of view. And Liereyy just kind of ran right into it. He didn't use his initial scout at all to confirm that.
KD 6-1 here. Really nice. And indeed, typically you lead with your scout there. Something Liereyy didn't do, and now has to build a defensive tower. And look at that truck happening here. Liereyy not happy with this opening.
Yeah, seriously, he's got this weird little... He just kind of sunk down lower into his chair, and he realizes that's sloppy. And the thing about these big moments is that the small moments make all the difference between our pros. As that's a small moment there. Villager on the other side of the buildings. That should be a dead villager. And Liereyy going to be more frustrated with himself.
What a save. But still skirms around, Spearman at the front. I got excited, Tristan.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. Wolf attacking Viper now. As Viper will probably have the superior castle age time, though we shouldn't underestimate the Chinese. Liereyy still only lost one villager.
Good timing with that tower.
Okay. Bonus that Viper needs to remember he has. He literally asked me the other day. He's not going to like I said this. He asked me, is it all stable units from Hindustanis that have a bonus against buildings? And I said, yes. It's all stable buildings. So it would be the scouts, right? It says light cap. It's scouts as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. You looked at me like you questioned
No. I was just in disbelief how much you know about this game.
Oh, well, thank you, NILI. That really ensures that I'm confident to finish the series. But no, I mean, Viper is doing that currently, and Liereyy had to respect it. A lot of times players are going to just place another house behind, but he had to place like 3 of them there.
Yeah. Left-hand side could still be broken. Skirm still poking quite a bit, and all those scouts can actually surround that palisade wall.
Yeah, they're going to break in. It's so fast, I'm telling you. Liereyy has to go for a full wall behind this. He is also sneaking archers.
Can you wall this in time, though? Those archers can maybe get 1-2 villager kills. I don't like how he walled this in that he still has the builds at the front.
I agree, and I think at the very least, you need to have your skirmishers patrolling on that wood line. So we'll see what Viper can do, because certainly he's focused on the attack. Lierey's focused on the defense, but the walls, they might not stay up, and he has to delete a farm to place a building behind that one.
Or maybe some repair, but that's going to be ugly. Skirms are scaring this one away. Now the counterattack around the corner any moment here, and that could be some dead builds. He's kind of trapping himself a bit there.
Oh, Viper has this game as long as he doesn't make mistakes. He has this game, and he reacts, but he's going to lose all those villagers. Oh, man.
How many dead villagers is this going to be? At least 2, maybe even more. One villager fights off the right-hand side, gets away with 3, tries to quick volley the scout. What are we witnessing?
Oh, my God. I mean, is he going to lose the Vill? Life isn't fair if he doesn't lose the Vill. Okay, life is fair again. He's going to kill the scout that he had originally trapped. He's still trying to get in. Viper will reach Castle Age in 30 seconds, and Liereyy hasn't clicked up yet.
Brutal. Archers are going down here as well. Those villagers willing to fight, but against 4 scouts, feels a bit ill-advised.
What a series this is, NILI. It's looking like it could be 3-3 soon, as long as Viper executes with this timing. He's got resources on resources. He has as many resources in bank as Liereyy does, but he clicked up, and that is a short response from Viper. Beautiful play from him. We have a 3-3 series.
Oh, what a pretty thing that we just saw there. The scouts so active, the skirms being used, and we saw how brilliantly Viper anticipated Lierey's next attack, cleared out the army, and benefited from it.
It was so good. It was so cool to be able to switch to the POV, cam there, to see it in real time there from the Viper. I take it back to the draft here, and I want to remind people that Viper has saved. So go ahead.
Debbie on stream saw his water is empty and got over there, put a new bottle there.
Oh, that's very nice.
Lovely.
What if Viper was like, it's the wrong kind of water? No, I'm kidding.
Stay hydrated.
Look at the draft for a second.
Okay.
There's 2 Viper home maps remaining. I would throw them into the category of Lierey's weakest maps if he has any. We haven't seen a lot from Liereyy on Northern Isles. It's a tricky map to play, right? And Viper picked it first. And then Fortified Clearing is more of that arena-style map, which Liereyy has historically struggled with more than other maps. So if you're going to lean towards anyone right now in this series, I would actually lean towards the Viper in terms of the civilizations he has. I think they fit, but also the the confidence he has on those maps.
Kind of his home maps, right? That's why they were on his side. And Northern Isles, his first pick, the first map that he said, I want to play this map and don't want to give you a chance to ban it.
Absolutely. Crazy series here. Liereyy will probably go for Arabia, but think about it. You might want to save Arabia and pick one of Viper's home maps that you're just going to have to play anyways if you want to win this series, right?
And then the big question, like, do I want to squeeze in Northern Isles? My civilization's there. Oh, look at that. Saracens, Persian, Huns, the options there. Probably fortified clearing. Likely the choice there with Burgundians. Arabia, I could see Huns, so maybe it has to be Saracens or Persians or Northern Isles.
Okay.
I'm not getting super excited about that.
I certainly haven't seen Liereyy play with those civilizations a lot. Thank you, Rog, very much for donating to the prize pool here. Guys, when this series started, it looked like it was going to be a quick one. It looked like another fast little 5-0 there in a best-of-9 like Hera was able to do in the first semifinal. But no, we have the semifinal that we dreamed of here, 3-3. Viper and Liereyy ready to go. They didn't really take a break here.
Yeah.
I believe they were allowed to, right? Like midway through if they wanted to take like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. After game 4, I give them 5-minute break.
Okay.
Because best of 9 obviously can be really exhausting, right? We had a small toilet break there from the players, but they're ready to roll.
And what will Liereyy choose? It is probably a really good choice from Liereyy, actually. He saves Arabia, and he goes for one of Viper's home maps instead. He has the Burgundians, a great civilization on closed maps. But then the Viper, he also has a civilization which is no stranger to the closed maps.
Yeah, and if we think about Burgundians, we can go through the bonuses. It does not even feel fair, right? Typically, we're going for light cap, we are going for monks, monasteries, right? Now let's go just through it. Eco upgrades in age earlier and cheaper. Therefore, you have the way better economy. If you attack into light cap, if you attack into husbandry, cheaper as well. If you want to go for cavaliers, early in age earlier. You also get food if you get the relics. And on this map, we have 9 relics. Burgundians, a crazy good choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And you didn't even touch on most of the bonuses there. All these bonuses are relevant competitively. This civilization has seen some slight nerfs, but it feels like a civilization which is going to be consistently nerfed because it's so strong. We even saw the Revolution, probably the highlight of this tournament so far. So while you have the great economy, you can then click a button to change all of that economy into warriors later on. We might see it. Liereyy did it before to beat Hera. Viper on the other side, though, he definitely has no shortage of bonuses. I think some of these units and bonuses on screen are a bit more situational, but the monks having lots of armor at the bottom of that list is huge. And then the town centers spawning extra villagers when you get to the next stage is also a big bonus.
Yeah, I would be surprised if you picked the civilization for the ship regeneration bonus. And yeah, simply having 2 extra villagers once he reaches feudal age. 2 extra villagers once he reaches castle age is really good. Plus, we said monks, something we see a lot here, and just withstanding some more hits is so much better with the extra armor.
Okay, so fortified clearing has been changed a lot. The original version actually had stone walls on the outside. Then a version came out where there was no walls on the outside like this. And now your version, I like this change, has placed some rocks along the edge of the map, which means you can't wall to the edge of the map. So that's what players were doing on the most recent version prior to this. Instead, now players are going more for a little egg shape here, just to be sure that the opponent's not going to be aggressive and find any success.
Yeah, and we've seen some people going for some aggression. Seems like both players are not intending to do anything of those kinds. Both players pushing the walling up, and we play kind of like, as you described, one of the early versions of this map.
Yeah, so, the question always is, because we know the Burgundians are going to go for light cap. I mean, they should, right? Cheaper, stable upgrades, great economy. There's going to be light cap. What do you do as the Bengalis? Because a lot of players have so much faith in the Bengali monks and that armor that they just make a lot of monks. But still, light cap with forging. I think they do 3 damage. They need 3 hits to kill a Bengali monk, light cap forging. And that's not that many hits when you can mass as many light cap as the Burgundians are capable of. So we'll see if Viper wants to go for Spearman in front of his monks, or if he wants to go for the Viper-esque, perhaps greedy approach of not protecting his monks.
I think adding in some Spearmen there, especially at the start when the Burgundian player wants to focus his monks somewhere else, feels like a very likely situation. But still, those relics on the outside will be tough, right? Because he doesn't have the mobility. We have 5 relics in the inside, 4 on the outside. Feels like 4 on the northwest side and 1 in the east.
I love Viper for attacking the house there. I mean, nothing else is happening, right? But sometimes it can freak your opponent out a little bit. I do that a lot. People don't like it, but I highly recommend all the viewers at home, if you have a scout, just be annoying. Could also be a negative if you're not going to be the first one to Feudal Age, though. So I wouldn't suggest doing that if you're going fast castle and your opponent's going for Feudal Age attack. But I think Lierey's scout... Oh, they might actually encounter each other here on this left-hand side, as he's scouting the outside, not the inside, to see what Viper's base looks like.
Not a lot of stuff happening here, obviously. In Dark Age, maybe time to remind you guys that tomorrow we will have the best of 9 finals, 17 GMT, 17 UTC. Best of 9 there. Hera is waiting for the winner. And before that, at 14 UTC, we will have a show match. Team T90 against Team NILI. We will both draft 4 players, and they will play a co-op, 4v4 against each other, all playing the same account and switching once they reach the next age. So Team NILI could maybe draft someone like Jordan into Dark Age, and once my team reaches Feudal Age, Jordan takes his hands off the keyboard and mouse, and my next player, for example, Nicov, could take over.
I guess we're drafting live on stream as well, right?
We are drafting our teams live on stream, yeah.
Ooh, that
and
sounds
then
fun.
you put your players, and we will play 3 games, and you can actually change the order of your players in between the games as well. So if someone like you are setting in TaToH, and he plays 6 Barracks Drush in Dark Age, next time you can put him into him.
Ooh. I'm really pumped for that. Can we do like a 60-second pump up our team segment? I got to write a speech tonight.
Hotkey Nightmares? No, no, no. All 8 players will sit on their PCs.
Yeah, they're on separate PCs.
Yeah, so everyone has their normal hotkeys.
And then they have me and NILI speaking to them and giving them strategy, which means they're going to play better than they ever have. So that should be exciting. Well, Liereyy here, struggling to get the food to click up. He's going for the stable as we expected. Also has the blacksmith. And he will eventually click up. It might require a little bit of idle time. He's actually going to get loom, which could indicate that he's choosing to send villagers outside of his little walls. For Viper, he's already up. His build orders looked a bit cleaner, but he hasn't collected as many resources. However, we'll have more villagers, which in theory could even that out a little bit more.
At one time, it indeed will. Wood upgrade now for him. Liereyy still without the second wood upgrade, and queues up quite some farms without the second farm upgrade. Different approach. I think Hera, for example, does 3 farms without farm upgrade, or 5 farms without farm upgrade, and then 5, and then the rest with heavy plow.
So he goes farms pre-horse collar?
Yeah, 5 of them, and then only, at least that's a build order. I've seen him, I asked him about it, and he thinks it's really strong.
Okay. Because having done quite a bit of studying on the build order for this map with Burgundians, granted not before the recent change.
Shouldn't change too much.
Yeah, I agreed. I was always told 26 plus 2, smooth as can be, you'll have 3 to 4 Dark Age farms. And then you can get heavy plow. I think for Liereyy, I think he maybe went up 25 plus 2 or something. But, I mean, it's not that big a deal at this point.
Yeah, but no heavy plow for that amount of farms.
That's true.
I think Hera's build order might be a bit better there. Now gate towards the outside to get some scouting in there as well. Viper still 5 on gold. Should be the double monastery. Is he maybe dreaming of triple monastery?
I could see it.
No, that's an extra town center there.
Yeah, he's just deleting
1 villager town center.
2 villagers.
1 villager. 2. Nah, why? 3 villagers.
No, it's 2. That's
it's
totally
5.
2.
It's 5.
Hey, can we see
it's
Lierey's base?
5
Can we look at
villagers.
Lierey's
5
base?
villagers.
Lierey's base. Lierey's base. Look at Lierey's base. Vodka, what are you doing?
5 villagers.
God, we need a new observer, bro.
Okay, only 1 monastery.
He's laughing right now. That's not funny.
And the second wood upgrade here for the Viper as well. And now, as you can see, 4 villages ahead. Also drops his 3rd town center. So is really considering getting reasonable numbers here.
Yep. I think the tricky thing becomes, do you spread out the light cap to the outside if you're Liereyy?
Yeah, he has to.
My answer is initially no, because it's so much easier to get the relics in the middle. So I think, what's he have, 5 light cap? I think having 3 in the middle and then 1 on either side is actually a mistake currently. The timing on it is really tricky, but Viper's clearly going to be headed towards the middle. Liereyy will be doing the same, adding the second town center now. Notably, no heavy plow.
Still without heavy plow. And honestly, with that big of an investment here for Liereyy, adding 4 extra scouts, taking into light cap, delaying that second town center, if Viper gets 2 relics, he shouldn't be too unhappy.
Yeah. Also, I love the recognition from Viper because he's opted for the town center so early to now say, I need to go to the outside. And what do you know? You have Liereyy heading over there as well with the light cap. Remember in the previous game, that one instance where Liereyy lost all his archers because he didn't use his scout to protect his army? This is a similar instance where Viper has to use his scout to know if his monk can comfortably move out there. And he's going to make a mad dash for it right now. But he sees the light calves on the way. Could actually convert one light calf with the Bengali monk after Sanctity.
Yeah, doesn't have Sanctity though. That's why he still goes back for now. Now double monk setup. Can maybe start the conversion and could block it off there. Okay, try to hide behind the trees. Now goes to the side. As I said, this is such a big investment from Liereyy. Now even goes for forging behind this one as well. Viper has to accept I have the villager lead, but you will have the massive relic lead.
Yeah, obviously very difficult for Viper to know this. You have to fear the Burgundians. But let's see. Again, you need 3 hits after forging on a Sanctity Bengali monk.
Like he could start the conversion in that pocket there next to the woodline, right? He didn't really see it though. Goes for the further away relic. How many relics does the Viper see on the outside? I think he sees both of them. Yeah, at least the closest two.
Yeah, but you know, it's interesting Liereyy isn't getting anywhere close to the relics.
Barracks? He patrols in the area where he thinks the monks would walk past.
Also, small thing, but on Arena, I know all the clowns would be screaming. Liereyy clicked those villagers to the town center. They left the gate.
Yeah, he is.
So he walked very far to get there, and he still hasn't completed the TC. As the light have run in, Viper will like this.
Yeah, walls behind this one. At the top, maybe can do a bit more damage and take it out. He actually deleted a farm?
Worth it. He did kill a light cap. All that's worth it.
But he could have killed the light cap without deleting the farm.
Well, he was trying to wall there, NILI.
Okay, worth it.
Well, I mean, Viper's going to be bringing in the relics. NILI just had this look and like, okay, I don't want to argue with you right now. 3 TCs for Liereyy. He's behind by 13 villagers. Liereyy does have 3 relics, which is pretty nice. Could always be more. It looks like he has full control over the middle right now, but Viper's hoping to change that with some spearmen.
Viper will get 2 relics, Liereyy will get 7, and as I said, I think that is totally fine for the Viper. He will have a massive villager lead. Still remember, typically a relic is worth 1.5 villagers. With Burgundian bonus, it's more like 3 villagers.
All right, there we have it. Lycav see the monks. Viper might opt for a 4th town center. Viper might opt for a 4th castle, which is extremely common here.
Look at that. Indeed, 4th town center is coming out. Kind of a no man's land, right? It's a bit there to farm next to the woodline as well. Left-hand side would have felt a bit more natural protecting his extra gold.
That's possible. Viper, classic wood TC there, just for lots of farms later. And I think Lierey's going to have a tough time here. That could be 2 conversions. These are Bengali monks. Oh, don't convert the... He switched to the full HP one. He uses the light cap, and he's going to kill that monk from Liereyy. No doubt in my mind.
He's healing. He didn't go for the kill. He just healed up his light cap instead of converting.
Wow, interesting stuff. And Liereyy also tried this, and Viper had walled it in. In the meantime, Viper looking strong in this 3-3 semifinal. This is not a best of 7, it's a best of 9, so we will move along past this game either way. Little bit of action on the side there. I think a spearman just got converted, almost killed the monk. But that'll be relic number 5 for Liereyy, so he's guaranteed to have the relic lead. But Viper has the big economy lead right now.
Where did that monk go? He moved away a bit further to the top. Now some conversions here. Monk actually hopping in and out to get better conversions.
Yeah,
nice.
That's pretty nice there. Look at that guy go.
And Viper tried to be smart.
He tried to be smart? Are you saying he's not smart usually?
Well, it seems like Lierey's smarter.
Well, unfortunately, it's not very smart at the high level to use the guard on the monks because they just follow too far away. I feel like if they were to change that and it would follow directly behind the unit, it could actually revolutionize play. As it stands,
hold on. It could revolutionize play.
Get it? Revolution? That wasn't a joke. Are you really? It could change. Yeah, it could really change.
Okay. You heard it here first. If Age of Empire guard system would change, it would revolutionize Age of Empires.
Listen, just practice Bombard Cannon Micro, okay?
Okay.
Just practice that.
Okay. Let's take a look here. Another monk is out. Spearmen are trying to chase them away. No. Big commitment here.
Atonement's in for 1 player here. You can convert the monks. I think Liereyy should be going for that if he can. There's a lot of light cap. Viper wants to drop a castle. This could be disastrous. I can't tell what's going to happen. Oh my goodness.
Does he really think this is the greatest choice? Now the light cap converted can go for those monks, commits to 2, but that will be a conversion back.
I think he's going to abandon this. Viper abandons this. He had the villager lead, but he doesn't any longer. Liereyy has 6 relics. Liereyy will have map control, and Lierey's going to click up to the Imperial Age.
Oh, Viper, full disaster there. Misjudged the situation a bit, and it just felt like 3-4 more spearmen and could have been a way better hold.
Yeah, seriously. Also interesting how Viper didn't upgrade to pikemen there. He saw the numbers.
No, Liereyy is missing the second building.
Oh.
Liereyy could have been up, now needs to rush out the university. Oh, look at the resources. He could have been up 30, 40 seconds already.
Could make a difference. Viper still isn't going to click for a bit, though, right? I am curious where Liereyy wants to build the castle. I think if he spots Viper's castle, convert the monks here, dude. Convert the monks. He's going to convert the monks. Viper, be careful. Oh, no, that's so annoying.
And now this could be the chain reaction again, right?
Yeah,
Another
more.
monk.
Delete it.
Yeah, has to delete it. Oh, that's ugly.
Okay, so what you do if you're Liereyy, you convert a Ville, and then you just go around.
Viper misses the second building as well. Also no university. And that's why he clicks handcard now.
Disaster. Everything's falling apart.
Oh, those poor players. Are they feeling it?
They've got to be feeling it. It's a best of freaking 9, man. It's a lot of games, a lot of pressure, and they are simply human here, NILI.
Okay.
Look at these
Thought
monks.
they were dancers.
Look at these monks. Are you saying dancers aren't human? No comment from NILI on that one. We'll get clarification on that point later on. Let's see.
Some healing. And those should be the high armor monks, right?
I believe so, yes.
Villager does 1 damage.
Oh, that's so annoying. He could also, I think he only converted with 1 monk, so he could actually convert the Ratha here.
Oh yeah, I think he's locked it in. This would be so bad for Viper. No, convert the villager!
Okay, light cap coming in. This is still more than worth it. Obviously, Lierey's prioritizing a million different things right now. Remember, this is Viper's home map. It is a map that I see as one of Lierey's weakest. That is not to say that he's weak on it.
Yeah.
It's just that he's so good on all the other maps. And Viper really struggling. It's like he had the control. It felt like maybe he could take the middle. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring it back to Liereyy producing as many light cap as he did. That was awesome. So many people stopped producing the light cap. He had 16 when that attack happened.
Yeah, that was really nice and paid off so much, right? Because Viper, yeah, he went for Spearman, he went for Monks, but still simply got overwhelmed here. And Viper, yeah, villager advantage. And yeah, it will also increase by 8 once he reaches Imperial Age, but it won't be enough.
You know what's funny? If you're ever going to lose a Ratha to a conversion, you should probably switch it to ranged mode. You switch it off of melee mode into ranged mode so it's less effective to raid. Yeah? No?
What?
Never mind. Okay, we move on here. We've got a trebuchet coming from Liereyy. Range is for him as well. Chemistry on the way. We've got Hussar on the way as well. Viper isn't walled. You can't really wall the sides here fully. So Liereyy looking to raid the sides, kind of reminiscent of what Viper had done to him on Rocky Forest.
I think Viper needs to open his walls at the front a bit more. No? It just feels like he is trying to squeeze himself through here. It just feels all so tight and now blocking his gate there at the front as well.
It's just perfect Burgundian play. Cheap, stable units, lots of economy. And Lierey's brought in more resources, 1,000 more resources, and 7 relics with the center gold and stone control. He's going to get another raid on the other side where Viper's trying to place a castle, and oh god, all Viper's pikemen are dying as well.
Oh, that's so many conversions here. Maybe we can quickly switch into the conversion counter here. Wouldn't be surprised if Liereyy has a massive advantage there. 15 to 3 conversions, Tristan!
Yeah. I mean, you'd think the Bengalis would maybe have the edge there, but the armor doesn't help in a monk situation. And those Hussars might get a little bit trapped in here, but it's still lots of control here for Liereyy over the Viper. Already trebbing, already making another castle here. I don't know what Viper can do to turn this around.
Oh, just stall is the only way right now, right? But you're behind so heavily in relics. You're behind in map control. You're losing some of the area here at the front as well. Like, stalling is not really a winning strategy.
I agree with you there. Redemption on the way for Liereyy, just in the off chance that he wants to convert buildings or siege from Viper. Always good to have that option. I see Viper going for pikemen and Viper going for skirmisher, and that just does not wow me. I feel like Burgundians can always punish trash. They've got lots of good siege options, and they've got the full map right now, which is the key.
Yeah, and some people might feel, but well, skirmisher defense happened earlier and it worked out so much more. Yeah, that was kind of an all-in from Liereyy when he went in with 38 villagers. Now Liereyy has the full setup. The moment you go for a skirm defense, it's so easy for Liereyy to also tech into full paladins.
Also, Viper needs to move those relics. I'm not seeing the flags on top of the monastery. Oh, nope, nope. I just couldn't see it there. That could be 9 relics.
Oh, I think... Oh, yeah, would be quite nice. Obviously, you can't really convert monasteries. He is at 7 against 2 for now. So needs to kill those monasteries first. Viper, he will get pop limit. He will get to an okay-ish army. But, like, how does it scale?
Yeah, but I think he has, like, 1 fight, right? Get to full pop with trash, lots of upgrades, 4 trebuchets, try and push is probably Viper's plan here. And if you push the middle, it will snowball pretty fast, assuming the first castle goes down, I assume, because they're right next to each other for Liereyy.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Liereyy obviously holding the middle, happy with the steady crawl, could make many more castles, getting upgrades, and going to raid the sides.
Looking at the stats at the bottom there, second column from the left is the value of the army. So Lierey's army worth 6,000 resources, Viper's roughly 4,000. And the number below it is how much of that investment is in gold.
Yeah.
Viper has basically humans that only cost wood and food, and those are generally way weaker.
Correct. You normally need a lot more of them, would be the way to say it, right?
There are counter units in some sense, but the moment the opponent gets onto similar army numbers but better gold investment, that could be better for them. Oh, but that could be quite some gold losses.
Yeah, this is true. Liereyy probably needs to just pull back with his monks. I think he's fine, right? Like, he has skirms. The only thing I'd say is he's behind on armor and ballistics, but he doesn't need to worry because Viper doesn't have the trebs yet. This is really what that middle attack was trying to open up potential for Liereyy, as Viper sees the castle, sees the bombard cannon, and now needs pikemen back at home.
Oh, goes for redemption. I like that against the bombard cannons. Still can run under the town center. Viper tries to make more walls happen. Hasa somewhat trapped.
Yeah, it kind of looked like, I mean, we've seen Viper get some crazy traps.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like maybe that was going to happen there.
Still no Harbor the upgrade though.
Yeah.
Just got redemption, invested that one. Mahayana on the way. Okay, so 10% of the villager amount will get taken away from the pop cap, so you might see weird numbers now at the top right for the Viper that actually break the 200 count. Quite nice, basically like 13 more population in this case.
Liereyy won't go for the revolution here, right?
He doesn't need to.
Yeah, because he's winning the game. We did see him win an unwinnable game with the revolution, which kind of defeats the point I'm about to make, but typically, if you're winning the game and everything's going right for you with the relics and whatever else, it is seen as a risk to go for the revolution.
It's just so unnecessary, right? He has the relic advantage, he has the map control, he gets the extra gold, he is just sacking into everything right now.
But he is getting infantry upgrades, he is adding TCs, which if you were to go for the revolution, would be the play because you want to be able to produce more villagers.
And don't get me wrong, right? If he gets to Flemish Revolution, it's likely that he will win the game with it, right?
Yep.
He has more villagers in the queue, 5 traps, 2 bombard cannons. I think he is going for it.
Yeah, I think he will. You need siege with it. He's also making a lot of villagers.
Okay, now how you somehow can defend this in Viper's shoes is second layer of walls, go for fortified walls, get as much production as possible for yourself, and try to make the hold happen in some way. You have to accept to lose a lot of ground against it, though.
Yeah, I don't think you can stop it. Like, I think the
Viper even opens the walls. That's not what he needs right now.
I don't think you can stop it. You can't stop 200 military with bombard cannons and trebs that will take out your buildings. You will spend a great deal of time killing the first wave of 50, 60 military, and you'll just lose your whole base.
17 villagers in the queue, 140 here. He might think about this one. When is the timing he wants to go for it? It's lovely that he also has all the military. It's coming, Tristan!
I wonder if Viper fights on here.
Let's see how he's trying to deal with this one. All of a sudden, we're looking at 197 military, 13k army value. Flemish button is been clicked.
Yep, so it's going to take Liereyy a great deal of time to get the army in the proper spots, but I think Viper needs to fall back here. You fall back and brace yourself and hope you can trade against it, with the hope that Lierey's not going to be able to afford anything after this attack.
Yeah, but how? Look at that farm setup is there. Liereyy already having 25 food in the bank. Now tries to move away. Viper, he tries to stall. Somehow try to buy yourself time.
Yep.
Love the fortified wall addition. Now more layers. Just try to survive. Right now, you have 128 villagers. Getting resources for yourself, Liereyy sits at 2.
But you also need to have trebs ready, so if you stall it out, there's an immediate push before Liereyy gets his eco back up and running. Love the fight here from Viper. The problem again becomes, can you stop the siege from taking out your entire base?
I think Viper increases winning chances here from like 5% to 10% with this Flemish Revolution.
Yeah, I agree.
I think
Liereyy did not need to do this.
Yeah, I think it's slightly like Viper is working towards a way where hold is an option. Needs more villagers at the front though. Needs to rewall this area.
Yeah, let's see if he can. There's now a hole so the militia can go through. This is not all of them, by the way. There's 116. There should be like 30 more. I guess he's lost some on the sides. There's Hussars on the right side. Viper will have to react to that.
Okay, now broken in. First layer broken. Feels a bit like Helm's Deep, and now they're in.
Yeah, and so you've got Skirms and you've got Halbs, and this has happened to Viper now for the second or third time in this tourney. And the main issue is you just do not have a possibility of competing with the numbers, NILI.
9 traps, Tristan. He's pushing in.
Flemish militia are just too strong. Viper at 130 eco. It's almost as if you can't stop 200 army when you only have 60. But I think the main thing here, obviously, Liereyy had such great resource control, and he timed this nicely. So he's producing villagers again, sending them all back to the farms, and his eco will be like it's been untouched in a few moments.
If this is somehow getting held, Liereyy will have a reasonable boom behind this, right? He's already closing in on 60 villages there after everything is done, down to only 100 Flemish militia though, but still the traps are alive and killing so much.
Yep. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating for Viper right now, I'm sure, because it felt like he maybe had potential for one more push. He already was at such a disadvantage due to the Burgundian bonuses and how Liereyy had played. And it's just one more thing on the list for the Burgundians that they have. Liereyy, he used it before with 0 upgrades and won the game.
Yeah.
And he didn't even think he was going to win the game with that. And here he uses it to perfection, I'd say.
In the scenario that we will have Liereyy against Hera tomorrow in the finals, we still have 2 bans in front of the best of 9. I will guarantee you, Hera will ban away the Burgundians.
As everyone possibly should. Liereyy, I think that's shame on his face right now. He's like, oh, why did I do that? I feel like I didn't even earn that win. He did earn the win.
Yeah, yeah.
He won the win with the Lycav raids, with the middle position he took. He did not need to use that obnoxious technology. My definition is clear on it.
Yeah.
But he did it, maybe just to end the game a little bit faster.
The button of shame.
The button of shame. Oh, man. And Viper's probably like, well, I can't get too frustrated with the technology. I didn't have the relics. And he'll know that the moment for him, which lost him the game, was when his castle got denied in the middle. That had to work.
Yeah. If he gets the map control in the center, right, he gets the extra gold, extra stone. If he has like 3 castles there, he pushes Liereyy so much further back. And then if the revolution is coming in, they need to fight through all that area first. And then I think Viper, maybe a bit of a better chance if he had all the map control.
I think Viper has the better civilizations remaining, NILI.
I think so as well.
Crazy.
Mayans for Arabia, one of the best civilizations. Maybe the counter there Huns or Persians. And then Liereyy has to think, okay, what am I playing on Northern Isles now? Saracens or Persians, certainly the option there. And Viper is Koreans. This could easily go to game 9.
Viper was in the hospital this week. We weren't even sure if he was going to play.
Yeah.
Then he beats Vinchester 4-1. Then he beats Villese when he was down 3-1 yesterday.
Yeah.
Came back to win 4-3. Here lost the first 2 games and was looking horrible. Now he has to win 2 more games for another comeback in a series. I think Viper, from the drama perspective, should be favored to at least take it to the 9th game. Let's just say that. It is obviously, we got some big skill matchups coming up, but Mayans on Arabia, I go for that next.
No,
and then
go for Koreans first.
You do? Why?
It is simply added pressure to your opponent, right? Northern Isles, you need to win both anyways. Northern Isles, you want to play it. It is your first home map. You have the Civ advantage, you have the skill advantage, otherwise you wouldn't pick it that far. Just get more into his head.
Okay.
Right? If it's Arabia, I'm not sure if Liereyy thinks, okay, I'm losing Arabia and then I also lose Northern Isles. But if you press it into game 9, you go with more momentum into game 9.
I could see that. And then Lierey's probably like, oh, and it's against Mayans if he enters game 9. It's not like Lierey's going to enter game 9 and be excited about the fact that it's his home map when he sees the civilization across the way. Obviously, a slight opportunity for Viper to return the favor with a lame using an eagle as well, which Liereyy did earlier on in Kawasan with his eagle as Aztecs.
It's surprising that we didn't see Vikings picked, by the way.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Could have had them really late.
It tells me that we haven't seen fully what the Koreans are capable of on Northern Isles in this event. I know we saw it at Red Bull, but I think TaToH picked Koreans too and never played them. So I think there's clearly some preparation there from Viper, and maybe conversation he had with TaToH, now knocked out.
Red Bull finals, we've seen them. TGM finals, we have also seen them. We have seen them a bit in the draft here as well.
Yeah.
But not really being used. We have also seen Jordan in the qualifier making something wild happen there with Koreans. Didn't really pay off too much. I want to see both maps. Northern Isles, want to see how Koreans are being approached. And then I want to finish it with a banger, with the Festival of Age of Empires in a deciding one game on Arabia.
You know, Liereyy, maybe thinking what he plays here. I mean, Saracens is what I would assume. It is Arabia, by the way.
Okay.
So it's not going to be Saracens. We'll talk more about Northern Isles, which will be our deciding game if we get there. But Viper, who almost kills a pig by mistake there, he's playing as the Mayans. And per my conversation with players, feels crazy to say, Mayans are even stronger in this tournament than some of the others. You maintain the villager lead a little bit easier. We see a lot more feudal age openings. Don't place the lumber camp there, Liereyy. Do not place the lumber camp. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, yeah.
But Mayans with a clear favorite here, NILI, because I don't even remember seeing Huns at all in Arabia in this tourney.
And, well, Mayans, they are that crazy because, obviously, one extra villager. We have seen Huns yesterday, played by Viper, right, on Dry Graveyards.
Oh, yep.
Resource lasts a bit longer, so basically you get, out of 100 wood in a tree, you get 115. Also, some reduction there in the walled cost, but the main thing, simply that your archers are cheaper.
There is a saying that I've used, and many people across Age of Empires 2 have used with the Huns. That is probably the least helpful saying if you're a newcomer, but I'm going to say it anyways. Huns are Huns, right? And basically what that means is occasionally there's some situations where you're like, holy crap, the Civ is actually really flexible and good,
yeah.
right? Not having to make houses in a messy game is helpful. The faster production from the stable is super helpful. The cheaper cav archers as well is great. But most of those bonuses start to really kick in Castle Age. And I think it's early Castle Age specifically with the Mayans and their archers. That's that time window that Viper's going to look to use to stop the Huns before they can get rolling.
Viper played the Huns yesterday, and it lined up perfectly for him. Reached Castle Age, both eco upgrades, both stables producing, could add 2 town centers as well. Simply not being forced to build houses not only saves you the wood, but also the villager time. Plus, you can never be housed. It's just the smoothest civilization to play.
All right. So if you think about how Huns have been played for 20 years, you think about the map and all the bonuses that you can, or just advantages you can take, let's say. Here's the question. Will Liereyy go archer opening again, or will he actually go for scouts? Because I'm trying to rack my brain. I feel like every time I expected scouts from him, he went archers.
I think it has to be scouts. I think it
so
has to be scouts, archers. I think that's how you try to play against Meso nowadays. And, well, we also can see Viper now spreading himself pretty thin. Not the, I want to say not the craziest map and easy to wall, but Viper, he wants to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, Huns have the mobility, right? Makes sense. Mayans also have the cheaper walls. You have that additional villager, which you'd like to keep alive. The double lumber camp on the same wood line for Liereyy. I'll be honest, Lierey's map is disastrous when it comes to wood. Viper having 3 options and a back gold. Liereyy having, I mean, 2 close options, let's say, and a gold on a hill. But you're going to be aggressive anyways, right? The idea is that you're going to be controlling the map if you're Huns. And archers, that type of build-up is notorious for giving up map control.
Oh, okay.
I think he's going to go archers.
Go, Viper, go. Neither player on gold for now. Obviously not an option to go for scouts here for Mayans, so it has to be the opening with some gold units. Viper delays that for now. Obviously not a lot of wood in the bank for him, simply because he already went for those early walls.
Yep, there's the barracks for Liereyy. Moment of truth for him. He will have the wood to be able to go for the stable if he drops off everything now. We'll actually know by what he sends underneath his TC. Shifts those villagers that were on stragglers to food. This should be a stable for Liereyy. I'd be very surprised if it's not. Viper almost lost some pigs there, and there is the stable for Liereyy. As he confirms, there's a range for Viper.
So could be 1 spearman, 1 archer trying to poke early on, but Viper actually not queuing anything as of yet. Liereyy wants to be a bit annoying here. Viper, even against the hill, should lose that Vil though.
I think you should lose the Vil if the hill's still there, but Liereyy was never really going to have a chance there against Viper. We've seen some crazy quick walls from Viper. And you see the respect?
Yeah, of the quick wall.
Yeah, like, if that's you or me, we're like, oh, crap,
That
we're
is
going to
dead.
lose this hill. Yeah. And we try a quick wall, but just a respect from Liereyy, because he just assumes he might get a couple more hits, but he's going to lose HP on his scout, and he won't kill the thing.
Viper now walled the front, is walling the gold in the back. And this feels a bit like he's in between worlds. Right? Because left-hand side is open, bottom side is open as well. The front is not fully walled. He delayed himself quite a bit and is now getting Town Watch in a spot where he actually wanted to be walled.
Yeah, I wonder if Town Watch was anything strategic here. That's a nice hit there. Barry's very exposed here. This would be around the time where you'd be considering a range, if you're Liereyy, to go for skirmishers. Potentially archers as well, which would require some gold income. And there's the timing. Still plenty of food for Liereyy underneath the TC. Good eco upgrades, though he skipped horse collar, which I find interesting. So a pretty tight build here for Liereyy as he will shift into ranged units, his favorite.
Viper tries to save the villager here, splits a bit, and look at that. Knew that he wanted the split there. Now one spearman and chases those away. One spearman guards at the left-hand side, and Viper is looking to finish those walls.
Viper's not going to like this comparison, but is this MBL? 4 spearmen?
That's a lot.
4 spearmen is really uncommon. Yeah, normally you're not going to make that many because the opponent's going to just avoid it anyways. But I guess mine economy is really good, so you can't see it as that much of a waste. Better safe than sorry. Game number 8 in a crazy semifinal.
Ooh, God, I'm so happy to be here. So happy to witness those two players. Viper, house for the second time already, and we're only at 35 population.
Ooh, yeah, true. Idle TC time, a minute. A minute is incredibly bad. I think it's natural to have a little bit here on this start. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think you would need that much, and Viper will be safe, but I'm loving the food count right now for Liereyy, and I'm loving the patience as he has been so annoying for Viper. Look at all these spears. This is why you don't make a lot of spearmen versus a high-level player with scouts.
Is Viper... No, he's not even considering moving out, right? So that's just the spearman defense. Is he moving out eventually? Now the second eagle tries to pressure the skirms in the center a bit, maybe. Only 2 scouts.
Viper has a decision to make because he's tracking those skirms. He either A, sneaks, or he just sits inside that range and masses archers for the rest of Feudal Age until Castle Age. Sneaking is risky, but if you know the skirmishers are in the middle of the map, you could maybe get away with it.
Oh, double eagle. Well, why not clear them up? And now the archers could move out, right?
That's true, yep.
He gets some chances there, but no. Decides to defend. What a weird play by the Viper. He's not really using his army.
Liereyy does also lose some HP there. I think Viper will feel more confidence to move out. But, I mean, the timing I talked about, NILI, is early crossbowmen.
Yeah.
And you've seen Leary's produced a lot of skirms. So I kind of understand not moving out.
He is moving out now, is going for fletching. I think if you want to move out, it needs to be with the continued production of those eagles and pressure those skirmishes. Liereyy, he tries to cut some corners. He tries to get to Castle Age quickly, loses his scout here potentially, really close to the town center. Spearman can scare this away. Viper goes towards the right-hand side though. Interesting move. And Liereyy, he puts down outposts.
Okay. Liereyy really curious. Did he research Town Watch here?
I don't know, Viper did.
I
This looks
think
like
that's Town Watch.
Yeah, that looks like Town Watch.
So he's got good vision. I love this and respect this so much, by the way. Yeah. It's an underrated play. It's so risky, though, but he is up a game. The walls for Viper will be full walls eventually. Archers are moving forward. Where are they?
Viper takes such a big leap. Is there a way to sneak around? I don't think so, right? The outpost, I think, should align perfectly. But look at that.
But I want to see if Viper actually knows any of the outposts are going up here.
No, how could he?
On the right, he won't, but the left could tell you that my opponent's playing open. I don't think he saw an outpost there.
Yeah, the Eagles were poking a bit. Castle Age timing will be better for Liereyy, but now idles his TC a bit.
Viper's even hiding the archers. I really want to go to Viper's point of view if he tries to sneak, because it wouldn't surprise me if he spots the outpost if he just makes a run for it. Great play here from both players here. I think it was sloppy from both to an extent, more so for Viper economically, but just like the Huns are Huns, Mayans are Mayans, right? And it's such a tough civ for the Huns to stop if this goes to Imp and Eagle Warriors.
I'm a bit surprised by Viper's approach. It feels like he thinks he either has the way better civilization or is the better player, plays this very defensively, not trying to take any damage, but also guaranteeing that he won't do any damage himself. So not really the typical play here from the Viper. And Castle Age timing is actually a bit closer than I would have expected.
Yeah, so then you would need Elite Skirmisher, you would need Fletching. Scout's now dead for Liereyy. He doesn't have any of them. He's just got vision everywhere with the outposts. I think now, after seeing 2 outposts, Viper is assuming... Oh, Viper's point of view, let's look at it.
What is he seeing?
He sees the outpost.
Tries to make stuff happen. He's going for Eagles. That's the last group of archers that he's building.
Yep. And he sees the skirms are on the way, and I believe at this point he should run away. He should know that skirms are on the way. They just ran... Yeah, they're out of his vision now from the Eagles.
Continues with the second barracks. No more archers in production from him. Knows exactly what's up and has to be happy, right? He knows, okay, I will put a lot of threat in there.
Yeah, let's
Second
see. Here he is walking up the hill. I don't like the fact that he's going to throw away his archers here. Lierey's going to love this. The outposts pay off for Liereyy. He finds the archers, gets some great kills here. This is awesome.
And only 1 scout out there. Viper now still active with his Eagles. Does not want to lose them in 40 seconds. They get 3 more attack.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a bad fight for Liereyy, though. I think he's weakening these off. It's going to give him time to maybe drop a town center.
What's
but he can only drop 1 town center. I think he goes Knights here.
But
After killing those archers, I think you go Knights.
Double stable, but no bloodlines, no other upgrades?
But to be fair, Viper only has 1 armor upgrade and only has 4 Eagles. Some of which are weak. I actually think Lierey's position is pretty okay here. Just the fact he's got to play open that really could be awkward for him.
Ooh, awkward indeed. Now the monastery here should be good for the Viper. Upgrade-wise, we're looking at only fletching, only 1 armor, as you said, for those Eagles.
How many barracks does Viper have? Because normally if you're going Eagles, you're going 3 barracks minimum.
Yeah, especially with Mayans, right? That's like sometimes we can see a 2 barracks play, but 3 barracks here from Mayans, kind of the gold standard.
Okay, so Viper looking to move forward anyways, hoping to get relics, obviously, and still hoping to take it late game. This is an interesting one, though, because Mayans haven't done damage in early Castle Age, excuse me. And I feel like with that Hun production speed and how fluid your economy is, not having to make houses, saving a lot of wood, might give the advantage to the Huns if Viper doesn't get some damage in soon.
Liereyy collecting some more stone. Obviously invested a bit of the stone into outpost. Collects 20 to afford a 3rd castle here potentially. That's still a really solid knight number. I don't think Viper wants to take this one.
No.
Has to disengage, just give up your archers.
Yeah, again, it's like you lost archers. What do you think your opponent was expecting, right? Viper, surprised by these knights, will be happy to see there's no bloodlines yet. And Liereyy will have to run away because there's a risk at a conversion there. A well played from Viper. It could have been worse for him still trying to mass those Eagles.
I think he lost like 4 units, didn't kill a single one, right? Obviously did some damage HP-wise there. Now the second town center for the Viper as well. 1 relic getting picked off here. And is that a second monastery?
It's another barracks.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, that's good from Viper then, and he's going to snag the relic. NILI, Huns don't get champion. I'm saying this, obviously you know it. What do you do against elite Eagle Warrior as the Huns? What's the hope? What's the dream here if you know that's a potential?
You need a timing before that. There is no way that if we get into a 45-minute game, Viper has access to gold and can tech into halberdiers plus elite Eagle Warriors, that the Huns can get a proper answer. If you have unlimited gold, something like Paladin, Heavy CA is your dream. But if this goes to a reasonable late game, Mayans should have the big advantage.
And so I think we're going to see one of my favorite things, an all-in Castle Age for Liereyy to have any chance here as he runs away from this AI-looking army from Viper. Not too bad, and still Viper looking to get relics, but there goes the other group from Liereyy. Viper does have a hole there between the Palisade and the Monastery, and it looks like he should realize that because his units have went out.
He knows about it, I'm pretty sure. It was a
There
deleted
might be
wall
another
from
one.
earlier.
There's another one as
2
well.
walls. Is now going for Sanctity. Gate behind this. Makes lots of sense. Eagles are being sent home.
That gate should go down.
Send more villagers. Oh, this is tricky. Has enough Eagles behind this one, though. Maybe Stonegate could have been the better option. Monk tries to help out as well. Can he maybe hold
They opened it! They opened it! The Knights are in. I don't know if this is going to be good or bad for Viper yet because the Knights won't necessarily be guaranteed to find damage, but I think Liereyy will take this. He gets to the woodline on the left. Viper has the house wall there. Viper also house walls on the right side, though, NILI.
This is really nice. Spearman defending the left. Gold is the only area that is a bit open here. Viper can send those villagers back, and it is quite some nice distraction for Liereyy, but I don't think he found a single villager.
And he could also donate 2 knights to a civilization that can't normally make knights.
Ooh.
Are you kidding me? And Viper hops into the TC. It was all part of Viper's plan, as he would say. And Lierey's probably like, oh, no, was it wrong of me to try and take that opportunity?
Well, tough to say, right? You don't know how good the quick walls are behind it. You don't know how many TCs the opponent has behind this as well. Viper heavily on stone. He's actually thinking about plumes.
Yeah, seriously. And you notice after Liereyy went by the TC and saw how many was on stone, he clicked Elite Skirm.
Ah.
That's pretty crazy. I wouldn't click it yet. I think I'd have to wait till I saw the castle.
Yeah.
But Liereyy preemptively thinking about things, sitting at home with 0 relics, very exposed map. Still just 2 TCs, as is Viper, but it's even economically. But with Viper having 2 relics, they give him the slight edge. Liereyy still needs to do damage here.
And that knight will go down as well. Full knight, full elite skirm. Obviously something really scary. We have still 2 more relics towards the right-hand side. I'm not seeing the 5th relic here. Just one at the bottom. Yeah, 1 at the right, 1 at the bottom, and another one even further at the right-hand side. And therefore, Viper, even with a chance to get 5 relics.
Yeah, seriously. And I think if Viper is getting this many relics, he won't shift into as much military. At least that would be what makes sense to me.
Another hole? Oh, triple
Was that there
hole.
the whole time?
Yeah, maybe. That's why it's called hole.
Is Viper gonna re-wall that or what? I mean, last time someone got into his base, it worked out for him. But I'm surprised he hasn't built a palisade wall there.
He shouldn't really stop army production, though, right?
Yeah, agreed.
Those monks. He can, like, as I said, if we get into the proper game, Viper should win this one.
Agreed.
So make sure to not stop producing army. Oh, if those monks go down, that could be so good for Liereyy. Tries to dive into it, and Liereyy gets the hill.
Liereyy will have the hill. Lead Skirm will actually pay off here. Viper just forced to go for the conversions. His monks are getting one-shotted, and Liereyy has a chance if this fight is a clear-up. All the monks are gone for Viper, at least there. And Viper's production needs to ramp up to 1,000% here.
The perfect fight for Liereyy here. Absolute disaster for the Viper. He loses all his monks, doesn't really get any conversions. Those eagles in problem, needs to get that castle up, but how?
Who would have thought Elite Skirm would even be in, right? Like, Liereyy might have done it because he thought plumes would be coming in, but the Elite Skirm's killing 5 monks now, paying off, and Viper might not be able to make it to late game. Huns are Huns, NILI, and will the castle go up?
Oh, this will be tricky. We'll lose so many villagers. This could be the end of Viper's run. Tries to make something happen. The elite skirmishes are coming in, and the misstep here of the Viper might cost him his tournament run.
I mean, how many villas does he have in the TC here? Those 2 guys are carrying a lot of weight. Viper can finish that castle. He can absolutely finish the castle. He's still okay. He realizes that the castle will complete. And Viper probably so frustrated with himself, NILI. We just said it. You don't need to force an engagement. You shouldn't. You should be avoiding any bad fights. Viper simply got caught out there.
He didn't send the scouting unit at the front, right? The monks were out of position, and then he felt, okay, if I lose my monks on their own, that will be horrible for me. Took the fight, but the uphill fight. Now another castle has to be played behind this one because Liereyy is just trying to find another pressure point.
Can we get a page up here from Vodka? Did he buy that? He had to have bought a lot of stone.
I'm really surprised as well. Yes, 17 on stone though, and this first castle was placed quite a bit of time ago, but this seems like Viper's holding it. Nice defense so far.
Still such a tough matchup for the Huns, right? And you know Viper's got some relics there. Now you can't really break Viper because he has 2 castles. Oof, Horse Collar on the way. I heard Hera go, Horse Collar, in the other room.
Oh,
and that means that, you know, you've wasted a bit of resources if you're Liereyy, but still, he's got great farm setup. And he's got a good army composition against the Eagles right now.
3 archers controlling that relic. Viper can still go for the 3rd relic here. Villager-wise, advantage for Liereyy. This game could be long.
So do you try and control the center hill or even that hill right there with a castle if you're Liereyy?
Yeah, I think the center hole, I think this one at the left might be a bit too close to the town center. But I wouldn't be surprised. The one where we had the major fight.
Yeah.
And that tried to trap.
Look at the walls from Viper there. I mean, it's important he does so, right? Because Lierey's trying to find areas where there aren't castles. That could be an eventual overchop Viper. I mean,
gate action.
You gotta respect it, right? Like, they're so unnecessary, but would have been a pretty epic play.
Eagles trying to push this one away. Hand cut now for Liereyy. Doesn't want to super rush to Imperial Age. Obviously knows, okay, I only have 4 villagers on stone and only 100 in the bank. I can't build my castle yet.
Oh, Viper taking some bad engagements.
Oh.
Maybe the length of the series here is starting to add up a little bit. But If you were to pick a position right now, do you pick Liereyy or you pick Vipers?
Liereyy.
You think Liereyy because of those resources climbing up. What I love about Leary's position is how he didn't force +2 armor, right? Like, I sometimes in those situations think I need a bit more army after I win a fight. But he thought, well, actually, I can do enough with this. He's even going to stone wall right now. And so he's saving resources on, for the Imperial Age, which could lead to that castle. But civ-wise, when you look at the 2 relics, when you look at Viper's setup, when he can build a 3rd castle here in a second, you have to favor the Mayans if it goes Imp and if it goes to Elite Eagle Warrior.
3rd relic not picked up. Hurts me a bit. Now the Monk is being sent over. And Viper again sends some Eagles forward. Maybe they're scouting a bit. And Viper buys himself towards Imperial Age. Sees the army. And he gets that castle up. This is the Viper special, right? He needs to control more area, though. And adds more barracks now.
A couple important things, too, that are easy to forget in these moments. You need the numbers. He's not queuing any Eagles. That's not okay with me. You have to be queuing Eagles. It's going to take time to mass.
He needed to buy himself time to get to Imperial Age first, right? That was priority number 1.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, no Eagles as we speak, right? He's getting armor. Viper needs more barracks as well. He's working his way towards this NILI.
Yeah.
And then the other thing you need, and it's pretty expensive upgrade, is El Dorado, which is really the kicker. It's why Mayan Eagles are so strong. It's 100 HP Eagles after that upgrade.
Yeah, normally only 60, right? Kind of crazy how big of a boost that is. Now all the healing here for those knights. And actually, El Dorado and Elite Eagle aren't actually the most important things. Halberdier is the tech that we need to go for first. Simply because we are facing mass knights, not mass skirms.
According to Yo, he said if you can get El Dorado, just go Eagle. He said that against Chinese, for what it's worth. And Chinese, I think, have, like, that Chukanu Cavalier combination is really devastating. And it was after Jordan had played up against Villese, but...
Yeah, those 3 archers will never go for that gold, right? It just feels like it's so much more important to get to the relic control.
Yep. And then for Liereyy, obviously it's going to be knight numbers. Thankfully, you do produce quickly. But I'm with you, NILI. I think the fact that Viper's making Spearmen is very good for him because the knights have taken such good trades that they're always going to have a higher number than the Eagles.
At 28 right now, only 10 Spearmen out. Viper, just more stone walls is his plan. And this will be a massive trap war in the center.
Yeah. Huns have more accurate trebuchets.
Correct.
Normally doesn't matter in a Treb v Castle situation because the castle's so big. Does make a very big difference in a Treb v Treb battle. But I don't know if Viper's going to be the one trebbing or not. Liereyy stopping the stone walls from Viper. Knows how important that gold is going to be for him. Great job.
So many resources in the bank here for Liereyy. Can queue up the armor, can queue up Cavalier, trap in the queue as well. And Viper still tries to wall the top. I think traps and halberdiers is the main option here for the Viper. Does he not know? I think he doesn't know about the castle. Otherwise, he would have queued up traps.
True.
Yeah, look at that. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know. I think Viper would have benefited from sending 1 unit forward earlier when he took the bad fight.
But
And here, sending 1 unit forward.
Yeah, that's what we are every time saying, though. Oh, he's wasting another unit. Right, so it just feels like every time he is sending units out, he's getting punished for it. Because Liereyy had the army around all the time. It is tricky to find the perfect balance between scouting and not wasting units.
Liereyy is not trickle-trebbing, so he's not showing Viper he has trebs. He's going to wait till he has a few more. Do you go Paladin here? Because Cav Archer switch takes too much time, right?
I think it's Paladin Elite Skirm.
Oh, he's saving up for it. Liereyy, you crazy man.
I think he can sell stone.
But now that Halb is in, don't you almost need to wait until Paladins take an engagement?
Yeah, absolutely. But the stable works faster. Paladin's coming in. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go.
Oh my god.
And we only have 15 halberdiers. That's not enough for the Viper.
No, it's not. And he's trying to get Elite Eagle. He really has no clue what Lierey's doing.
Only 1 halberdier.
He hasn't seen anything
he
beyond those
about
knights.
The castle. He sees some skirmishes.
No upgrades on the skirms. That should tell him enough.
Yeah, true. Paladins.
And he's going for Eagles.
Tristan, hold my hand. I think this is getting like really intense now. Sees the Cavaliers. Now he knows everything. Now it should be only halberdiers from here.
Yep.
Where's the queue? Tristan, where's the queue?
He's got to repair. Repair that castle. Queue up the Halps. This is... I'm surprised, Nilly. This isn't the first time we've talked about this.
No production from the Halps.
He's saving for El Dorado. He's saving for El Dorado.
But that's not what he needs right now.
Correct.
He needs 60 Halps. ASAP.
We got a minute. So not quite ASAP, but close enough. Viper will run out of stone here, but he can be okay with losing one castle. And Liereyy, with the Huns, is going to reposition his Treps.
Yeah.
How much do you want to bet Liereyy doesn't know his Treps would win that?
Tries to find a different angle. Halberdier production 3 in the queue there, 2. And oh, he can easily break that stone wall. Could also try to cut the trees here. Viper's trying to reposition himself.
He's going for the mill.
Hill advantage for the Viper. Opens this area a bit more. This is getting really intense, Tristan.
And there's 30 Halbs, there's 30 Eagles. Paladin's going to kick in 5 seconds. Viper's going to want to take the fight. I think if you're on the hill, you still take the fight. Can Viper take this to the next game, or will Liereyy snowball this with Paladin and move on to the finals?
Skirm count is only at 10. That means the Halberdiers should do pretty fine. The traps are going down. Viper tries to take the hill advantage again.
Yeah, and it's a good fight initially for Viper. It's the best fight he can take, and Liereyy is on the clock. He hasn't taken out a castle yet with these Paladins. He hasn't really been able to raid yet with these Paladins. But what's the army count going to look like after this? Because Paladin is so much more difficult to make. It's so much more costly when you have a mix of Halbs for the Viper. I think Viper will be okay with this fight, but I'm not entirely sure.
I think waiting for Pop 200 could have maybe been even better. Now the Halberdier numbers need to rise. Eagle simply not the most important thing, but so low HP, those Paladins now.
Yeah, and there's 40 Paladins, but he's got about 2/3 of those Paladins on our screen. I like how Lierey's healing. I like how he's got the 4 trebuchets, and this is it for him. I don't even think he makes skirms. I think you need 200 pop all the time, straight Paladin to kill the Viper.
That's what he's planning. I wouldn't be surprised if he sells all the stone as well. Now another big engagement.
And that should be good for the Halbs. Blast Furnace is not in for either player, but suddenly the Paladin number is plummeting on the front for Liereyy, or is it?
Well, it seems like both are just throwing units at each other.
Viper's queuing Eagles!
They're both looting everything. Maybe he thought, okay, I killed all the Paladins now, I can go for Eagles?
Maybe to get the Treps. That could perhaps be understandable. He still needs the mix. Viper has 40 on food, 30 on wood. No handcart could really hurt his economy right now. And Lierey's still pushing. He's got 48 on gold. That's not going to last long. He needs to continue this push.
Has the Eagles out. Gets another Paladin kill here. Villagers around to repair. And that castle most likely going to fall. Viper's trying to go for the repair, but no stone.
Viper's 3 relics are also in that monastery.
At the front, yeah.
I think the monastery will be the next thing the Treps go for. That will hurt Viper's production. But Viper still hasn't broken yet.
Only 4 Halberdiers in the queue. How can Viper hold this one? 4 traps around. Now focusing down on the units, actually. Viper needs more houses after losing 2 castles already.
Yep.
Oh, extra stone found for the Viper at the right-hand side.
I'm wondering, I think now you should be going skirms. Okay, Lierey's doing it before I was even thinking about it. Getting Bracer, going for the skirms. Yeah, splitting off a Paladin or 2 to raid is so good because it's so easy to just be fixated on the main push. And take those relics, Liereyy. He says, thank you very much, Viper. I knew right where to find him. And he's going to yoink that one back to his base.
Outpost now. Viper still not properly building all those houses, still getting pressured at the front. Could be another good engagement here, resource-wise for the Viper, but Lierey's still trying to continue his snowball.
And Viper's not 200 pop. He has the potential to be 200 pop soon with a big queue.
Yeah, all the Halberdiers in the queue. That's nice. Maybe 1-2 traps. And then, how can Liereyy hold this? If Viper gets to 60 Halberdiers,
yeah,
30 Eagles?
There's no way.
This would be better for the main player.
Lierey's economy is so good because he has 140 some, right? And he's running out of gold now. This is why you don't see straight Paladin in the 1v1s that frequently. I'm not saying it's a bad move, though. We know the Huns don't get champion. You kind of had to try this.
Oh, Tristan, I'm getting scared for Liereyy all of a sudden. Viper's pop limit!
Uh-oh. And he's got 1 treb, and he's ready to use it. I love how Lierey's just waiting there on the hill for a good engagement. The Castle Fire will help. Also, I'd like to see Viper try and get the relics back.
2-3 Eagles out for some raids could be an option. Sees those villagers. Obviously wants to block that. Eagles! That would be horrible.
Whoa.
Goes back.
Too bad Hunts can't build houses. That could have been an amazing trap.
Oh, you can block with a mill.
Mining camp?
Lumber camp.
Okay. Eagles deny that castle. We probably shouldn't continue that for the next 3 hours.
Because there are so many buildings that are 2x2 that we could still list. Okay, Halberdiers, do they really want to take the fight uphill? I'm not sure about that one. 1 trap around, and Viper thinks this is cost efficient enough.
I think you can because you've got 30 units in queue, but let's see how it pans out here for the Viper. He is pop capped. He's going to have more reinforcements. For Liereyy, he only has 4 Paladins in the queue. villagers are going to go in after the trebuchet, but I don't know if Lierey's going to have the paladin numbers remaining, and I don't know if that castle completes either. Boy, oh boy, what a decision for Viper to fight uphill like that.
I don't like it at all. He had such a good army. It's still pushing quite a bit here, is pushing away those villagers, but that was not the trade that he needed. He needed more control over the gold area.
And also, a lot of the eagles are gone now, and Viper doesn't have gold. He's completely out of gold. Straight skirmisher can
And he
work.
calls it, what?
And he calls it after an ill-advised uphill fight he didn't have to take. But Liereyy, the better player here in this series, winning 5-3, will move on to the final.
I think moving to the gold there could have still been an option. The fight up the hill was not forced, and the crowd is enjoying it there in Berlin. Thank you so much for positioning yourself there, cameraman.
Oh man, certainly some regrets there for Viper. Liereyy looking down like, I can't believe I actually won that game. I'm pumped as a Liereyy fan.
Yeah.
To see him move on to the final. It'll be great to see him up against Hera, the two players that maybe you would have expected to make it to the final. But you know, also I'm pumped that we saw the Huns show what they're capable of here.
Nice.
Pure Paladin. I mean, the Skirms didn't really do that much in the later stages, but just great map control there from Liereyy, and great recognition that he had to just punch Viper in the face, force bad engagements from the Viper, and Viper took some bad engagements.
Maybe some better outpost could have been an option there to see how to take those fights. Then obviously 2 fights uphill there. The one horrible one in the end of Castle Age. Viper tried to hold quite nicely. And tomorrow, 17 UTC, Hera against Liereyy. Last time they faced, some days ago, it was a 3-2 for Hera.
Should say, incredible display from the Viper, right? So well done to him. Obviously, with his standards, he's always going to want to be making those finals, but the level has been extremely high. He went through a lot this week, as we described over the weekend, and there was a point where we didn't know he could even play his sets, and then turned around, beat Vinchester, beat Villese to get here, and then took Liereyy for I don't know how long it's been, like a 3-4 hour series.
Yeah.
Tomorrow will be the final. Liereyy will be one of those players. We'll interview him in a moment, Nili, but best series of the day?
Yeah.
By far. If you know the result from the first series, then it wasn't really that hard to beat in terms of competitiveness, but it was a great watch and a great cast.
Absolutely. And let's just send us over to Liereyy and interview here from the man that will play in the finals tomorrow. Do we have 3 mics? I think I will get that one. Oi, 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 oi. Liereyy. You are breathing heavily.
I am actually. My back is hurting. I think it has 50 degrees in there, mainly because of me. And yeah, that's about it.
Oh, you saw that Hera won 5-0 earlier in the first semi-final. How were your thoughts going to the set against Viper today?
Obviously, Hera looked super sharp. Kind of expected the result, not 5-0, but like 5-1 or 5-2. Super strong also in practice games. And I had some stuff prepared as well today, especially the things we prepared. Didn't all work out though, as planned, admittedly, but yeah, still was enough.
Okay, maybe work us through the plans. What were your plans today that you showed?
Well, I think the first game was just adaptation, honestly. I saw him pick TaToH, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. So I thought he countered with Incas pretty well. Premier should rush. He obviously knew what I was going for. So it was messy games all around, honestly. This one in particular, I think I had like 130 villas at the end, and like 80 villas working, so it wasn't the prettiest.
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, he also had a lot of idols there.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
It's just like the dumbest question, but I kind of have to ask it, right?
How do you feel?
No. Like,
Okay,
have you
I'm
ever
curious.
faced up against the Drush before from the Incas? Like, what did that surprise you is the stupid question I have to ask.
Yes, I didn't react properly if you ask like that.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
I have, but it's still annoying because the Eagle is pretty strong against the Scout. You usually have a bit more freedom because he deals well and less damage. Against the Eagle, it's a bit more tricky. But yeah, not my proudest fighting against a militia, so honestly.
Okay, fair enough. But you had faith that Tatars are just better overall there in the mid game?
Yeah, I mean, the crossbows got super much value, so I knew I had still a pretty good shot. If I lose the crossbow, I'm obviously immediately dead.
I don't think we had it on the highlights here, but I actually think what didn't win you the game, but really gave you your shot to win this game was actually sneaking out the archers. He did track you, and the sneak was creative, but he had stopped making skirms. He didn't think you were going to make more archers after you lost the initial archers.
Yeah, it wasn't my plan to lose those archers, honestly. The ones he chased me away right in the middle of the map.
I never planned to lose my archers either.
It just happens, actually. Yeah, I mean, the game is over already, apparently.
And this one is the game where Viper, it felt like he had a plan in mind. What was your read there when you didn't see a lot of army from him in mid-feudal age?
Just go dog him, honestly. He obviously had the lake, but he invested quite a lot to get the lake. He made like 3 houses, had 2 villages there idle for some time. And then obviously his base is exposed, and then mid-game he's just Dravidians, so lol.
Yeah, I was going to ask you opinion on Dravidians at this point.
There you go. You already have my answer.
Well, then you ruined my question because I don't have much more to ask about this game. We continue to get... Is this a live look or a replay of the...
I hope that's a replay, not a live look.
Okay, well, they were not thrilled that you went up 2-0 then.
Apparently not.
And well, the highlights continue from this particular game. I think that GG was called immediately after this. So you go up 2-0 versus Viper. From my perspective, the first 2 games, macro-wise in the mid-game, was just a little all over the place for Viper. Maybe not like the peak Viper that we've seen in the past. So did you feel like at game 3, like, all right, another 5-0's coming here?
No, I mean, we still had some maps on the menu which weren't really my thing, you know, Fortified Clearing, then Northern Isles was still coming. And he had some good tips as well, like Mayans for Arabia, for example.
Yeah.
So this one, I also felt a bit shaky in the first 2 games, especially when dealing against the Drush and obviously against the other units he sent to me. But yeah, this map was like, I kind of had something prepared as well because I knew he would go for it. So I just thought like, okay, let's just see how my strategy against his strategy works out. And yeah, it didn't work out too well for me.
I gotcha. What mistakes did you make here, if any? Because the strat itself I felt was good.
Yeah, I didn't make too many mistakes, honestly. I mean, obviously micro-wise and management-wise, but that happens naturally against a player like Viper. Obviously, you're not going to out-micro him at this point. And he just sends skirms at you. I thought probably the Arbalest play like here. That was probably my mistake. I thought I could just sneak in, kill the 40 fish traps, and then loot my army. But
Okay.
I killed like 5 fish traps and lost 40 Arbalest in return. So.
I'm not sure, and I'm sure NILI has more questions, but I was saying to NILI, it's really interesting. If he would have pushed towards the pond instead of his TCs, I actually think that you win that game because he has no food then, because he had no farms. But like obviously, your instincts always tell you push the TCs and push the production.
I also thought like there were too many forests on the top side where his pond was. It was too easy to defend. Also, it just drops another castle.
Yeah, fair.
So, and if you're on top of the corner and you just drop a castle, that's impossible to push.
Yeah, there's no value for you being there. Fair enough.
In this game, the big question was for me like map control. Like, how did you split your attention? Because obviously, left-hand side feels like you can get berries. Right-hand side, you can get berries. You mainly push through the center.
Yeah, it's annoying to send units around the sides. Honestly, there was always something to do. And damn, I'm ahead in this game actually.
You're really ahead. Look at military.
How
right
did I
here.
lose this game?
20-3. You're going down. Yeah. And well, the Ramshas you continued, but some counterattacks did a lot for the Viper there at the gold at the bottom as well.
Defeated me actually. Yeah, I should have had some camels or monks sitting in my base for sure. I also thought I was way more behind than I actually was looking at the stats because I obviously lost some stuff in Feudal Age. And I saw him adding the TCs right away, so I thought like I have to do something. So I traded a lot of army against units, which apparently wasn't even needed.
That was massive there. He lost like 30 villagers in those raids.
I realized in game at some point I was like, I'm down to 60 vills.
Yeah.
So, and that was an imp.
What was crazy though is you still had a really good chance because your army composition was insane.
But I couldn't raid with my army anymore because I had camels and those throwers, so it got a bit tricky.
Here we are an imp and you're at 50 villagers, right? Queuing up one more. Obviously a really tricky scenario.
Yeah. I also wasn't sure if it was completely over after I resigned, and I saw he had no gold, right? But looking at the stats,
population 80 against 160.
He did.
Go with the played on, honestly.
He did have some gold left in his base as well.
Oh,
he
had
had
some
saved
gold
up,
left?
so
Okay,
he
I
was
didn't
good
see
there.
that.
Okay, you went for the lame with Aztecs here. Was that just you can't expect to lame? So was you just trying to see if you could find a boar on the front, or have you noticed something about the map scripts where the boars are forward or something?
I wish I noticed something like that. No, obviously Aztecs, you have an eagle, so you're stronger early game. So might as well try something. And he's Byzantines, no eco bonus, so the earlier I hit him, the better. And,
Okay, gotcha.
I hit him in Dark Age, so.
What do you think his strategy was initially? Like if there was no lame, if it was just a standard game. Did you think Fast Castle was improvised?
It
or?
was improvised, I'm pretty sure it was improvised. I don't think you go for a Cataphrag play.
You took a pretty big risk here. You're about to be imp.
Yeah.
I imagine that you just felt the game was over at that point.
Yeah, still stupid to move out though.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Still, this game tilted me actually.
Which one? This
This
one?
one.
This one? What
I didn't
what
find
went
deer,
wrong?
and I just was Chinese, and then I was just toast.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, my deer were hidden. I made like 2 loops around my base, and I couldn't find deer. And then I'm just Chinese with, well, I had to make a range because I had 4 on food once I reached Feudal Age.
Okay, so your original
was
plan
looking
was
dry.
scouts.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I like scouts more, but I could make 2 villas and that was it.
If you don't have food, then you can't really do
but
that.
it
So
was pretty trash.
yeah, well, Viper had cheaper villagers and faster uptime and really snowballed it from here.
Yeah.
Wasn't really one where we have a ton of questions here, but it did tie it up 3-3. So at that point, were you kind of like, what's your outlook in that situation? Because I know there's a couple of strong civs from him on the board there.
I mean, after this game, I was pretty down. Didn't feel too great about the set anymore because I still Northern Isles, and I used my Italians already to trade for the Malay game, right?
Yep,
There's
true.
still Northern Isles. He has Koreans, but like I don't have a civ there. Probably I would have played Saracens or something. So it goes like not my favorite map, and it's just like anything can happen. And then there's fortified clearing in Arabia where he has Mayans. So after this game, I didn't feel too well, honestly.
So
I
you felt like
he
you had the
an edge.
worst. So this essentially became a best of 3 after this game, and you felt like you had the worst civilizations.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Put it in 5 words, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And he had better civilizations for Arabia and Northern Isles, but certainly not for fortified clearing here. What can be the approach of Bengalis be if you're just so heavily commit to light cav?
No idea, honestly. We'll see. I mean, he made some spears. I guess he didn't expect me to go for that many light cav. But it's like a pretty tricky map because I can always run around. He can't run around. And I choose when to fight. He doesn't choose when to fight. So it's more for me to make a mistake rather than him to make a big play, right?
Deciding moment of the game, you have the map control. He definitely didn't expect it, right? Like, I didn't even realize how many numbers you had until after the fight.
Yeah, I hit
so
him pretty well.
A great job from you. And was this just something you've learned here? Because even Hippo Arena, we've been seeing players making more army for map control.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing nowadays. And obviously, map control is everything in this game mod. Also, once I got the size, like, what does he push me back with? He needs like 20 minutes, monks, halves, skirms. So it's like just a trash war.
Yeah.
If I have map control and 7 relics, how should I lose?
And you said, how should I lose? And you still went for the revolution.
I feel like that was a game-winning play, not a losing move, actually. I even made like 3 extra TCs to assure that I was going to win that game.
Okay, but is that like a guaranteed win in your eyes?
Yeah.
For the
I feel
revolution?
like Flemish Revolution is being seen wrong, honestly. Like if you prepare it well, I feel like it should be a game-ending move, and something that puts you more ahead, rather than just the last option play.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you prepped it perfectly, 6 TCs, made sure you had all the upgrades in, and then also made sure you had the food to produce, because sometimes people don't do that. And yeah, I mean, it probably just ended the game a little bit faster than it would have ended had you had to slowly grind him down there. But yeah, strong stuff.
And then you had the lead, and you still felt like, okay, Northern Isles there, pretty ugly for you, Koreans against Saracen. How much was the pressure on going into Arabia?
Quite a bit. I mean, I also had Mayans there, so not much better, honestly. Might even be worse. But, like in the good old days, Huns against Mayans. And we'll see in a second what happened there, I guess.
Well, the thing is that's interesting about that game to me is the meta these days is very frequently you're opening couple houses, palisade wall, and Huns, they're not suited for that, right? Yeah, and that's why Huns can so frequently get punished. So did you have like a distinct outlook? This is where you get into Viper's base, but was your thought process, I have to play open and invite pressure and just control the map? Or was it more of you saw how bad your map was?
Both, actually.
Okay.
I mean, if Huns, obviously, I'm not going to full wall because I just fall way too behind in Eco. If he does the same and I'm fully walled, then obviously he wins as well because he just camps and waits for Ego's help.
Okay.
So I got to play a bit more risky, meaning play open. And gain some eco advantage that way. Obviously, his Mayans has better eco anyway. And was just hoping for a misplay after my 6 knights got in. That's the misplay.
Yeah, it looks like it happened right here.
Yeah, once this fight is over, I have a chance again because before it was looking pretty much over actually.
We also felt you had the better advantage there. And, well, now you're still striking those fights. Is there a way for him to still make stuff happen in Imp?
If he wins one fight, yeah, because that frees him the direction to his gold, right? His other goal was outside. He had an extra goal, but I'm just going to rate that. And as long as he gets gold, he has a chance. But I guess he was out of gold after the last fight. And then he was just making more and more hallops, and I can just switch to skirmisher.
If he backs away there and gives you that hill, can he still win this game?
No.
Or does he have to take that fight? Because he forced the fight uphill.
Yeah, he has to take the fight. I was going to take control of the gold there with that castle as well. And yeah, he has 0 gold. There's no way he ever wins this game after he doesn't take a fight there. Because it doesn't get better, right? I'm just going to mass skirms, buy more gold. And yeah, just going to get more paladin.
And at that point, he'll have skirms, which pretty much effectively counters the halbs. And yeah, absolutely. So I think many viewers felt like that was maybe an early GG there. Viper, he knew exactly he was dead at that point. Well, Liereyy, you said yourself, right? It like turned into a best of 3, and you felt like you were going to be at a disadvantage there, and then you end up winning with Huns versus Mayans, especially when Mayans had 3 relics in that forward monastery as well. Like all those things could snowball against you. You and Hera had kind of set up a goal and said to us in the interviews that you didn't want to run into each other early, which has happened in the past in tournaments, and you wanted to be in separate semifinals and potentially meet each other in the final. So you guys have accomplished that. You'll meet each other in the final tomorrow. How excited are you to play against your teammate, and how do you feel the chances are for either player?
You summed it up pretty well, honestly. That was our goal from the get-go, and we prepared quite hard, and now we're both there, so it couldn't be any better. Obviously, tomorrow's going to be a different match. Looking at his performance today, I think I definitely have to step it up, even though I played quite fine today, but still a couple of mistakes here, a couple of throws here, and some shaky games over there. And when I look at Hera's score and his games, there's not a single mistake in the whole series, I feel like. So, gonna be an interesting one for sure.
Can you, just to get another question here, can you tell us who got the better of the score line in the training games?
Before NAC I got, during NAC he got the better score.
Ah, I see. So while here, he's been doing a little bit better. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
But they go either way as well, so.
Yeah.
I think you covered everything.
I surely didn't cover everything. There's a lot of things I
pretty
could
good
talk
interview,
about.
I have to say. Well, then I think the only chance that we have is to say goodbye for today. Obviously, 100% of all donations are going into the prize pool, so keep on donating. We're at $79,000. Most of the shares are going into Lierey's and Hera's pockets, so if you want to support them. Also, all the sets and all the highlights are already on YouTube, everything there, if you want to see that. Tomorrow, we are back at 14 UTC with a show match, without Hera and Liereyy, but with all the other 8 players, and 17 UTC with a big best of 9 finals. Give me your prediction.
It's best of 9 still, right?
Yeah.
5-3 or 5-4 either way.
Sounds very reasonable. That's it from us. See you all tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.